First, you might thought this channel only stealing other works after seeing the watermark, but Suma Recap was my terminated channel, so I hope you support me to this channel. Thank you.
While fire was spreading around the area, his parents were killed by the monsters. That night he swore to become an adventurer. Skills is the power God gave humans so they could retaliate against the monster. These skills will be revealed before the age of 12. Among all the adventurers, the S ranks stand at the pinnacle, each with the power of an army thanks to their skill. As a young boy, Chrome also learned to accomplish heroic deeds like those stories in a fairy tale. One day, he prayed to God. He begged God to give him even a little power to rid the world of evil. Something appeared in front of him and thought of it as a skill. He immediately told him to a priest, but the priest seemed to be worried about the skills Chrome had shown him. The priest said with that skill, it might be difficult for Chrome to become an adventurer. One dark night, Chrome and his companions walk along the dark road. His companion shouted at him to walk properly. Chrome stuttered as he apologized to his companion named Arthur. Arthur belittles Chrome, saying that they were already generous enough to hire a skill-less guy like him, that is why he should not piss them off. Chrome's skill is revival and has the ability of resurrecting for only one time after death. For all the adventurers, skills are their most important weapon. Chrome continues to walk along with his companions. It may be laughable for some as a third-rate adventurer, but Chrome is still proud of doing his part in protecting his country. Arthur teases him as Chrome's little sister has a magic skill, but still refuses to party up with him. The other guy concurred with what Arthur said. Chrome just laughs as the two continue to tease him. Arthur saw something behind him. It is an imp with dark skin tone, red eyes, and a pointed ear. Arthur releases his skill called Flame Cloak. The other guy also releases his skill called Herculean Strength. The two work together to skill the imp. The two boast about how easy it is to defeat the imp, and those are only a pain when they are running around. Arthur arrogantly orders Chrome to get the magic stones. Chrome conformed and picked them up. Chrome notices that they are off the map now and need to hurry back. But Arthur got pissed at him and shouted not to dare tell him what to do or he would smack him. A liquid drips out of nowhere. Chrome looks up above where the liquid dripped from. Hundreds, maybe thousands of bugbears are above them. They were surprised at the sight and blamed the imps on leading the bugbears to them. They fought every single bugbear, but they seemed exhausted. Arthur fears their situation as the bugbears were tough and so many, and to top it all off, they are known for their voracious appetite. Sweating in the middle of their difficult situation, Arthur smirks in a selfish way. Meanwhile, Chrome is scared and struggling at the same time dealing with the monsters. He waves his sword to them, but little to no damage has been done. All of his doing seems useless, and won't be able to defeat the monsters. Chrome was surprised when something hit him in the back. It was Arthur who hit him and smirked at what he did. Chrome struggles in his situation and loudly calls Arthur for help. Arthur intentionally leads Chrome as bait to die alone rather than all of them dying, since he has the revival skill. Arthur and the other man run away from the monsters, leaving Chrome behind for them to feast. The monsters attack Chrome and feast at his flesh. With no way of making it out of that depth by himself, the monster feeds on his body one by one. As he was being eaten alive by those monsters, Chrome felt their hurtful bite and still wants to make it alive without giving up on dying in a place like that. Chrome died and was left alone in the dark place. The moment he died, the revival skill was activated. Slowly opening his eyes, he was certain he was alive. When he widely opened his eyes, he saw his hand without any skin and all bones. He reflected in a sword and also saw his face became a skeleton. He looked all over his body and he turned completely into a skeleton. He tried to speak, but he couldn't utter a single word. He thought maybe he was having a dream and immediately checked up on his status. His status stated that he is a white and he is no longer in level 9. Chrome, who is now a skeleton, is confused by the happenings, as white means a resurrected monster with evil mana within its bones. It's tough for an E-rank adventurer, but it's weak and has no intelligence. It's nothing but a wandering corpse. Chrome is annoyed at the description of his current state, as he has a head and can clearly think and everything. He remembered what the priest said, that they have no record of his skill, and if it works just as described, it is not suited for an adventurer. Chrome also did not know much details since his skill was rare, and thought he turned into a skeleton maybe because of the damage to his body, or maybe the dungeon's mana. He thought it does not matter since having a body like that is practically a death sentence. Chrome, in a tough situation, still laughs at the fact that he actually died and just bones now. While lying on the ground, he gazed at his skeleton hand and remembered his intention of just wanting to protect his country with an already defective skill. Despite risking his life every day, he was just made fun of by the people around him all the time. He remembered his sister said to him that he should stop if he doesn't have the talent for it. Chrome cries that maybe his sister was right. He suddenly got up at the thought of belittling himself. He remembers that monsters can evolve if they gain levels and gain more skill, and if he keeps doing the same, he might return to looking like a human again. Chrome blushes at the imagination and thought he might become an S-rank adventurer he had given up on being so long ago. He wonders if he can really do it since he is now a white who are terribly weak monsters. He suddenly realizes that he is not an ordinary monster since he can think clearly unlike them. His intelligence is his only hope and it is worth trying. Inside the dungeons of monsters, Chrome did not feel any difficulty passing by the monsters thanks to him being a skeleton. He thinks of a plan of gathering information about the terrain, what monsters look weak, and what other advantages can he find. An E-rank goblin appears in front of him. The goblin startled as something approached towards him. The goblin saw a skeleton hand in front of him, and Chrome runs towards the goblin. He attacks the goblin at the back and slashes him with a sword. His decoy skeleton hands that distracted the goblin works and he successfully killed the goblin. He gained 3 experience points and levels up by defeating a monster that was a higher level than him. He thought he could do it with that body and his human intelligence. Chrome, who already died once, is encouraged to level up like his life depends on it. A level 1 goblin slug appears on his way. Seeing its level, Chrome is confident that he can overpower the monster. He slashes the monster open with a nice swift move. Although he managed to kill the monster bigger than him, he only just gained 1 experience point from it. Chrome seems unsatisfied with the amount of points he gained recently and is feeling that he hit the limit of his plan to avoid the strong and hunt the weak. He made up his mind to go for some stronger enemies to evolve faster because if he goes for the weak ones, it might take him decades. He leaned his sword onto the wall. He leaned beside his sword to think for a while. He touches his stomach, but he feels like he needs neither rest nor food. Even without the need of resting and eating, he closes his eyes and rests as he feels like he can easily forget what it's like to be human if he is constantly awake. He realizes that it is definitely convenient not having the need to eat. In the dark dungeon where there is no sun, Chrome lost all sense of time. As he stays there, he thought a week has yet to pass and maybe he is inside for only 3 days. He remembered the day where his sister Kamya uses her magic power on their journey, but suddenly recalls what his sister said to him to just stop being an adventurer if he doesn't have the talent for it. He said that his sister may not be worried about him even if she did notice he was gone for several days. He shakes all the negative thoughts lingering his might that the gloomy dungeon was giving him. Inside the vast dungeon, Chrome does not plan to stay there forever. He planned to pick some fights for him to get stronger. A beast with sharp teeth roams the dark area. It is a level 7 rank D beast with red eyes. It passes beside Chrome who is lying on the ground. He saw the beast's menacing look when it got closer with him. The beast passes over without minding the lying skeleton. Chrome got nervous meeting a red-eye monster and thought if he can defeat it, he will level up right away. He is feeling down with the big gap between his strength and the red-eye monster as it is far stronger and much faster than him. Chrome got up in confidence as he is a monster with human intelligence and only needs to put his advantage and use it as much as he can. Being a skeleton, it is easy for him to pretend to be dead and able to investigate the dungeon and his target like the red-eye monster. He finally arrived at the red-eye's territory. He made up his plans to defeat it. The red-eye monster roams on his territory. At the end of the road, it saw a skeleton along with a sword and some of its belongings. The red-eye monster smells its belongings. When the red-eye beast got closer, Chrome immediately stood up. He raised his sword above the red-eye beast to stab it. The sword penetrates deep on the back of the red-eye monster. The red-eye monster screams in pain as it gets stabbed on its back. Blood splatter on Chrome's skeleton face as his plan has worked on the red-eye monster. The red-eye monster fell from the cliff and Chrome followed it. It fell on the ground with a loud thud. Chrome stabbed it again as he fell right next on it. His body may be bones, but its lightness is its strongest advantage, making it easy to move and sways its sword towards an opponent. He continues to stab the red-eye monster with a sword. The red-eye beast suddenly caught and bit his sword. It then bit his skeleton arm. The red-eye beast managed to decapitate his arm that holds the sword apart from his skeleton body. Chrome screams internally as his arm gets taken away from him. Chrome, with a decapitated skeleton arm, stabs the red-eye beast on its throat with a strong will to survive. The red-eye beast's throat gushes out of blood and screams in pain. Chrome managed to kill the red-eye beast with a decapitated arm and blood all over his skeleton body. He gained 11 experience points and levels up from level 3 to 5 that got him delighted. Chrome, who is a white species, has reached the level cap and has fulfilled the evolution condition, proudly smiles on his victory. He sort of instinctively understands how to evolve while he stares at his reflection at the water. A bone fragment fills the broken part of his bone. He shines brightly as he gets to evolve. He excitedly evolves as his body will recover. Bright light along with a lightning emitted from him as he completely evolves and wishes to be a human. His face reflected on the water, revealing a face of still, a monster. He evolves into a ghoul. A deceased who had turned into a monster has now taken the form of a corpse-eating demon. It has vicious claws and fangs, but its regeneration is its most fearsome feature, making Chrome delighted as it is definitely more human-like. Seeing his arm go back to normal, Chrome wonders if it's a perk of evolution. Chrome is now a ghoul species in level 5 with the skills of regeneration, and is ecstatic on his increased status. Regeneration might be the strong skill he was hoping for, but he still upsets about the fact that he is still a monster. Browsing through his status board, the ghoul's level cap is level 20, that when reached, he will be able to evolve again. Chrome is overjoyed about the improvement he made and is determined to achieve more. He is resolute on leveling up and evolving so that he can return to a human form and become the strongest adventurer. Chrome is fighting a level 5 rank D monster rat. The monster rat caught Chrome's sword with long and sharp claws. Chrome struggles with the monster's long claws as they get in the way. The monster rat stabs Chrome in his abdomen using its long and sharp claws. Chrome is struggling as he holds his pricked abdomen. He gritted his teeth as he got annoyed by what happened. He threw his sword, aiming at the monster rat. The monster rat shunned it using his long claws. As the monster rat got distracted by the sword, Chrome sneaks behind its back. Chrome slashes the monster rat using his ghoul claws. He managed to kill the monster rat, but with sharp long claws as a ghoul gets in his way. He gained 7 experience points and leveled up from 5 to 6, but he seems unsatisfied as it is still far away from level 20. His abdomen that got stabbed earlier by the monster rat healed with his regeneration ability as a ghoul. His wound completely healed. He stares at the dead monster rat as his stomach grumbles from hunger. It may be convenient for him to have the body of the ghoul, but it gets him terribly hungry. He sits in front of the dead body of the monster rat. Even if it's dirty rat meat, he still can't resist and took a bite to eat that made him feel more like a monster. He suddenly realizes that this lifestyle is more human-like compared to when he was a white as he feasts on the rat meat. There's no doubt that he is close to being a human now while he holds the monster rat meat. He goes all out eating rat meat. A few days later, he faces a level 14 ranked D-Orc species. He fought it to death till he gained 33 experience, leveling up from 13 to 24. Chrome is leveling up at a good pace that made him proud. He can risk his body a lot thanks to his regeneration ability. He also doesn't feel any fatigue thanks to being an undead. Chrome only needs 6 more levels before he can go evolve, and is already stronger than his old self, making him more determined to do more. He sits while hoping to become more human in his next evolution. He gazed from afar while thinking what his sister Kamya is doing right now. He used to get along with Kamya a long time ago, but she's been barely speaking to him these past few years. Because of his skill, he couldn't properly work as an adventurer and did not earn much, and it was rough saving up enough to support Kamya. Unlike him, it turned out Kamya had a magic skill which was suited for an adventurer. Kamya became a C-rank adventurer. Chrome gazes at her as she leaves at the door for an adventure. Chrome said her sister was amazingly far from him, that just been stuck in D-rank the whole time. His sister Kamya belittles him, stating that it's stupid for a weakling like him to be so set on being an adventurer. He sank slowly in shock when his sister told him to just stop if he didn't have the talent for being an adventurer. With the two described as one useless older brother and a talented little sister, Kamya started looking at him as she began working as an adventurer. They spoke less and less, that made Chrome end up avoiding home because it was so awkward, and remembering all these, Chrome felt sad in their situation. With a seemingly lonely face, Chrome thought Kamya might be wondering what happened to him, or maybe she may not, since his sister was really indifferent to him. Seeing his body in sharp long claws, he thought if he returned with a body like that, he would surely get exterminated. He tried to speak a word, but he still can't utter a single word as he tries to speak. He heard a noise from afar in the darkness. He was startled that it might be another monster. He thought it may be a goblin and crawled quietly towards the direction of the noise. He saw 3 people discussing something with each other. He held his mouth shut as he saw them. He was more shocked as he saw his sister Kamya along with those people. The dungeon is close to town, but Chrome did not expect that they would run into each other. Chrome quietly runs away from them on the possibility of him getting killed if they find him. Kamya seems to be annoyed that they run out of South, while the man apologizes to her about it. Her other companion also explains that they could not check how much they had left easily since the bags are opaque. Kamya seems angry that they ran out of South and worried about what they're gonna do if they get bitten by a monster. Her companion said it is not that bad since they deal with most of their wounds by just cleaning them and drinking a potion. Kamya is irritated by the fact that the man trusted someone who did not take preparations seriously to have his back. The man shouted at her that they were the ones who agreed to help her on such short notice. Kamya scolds him as he is responsible for agreeing on her terms, since there are no excuses when they are risking their lives. The man seems to be angry by Kamya's scolding. Chrome, who is watching them secretly, thought that Kamya is still the same as her usual self even in the dungeon. Even though she is right, Chrome thought she does not have to be so harsh about it. Chrome suddenly flicks his finger at the wall, making a sound. Kamya and her companions heard the noise and thought it was made by a monster. Kamya clenches her magic baton. She releases her magic power called Ice Arrow, creating a pattern and fragments of ice. Chrome saw Kamya ice magic skills and worried for a moment. Kamya's ice magic releases ice arrows towards Chrome's whereabouts. The arrows hit the walls. The other arrow hits Chrome, making him bleed. Chrome holds his wound as he murmurs in pain. He was found by Kamya and her companions. The man said it was just a ghoul. The woman also said that ghouls are not strong, but they are tough. Chrome freaked out in his situation. Chrome, who is now a level 14 rank D ghoul, was found by the adventurers. One of them is his sister, Kamya. Ghouls have a healing skill, as explained by Lena Lilling, a level 15 adventurer. Derek Dean, level 14 adventurer, proudly suggested that they should just crush it in one go. Kamya Kling, a level 18 adventurer, is Chrome's younger sister, refuted that if they suddenly rush the attack, they are bound to get hurt, and crushing it in one go is only standard practice after you have cornered it with safe attacks. Seeing how strong his sister is, Chrome gritted his teeth in worry as he is not sure if he would even make it through even just on a duel match. Kamya, who really got strong at level 8, is having a serious face while facing the ghoul who she isn't aware is her older brother. Seeing a killing intent menaced by the adventurers, Chrome is finding an opportunity to run away. Derek Dean suddenly attacks the ghoul using his skill. He waved his sword with his skill scorching slash, aiming at Chrome. Chrome seems to struggle with Derek's skill that cloaks a weapon in flames. Lena Lillian attacks next. She attacks swiftly using her skill called Light Body. Chrome was surprised at her with her fast movement. Lena landed her sword towards Chrome, but he blocked it using his arm. Seeing Derek's sword cloak in flame, Chrome can't take a single hit from him. Chrome is hardly struggling between the two adventurers because the moment he doesn't dodge Lena's attack correctly, Derek's flaming sword will slash through him, giving him only one option but to dodge. With this difference in both people and levels, it's impossible for Chrome to just run away. Chrome, who does not have an intention to attack humans, but has no other choice since his life is at stake. Derek is ready to throw another attack. Chrome devises a plan. He kicks a stone at Derek. The stone was blocked by Derek's sword. Derek cursed at the ghoul as he felt degraded. The ghoul, Chrome, suddenly appears right in front of him. He knocks Derek using his elbow. Chrome hesitated to use his claw after all. As Derek falls in front of the two girls, Chrome runs away from them. Chrome runs away since chasing monsters deeper into the dungeon is banned, and they shouldn't follow him if he get far enough. Derek cursed in annoyance that the ghoul nudged him. Lena sprinted as she chases Chrome. Chrome is aware that the fast Lena is chasing him and will be in trouble if she takes over him. Chrome thought that he has no choice but to face her if she catches up to him. Lena seemed shocked when the ghoul suddenly ran away. Chrome faces Lena since he have the regeneration skill. He is confident to take those hits. Chrome murmurs in struggle. As Lena's sword hits his arm, she loses a grip on it. Lena's sword flew away and stuck through the dungeon wall. Lena was surprised as her weapon separated from her, stuck in the wall. Chrome is proud how he took her by surprise by the fact that an undead like him devises such plan. From afar, Kamya uses his magic skill, chanting an attack called Ice Arrow again. Chrome is startled by her. The moment Kamya uses her magic, several ice arrows come out from her, aiming at Chrome. Chrome bleeds as all of the ice arrows pierced and torn at his feet. Chrome fell to the ground by Kamya's attack. Lena praises the Ice Princess Kamya. Derek is irking that he wanted to kill it himself to level up. Kamya brazenly told him he were too aggressive. Kamya also told him if had he just kept it in check, she could have killed the ghoul with her ice magic easily. Feeling pain on his torn leg, Chrome thought he is going to get killed. He still tries to get up while struggling from the pain, but Chrome can't do it. His shins barely supports him kneel and his thighs were completely gouged out. Given the situation, Chrome was still amazed by the power the ice arrow yields. Chrome uses his ghoul skill regeneration and immediately heals almost all of his leg in an instant. Even with those wounds, he can run again in just a minute. Yet, Kamya, who yielded the ice arrows, is still on guard in front of him, ready to attack any moment. That is why Chrome doesn't even have a whole minute to escape on his spot. Kamya chants her attack again. She yielded an ice power called Ice Lance, forming a trident aiming to pierce through Chrome. Seeing the gigantic ice trident, he sweats in fear as he is going to get killed by his little sister. Chrome sweats in fear as he is going to get killed by his little sister. Chrome can neither dodge the ice because of his wound nor jump at her to try and scare her to break her spell. He is thinking of a plan to do something about the spell while waiting for his leg to regenerate completely for him to escape. He suddenly remembers the practice he did a while ago on his attempt to speak. He holds onto his neck and tried to shout Kamya's name word by word. Kamya was surprised as she heard the ghoul shouted some words and immediately thought of her older brother Chrome. Her giant ice trident fell piercing through the ground, resulting on big crack. Fortunately, the giant ice trident did not hurt him and only landed beside him. Derek confusingly shouts at Kamya on missing her attack towards the ghoul. Chrome gazes at the trident that pierced through the ground. If had it hit him, he would have died surely. His plan to shake Kamya up by calling out her name worked just barely enough. Kamya felt nostalgic at the moment, speculating on something. Chrome lifts his injured foot up after the regeneration is done. Kamya tries to yield again her ice magic. Chrome scared her to make her startled. Kamya gets surprised and loses focus on her magic. She fell sitting on the ground and unsuccessfully conjured her magic. She saw the ghoul running away from them. Kamya fell for the monster trick and got deceived by it. Derek gulls in anger at Kamya as she nearly killed the monster, but it still get away. Kamya is still speculating at something as he can't get a grip of what she heard a while ago. As an adventurer with the knowledge of monsters, she recalls that the undead is a type of monster created by the dungeon's mana-filling human corpses. She is speculating that the undead, maybe his older brother according to the ghoul, has shouted earlier. Chrome, who got away from the adventurers, catches his breath in both nervousness and in exhaust from running. He was not expecting that he would get cornered by 3 higher-level adventurers. Chrome is still delighted to have an easy-to-use skill thanks to the regeneration. Chrome thought that he needed to watch out for adventurers while looking for the monster by the event earlier where his little sister beat him up. It's been so long since he has seen her in a dungeon. The last time he had seen her inside the dungeon was with her the first few times to show her the ropes that she ended up surpassing him at his level right away. Chrome peeks at them for the last time and thought needs not to be found by her again. He saw them heading the other way. Chrome goes the opposite way from them. Chrome realizes that they are going to the deep part of the dungeon and thought she is planning on going even deeper. Normal people can't stay in the dungeon for long because not only do you get tired both physically and mentally, but there is another reason. The thick mana in dungeons is poisonous to humans and it gnaws away at you the longer you stay. When humans enter dungeons, they need strategies with a large margin for error. Chrome thinks that it should be dangerous for people their level to go any deeper than their current whereabouts. Remembering his sister's menacing look, he is thinking that he might get killed if he is found again. But he seems to be worried about his sister, so he decided to follow them from a distance. A man's dead body is lying flat on the ground. Derek is disgusted by the sight of an adventurer's corpse. Kamya gets closer to the dead body and inspects it. Both Lena and Derek saw her act as disgraceful and lowly invaluable. After inspecting, Kamya gets up and orders them to continue on their journey. Derek is worried about them still continuing through the dungeon. Lena convinces Kamya that her idea might be dangerous. Kamya said she has been exploring the dungeon that far countless times before. Kamya, while looking at them calmly, said that with their skills and level, it should be no issue if they all cooperate without rushing like what the two did earlier. Derek seems to disagree with Kamya, tagging along as the idea came from someone like her that messed up earlier too. Chrome from afar conquered that they are really planning on going deeper. The really strong monsters are found much further in since they like the dense mana. Although they're fickle and there's exceptions. In a dungeon, you always need to be prepared for the unexpected and must move carefully. Chrome, with a worried face, thought all this time that Kamya was the rational type, and seeing her, he seemed in a rush. Kamya set her face all deep down the dungeon. A foot of a seemingly large monster cracks the ground with a single stomp. Lena was startled by the ground's sudden movement. A giant level 22 rank sea ogre with a red man emanating around appeared on their way. Chrome, anxiously watching his sister, expected this to happen, but monsters above level 20 are supposed to only be in the deepest part of the dungeon. Kamya in front of the monster also seems troubled by the sight. The giant level 22 rank sea ogre, who also has a max level 96 of health points and max level 28 of mana points, roars and seems to be pissed. Among the 3 adventurers, Kamya Clank has the highest level of 18. Chrome wonders what Kamya is going to do with that level difference. You will have casualties if you mess up while running away. He plans to jump out and distract it. Chrome realizes that he actually can't, as they think he's nothing but a monster. With their situation earlier, Chrome thought they might think they are surrounded and panic. He can only watch over them for now. Derek shouted at Kamya in panic because he didn't know what to do, and that is exactly why he said they should pull back. Holding her magic weapon, Kamya is certain that with her magic, she can even damage an ogre. Kamya told them the monster can be defeated as long as they cooperate. Derek anxiously doubts if they can really defeat such a terrifying monster. While the terrifying monster stands in front of them, Derek thought that if he runs away with how low his level, it will try to catch and kill him for sure, leaving him with no option but to try. Derek rashly yielded his skill Scorching Slash. Derek, who is yet to attack, startled for a moment. Even before launching his attack, the giant ogre proceeded, attacking him first. Derek felt frightened all over his body as the giant ogre's reach was just too huge. Lena runs swiftly after the monster attacks Derek. She yields his skill called Light Body, making her run swiftly. The monster notices her right away. Lena, who is just moving swiftly earlier, gets confused as it seems to get closer with her. The giant ogre hits Lena from the side. Derek shouted Lena's name in worry. Lena, holding his arm in pain, can't believe that it only grazed her yet has sent her flying with such crazy strength. It is now Kamya's turn to attack as she yields her magic, attacking the monster with ice arrows. The monster blocks one of the arrows with his stone weapon. The other arrow hits the monster's side. The arrow that hits the monster's side grabs it. The monster immediately crushed the ice arrow with its huge hand in an instant. Seeing her arrow get crushed by the monster, Kamya eye widened and cannot believe how tough the monster is, and she can't beat it with her ice arrow. Chrome, watching their situation, is not looking good. They don't have enough levels, and their coordination is shallow, making Chrome anxious. He wonders why their impromptu party even comes this deep inside the dungeon. He anxiously watches his sister from afar struggles. Kamya has no other choice but to use the more powerful ice lance, even with the possibility of outright defeating it. She is certain they will find some way through the situation. Glancing at her companions, she worried about how long it takes before she can shoot the ice lance spell and needs to have those two create an even bigger opportunity for her than they just did earlier. Derek concerns that it's no use since they are not high-leveled enough, as they are all short on speed, power, and magic. He frets that at this rate, he really is going to die. Kamya annoyingly orders the two to attack the monster and draw its attention, because as their fight takes longer, they will have no chance of winning. Kamya, without any intention of dying in that place, is determined on a chance they have. Derek is also annoyed at Kamya telling them to attack the terrifying monster, as it seems easy for her to be safe in the rearguard. Derek, who is already terrified in their situation, rather than running away that will surely be chased by the monster with how low his level, left no other choice but to listen to Kamya. He called on Lena. Lena leaned and Derek whispered something to her. Lena listens to him and seems to understand. Chrome, who is still watching from afar, is confused with how they are organizing their plan. The monster attacks both Derek and Lena, hitting the ground to crushed. Some stones from the crushed ground scatters around as Lena tries to avoid them. Kamya wants them to lure the monster a little, but that's impossible with how scared they are. Kamya, who has left no other choice but to risk it all, yielded her ice lance spell. Seeing Kamya's ice lance, Derek felt a sense of relief. Derek calls on Lena as the two finally prepare to execute their plan. While Kamya took her time on yielding her ice lance spell, Lena uses her skill Light Body to elope together with Derek. Kamya, in the middle of yielding her spell, was surprised with the plan that the two devises. Lena did not care about Kamya being left behind facing the monster alone. Chrome from afar is very furious as he saw that the two planned to abandon his sister Kamya at the most crucial moment. Knowing Kamya being left alone, she still continues on casting her spell. The monster roars as it approaches to attack Kamya. Kamya finally yielded her ice lance, with the ice trident emerging from on Kamya's direction. The monster got shocked as the ice trident emerges. The ice trident crushed to the wall, scattering fragments of ice as it sliced off the monster's left arm. The monster screams in pain. Kamya saw her attack hit successfully. The monster strikes her in response. Kamya immediately falls from the ground. The monster angrily roars, making a very loud sound. Seeing her sister hit, Chrome rushes his way to Kamya. Derek, who is eloping with Lena, blames Kamya that it's all her fault to begin with from wanting to dive that deep on such short notice. Derek curses as they got dragged along to find Kamya's brother, who disappeared in the dungeon, as her brother is gonna be dead when a low-ranked adventurer like him disappears. Chrome shocks as he heard what Derek said. The monster raises again its weapon. Kamya, who fell weakly to the ground, blames his brother being reckless when he is weak. Kamya passes out while still trying to find his brother's whereabouts. The monster is on its way to strike its weapon to Kamya. Fortunately, Chrome just got in time, hitting the monster on its face. The monster wipes his face as it angrily looks for the one who attacks him. Chrome glances at his sister Kamya. He felt sorry for hiding from her, while Kamya is already passed out on the ground. Chrome bravely faces the giant ogre with his ghoul stats of level 14 rank D, health points of 44/50, and mana points of 9/14. That is very low compared to the giant ogre, whose stats is level 22 rank C, 96 max health points, and 28 max mana points. The ogre smashes Chrome, but he luckily dodges it. He sways on the ground as he escapes from the monster's attack. In terms of levels, Chrome is far behind, but the monster's one arm is completely chopped off. Chrome is determined to protect his sister as her life depends on his winning. as Chrome's only option but to win, slashes the monster's flesh with his long and sharp claws. The monster's stomach gushes blood and it moans from the pain. Chrome picks up the ice arrow of her sister. He threw it at the monster's face that shattered from the impact. Ice fragments from the shattered ice arrows fall down over Chrome. The monster then responded with its weapon to smash Chrome. Chrome defended himself with a punch, but the bone on his arm got broken and gouged out from the inside. As Chrome thought, he would manage if he could attack from its left, where it's missing an arm, but with that kind of might and giant monster won't be easy. Chrome looks at his gouged out bone from his arm. The monster may be one-armed, but its speed, power, and reach are all monstrous. If Chrome wants to slip past it and deal the final blow, he can't just keep trying for its blind spot. He has to get it to give a more decisive opening. Chrome rushes towards the monster. The monster hits him with a blow, but he slides down to dodge it. The monster's attacks were all dodged by Chrome. As Chrome observes the situation, he notices that no matter how much it tries, its attacks are predictable as long as it only uses one arm. He thought it's possible to dodge its attacks if he just focused on it. Chrome's stamina might not be endless, but swinging around that much is bound to be exhausting too. The monster seems to be exhausted as it annoyingly catches his breath. Chrome, who may be rotten but still human, moves side by side swift and will not lose in terms of patience. He managed to dodge another attack from the monster. The monster emitted a red mana as it's starting to lose patience. The monster roars in rage as it finally loses its patience from all of his attacks who dodged by Chrome. Chrome plans that the other closest weapon to the monster who lost his arm would be his fangs. He fully trusts that the monster would come flying at him with them if he riled him up. Chrome jumps close to the monster's face. He places his broken left arm inside the monster's mouth. He plans for the monster to bite off his arm. Since the monster is sturdier and a much higher level than him, he have no choice but to aim for a fatal strike as separates from the monster who chewed his arm off. It can't be the monster's brain that is protected by its skull, or its heart that is protected by a rib cage, as Chrome saw an opening through the monster's neck. That's why he have been waiting for the monster to bring its neck close to him on its own. Chrome bites the monster's neck and it roars loudly from pain. Chrome managed to kill the monster as it lay dead on the ground with blood gushing from its neck. Chrome gained 128 experience points at the win. He leveled up from level 14 to level 18. Chrome still can't believe he won. His chewed-off arm got regenerated with his ability. Chrome blushes at the usefulness of the regeneration skill as he can take no damage as long as he don't die. Chrome apologizes to Kamya, who still passed out on the ground. His assumption that Kamya looked down on him was all along wrong, but Kamya is worried for him, who kept clinging to being an adventurer even though he couldn't really protect himself. Chrome carried Kamya on his back to get out from the dungeon. Chrome is worrying that if he doesn't do anything, Kamya might just come back into the dungeon again. While walking, Chrome saw a sword from afar. He picks it up and wonders if it is the sword that he threw away. Inside the dark dungeon, a roar from a creature can be heard. Two adventurers are on their way to look where the sound came from. He saw a girl being attacked by a monster. One of the adventurers shoots him with an arrow trying to stop him. Kamya finally regained her consciousness. The two adventurers ask if she's alright, but she's still confused about her whereabouts. The man said she was unconscious and had been attacked by a ghoul earlier. Kamya was shocked to find out it was a ghoul, but not the ogre, as she also felt like someone rescued and carried her away. Kamya felt nostalgic by that rescuer as she remembers her brother carried her the same way. Kamya still thinks that it would be impossible. The man points at the sword and asks if it belongs to her. Kamya was surprised as she really is holding a sword. She looks at the sword as if it belongs to his brother. Kamya saw engraved words saying that he will come back for sure and just wait. Kamya cries at the fact that his brother is alive and will surely come back for her soon. Chrome says his goodbye to Kamya through the sword and assures that they will meet again. Chrome gets on his journey again to complete the 2 more levels so that he can evolve. He is sure he will look like a human then. Chrome's stats now is at level 18 rank D with a health points of 27 and a mana points of 2. Chapter 8. Chrome is hunting the bugbears, who are level 14 rank D with a health points of 12 and a mana points of 13. He mauled them to death and he gained 15 experience points. Chrome chews on the dead bugbear. He felt gloomy as they don't taste very good and they reek of wasabi. The bugbear's tentacles are like rubber and their skin is hard as metal. Their innards feel like rotten guts, too. He suddenly remembered that he died getting eaten by bugbears and wonders if those eat humans as well as he feast from its meat. He hates the fact that he can't stop himself from eating things like that after becoming a ghoul. Seeing the bugbear's form, Chrome never thought that he'd be the one to eat those monsters after being utterly overwhelmed by them for so long. Normal monsters would never challenge stronger ones, since humans can't stay in the dungeon for long. He looked at his stats and thought he got to level 18 so fast. He thought he should have gotten a lot close to being human by going from bright to ghoul. While observing his stats, he thought he might even be able to enter town after his next evolution. Chrome scratches his head since it's no use worrying since he can't really do anything to change it. He might only be 2 levels away, but he is probably still pretty far away from his next evolution. Remembering the monsters he had fought, he can't expect any big level ups if he doesn't fight monsters stronger than him, but he'd like to avoid fighting something like that ogre again. A monster behind Chrome is quietly approaching him. Something is sneaking behind Chrome, who is still feasting on his meal while on the thought that his current position isn't the deep part of the dungeon where he encountered the ogre and just taking his time and hunting weaker guys should be fine. A sudden red light flashes from somewhere. Chrome was startled as it was close to him. Seeing the crazy power emanating from the creature, he wonders what its level is. It is Gargoyle in level 21 rank C with a max health point of 78 and a mana point of 34/39. The gargoyle charges at Chrome, making him stumble. Chrome is certain that monsters above level 20 shouldn't be around the area. The gargoyle opens its mouth wide and a light threatens to charge. The gargoyle discharged a fire from its mouth towards Chrome. The fire burns Chrome as it reaches his arm. He was then surprised by what he saw. Behind the raging fire, the gargoyle attacks him with a sword. The sword dashes beside Chrome's face that bleeds as it slashes. The gargoyle then followed his attack by a blow on Chrome's face. He landed face first to the wall from the blow. Chrome, while collecting himself, thought he just barely dodged the sword, and that elbow strike was unexpectedly powerful. Chrome was cornered by the gargoyle that spews flames to blind him and flies at him so that he can't hear it either. He only won against the ogre because Kamya's spell had taken off its arm. His level has gone up, but he doesn't have any chance of winning against the powerful gargoyle. The gargoyle made a roaring sound while chasing him. Chrome saw it moving so fast. While flying in the air, the gargoyle draws its sword below and it emits a light at the tip. But Chrome counters him by giving a blow right on its face. Chrome saw its face closely. The gargoyle's face has not even got a scratch with its crazy toughness. The gargoyle immediately stands up and charges its sword towards Chrome. Both its level and skills are too much for him to handle. That's why he runs away most of the time. Chrome arrives at the end of the cliff from running away from the gargoyle. The gargoyle opens its mouth again, attempting to execute another charge. It shoots fire again at Chrome, who is standing at the edge of the cliff. Chrome holds his breath from the smell. The gargoyle then followed his attack with a sword, aiming to stab Chrome. The gargoyle falls straight down the cliff as Chrome already leaves his current position. Seeing the gargoyle tactic earlier, Chrome foresees it will do the same again as he jumps behind the gargoyle, who is falling. Chrome landed behind the gargoyle's back and is determined that the gargoyle will never be able to drive him into a corner since he knows the terrain. Chrome, as someone who lived inside the dungeon, bites the gargoyle's wings. The two both landed on the ground. Chrome holds the gargoyle's head upon landing that made it smashed onto the floor. He won and gained 108 experience points and level up from 18 to 20 thanks to Mr. Fall damage. Seeing the smashed gargoyle, Chrome realized there's no way he could have won fighting normally. He suddenly remembers he is at level 20. Ghoul reached the level cap and the evolution condition was fulfilled. The ghoul was an unexpectedly strong opponent, but thanks to that, he reached his target level. The very first thing Chrome wants to do after evolving is check his appearance. That is why he comes near the water. Chrome clenches his fist, hoping to be something close to a human. The evolution has begun as light started to emit from Chrome's body. Chrome's ghoul face started to scatter. His arms began to have bigger muscles. Chrome growls at the end of his evolution. He evolved into a shapeshifter. He is now a level 20 rank C shapeshifter who has a health points of 48/79 and a mana point of 9/26. Chrome looked at his reflection on the water, saw his appearance, and noticed he suddenly became a lot bigger. He also notices him wearing a mask and tries to take it off, but he can't. Shapeshifter is a higher rank monster than a ghoul. It's said that evolution brings monsters closer to their ideal power. Chrome strongly wished to be a human, but Shapeshifter is an utter and complete monster no matter where you look. The Shapeshifter is an undead monster that imitates the form of the living to attack them. It's said that those who see its true form never return alive. Chrome thought it's a much more terrifying monster than a ghoul, but suddenly got curious about how it imitates the form of a living. He looked at his stats. He is at level 20 with a health power of 48/79, a mana power of 9/26, rank C, an attack damage of 33, magic rate of 44, defense rate of 19, a speed rate of 26, and a skill of regeneration and masquerade. The stats are so much higher than a ghoul's, and Chrome is certain that a C-rank monster is quite threatening. It's something a party of mid-rank adventurers could barely defeat, like the terrifying giant ogre. He looked over the skill Masquerade. He could maybe turn into a human with that skill. Chrome uses the skill Masquerade out of curiosity. His mask eventually floats. Light flashes over him as he transforms into something. He immediately looks at the water to see himself. Chrome was surprised as he looked just like he used to. He tried to speak and his voice is hoarse, but it works as well. Chrome is delighted as he could pass for a human like that if he just hid a bit of his face. His hand trembles as he feels a sensation of his power being drained. He looked at his stats and it turns out the skill continually drains mana. The skill Masquerade allows you to temporarily take human form, but it consumes 1 mana power every 10 minutes. Chrome's max mana power is 26, meaning he can at most transform for up to 4 hours or so. He thought it would be tough living in the city like that as guards will definitely attack him. But there's still hope for Chrome, as he can just level up to increase his mana power. Chrome confidently thinks he can expect a lot from his next evolution after that. In determination to level up, Chrome boldly prepares for continuing his journey in the dungeon. The wall just suddenly cracked. Chrome is confused about what's happening. He was startled as the wall continued to crack as the ground shook abruptly. Chrome kneels on the ground and was surprised with the sudden earthquake. A boulder suddenly fell in front of him. He leaned over the boulder as the earthquake settled down but was still confused as it's a dungeon disaster. They say that deep below the earth lies the corpses of gigantic monsters. The peculiar space resulting from the evil mana which comes out of their bodies ... That's the dungeon. If left alone and allowed to accumulate mana for a long time, it results in an outburst of unnatural phenomena. That's what a dungeon disaster is. Chrome thought that C-rank monsters appearing around that area was a sign of the dungeon disaster. But he just refuses to admit with only those few cases. It would be hasty to come to that conclusion. A monster suddenly appears in front of him. It is a gargoyle in level 20 rank C with a health power of 20/52 and a mana power of max 37. Chrome in surprise is certain that it does not look like it would be hasty after all. The gargoyle slashes Chrome, but he manages to dodge it. Since he cannot attack since he has no claws, he picks up a stone. He throws the stone at the gargoyle's face. The gargoyle seems to be confused by what happened. Chrome seems tired as he can't muster up any strength with him being in his human form. The gargoyle abruptly breathes fire on him. Chrome was surprised as he got burned by the fire. The gargoyle roars in anger. After it breathed fire, it followed a sword attack aiming at Chrome. Chrome steps in the moment. He attacks the gargoyle as he transforms into his original shapeshifter form. The gargoyle coughs as it takes the blow. Chrome knew it was going to charge at him with that stone body of the gargoyle. In annoyance, he mauled the gargoyle to death. The gargoyle's head flies in the air as it decapitates on its body. The gargoyle's head threw from afar as Chrome beheaded its stone body. Chrome gained 90 experience points. He healed his burned arm as luckily he could charge through the flames thanks to his regeneration. As he took out the gargoyle that had him running for his life so easily, he might even be able to beat an ogre alone now. Monsters are powerful, but their lack of intelligence is their weak point, but Chrome doesn't have that. Chrome was delighted at the fact that he has resistance to the dungeon's mana and doesn't even feel tired. That may be a sign to get closer to the next evolution than he thought. He is pleased that he won't have anything to fear no matter how many gargoyles come at him now. In the middle of him being delighted by that, a group of gargoyles suddenly appear in front of him. Each of them angrily growls at Chrome. He runs away from them as it is still impossible for him to handle that many. He runs far away as the gargoyles chase him. Chrome hid behind a stone till the gargoyles left. Chrome pushes away the gargoyle's sword. His long claws are sticking up in sharpness. He mauled the gargoyle and decapitated its neck. Chrome gained 90 experience points and leveled up from 20 to 21. He really is certain that a shapeshifter is really strong to think that he can dispose of the gargoyles he struggled so much against as a ghoul so easily. He notices that he has a scratch on his arm. The wound immediately healed as he uses the regeneration skill. His stats now is level 21 with a health points of 79/86 and a mana points of 26/28. His next evolution is at level 50 that he thinks might happen sooner. But for C-rank monsters to appear in such great numbers, when there's only supposed to be D-rank monsters around the area, Chrome thought that it must be a dungeon disaster as the ogre that appeared in such a shallow area was probably a sign of that. Once the dungeon disaster starts, high-level monsters will appear in great numbers. They'll crawl outside and start wreaking havoc in the surrounding area. And the only way to stop a dungeon disaster is to beat the dungeon's heart, the dungeon's boss. Chrome is troubled as he has no idea what could happen if the dungeon disaster continues. Along the dark dungeon, a footstep sound has made some beings. Chrome heard those footsteps and looked at the direction where the sound was coming from. As he heard the footsteps, he thought it might be monsters, but turns out they are humans. Chrome hides behind the rock as the humans approach in his direction. A man named Frank Frey, who is a level 20 adventurer, conceives that with the earthquake earlier, and all the gargoyles around. He is sure a dungeon disaster is coming. Guido Gilraid, who is a level 19 adventurer, concurs as he annoys at its awful timing and guess they gotta go back to the guild and report it. Shelley Schultz, who is a level 18 adventurer, opposes Guido and suggests that they should defeat the boss before there are any more victims. Hearing the adventurer's argument, Chrome thought he messed up and should have just run away. Their levels are a little more higher and more even than Kamya's party. He will be in quite the pickle if they get into a fight. Guido asks why they should take on such a huge risk. Frank explains that a dungeon disaster gets more out of hand as time passes, and there's no doubt that they have a good chance since they discovered it so early. Guido debates that Frank is just saying they should fight as well, since he's being naive with that decision. He also added if there is a dungeon disaster, the boss level rises and it changes form, and it's simply too reckless to challenge the lord of the dungeon with no information whatsoever. Frank did not care about Guido's suggestion as he was eyeing that they could just sell the magic stone of that boss for a fortune. Frank is worried that if the area becomes a monster nest, it will have a huge negative impact on commerce. He also added that the damage is so much greater that they think that it is not just from the monster attacks. Unemployment and starvation are sure to follow as well. Frank enlightens them that it's the adventurer's job. They are rising to the challenge to defend the people in the city. As Chrome heard what he said, he suddenly remembers that his parents were killed by the monster in their town. Guido still doesn't see why they need to take on such a risk, but Frank discloses as it seems a dungeon disaster was the leading cause for Shelley's hometown falling to ruin. Shelley got quiet as she heard what Frank said about her hometown. Chrome, still hiding, sympathizes with the girl being in the same situation as him, with the possibility that her condition might be worse as his town got rebuilt. Frank carefreely explains that naturally, since the risk of their lives would be great, he can't force Guido or anything. Frank suddenly stops from speaking as Guido take a look at something. He saw a hand with a sharp claw behind a stone. He immediately shoots his arrow to the direction of the hand. The arrow closely landed beside Chrome's arm. Chrome sweats in surprise as he is hiding, but they still found him. A dark aura emanates around Guido as his skill Eye of Artemis gave him a response, and knew something was up. Chrome thought it would be too dangerous to just try and run away at the moment, but he have to try. Chrome hurriedly holds his mask. Frank takes his sword and gives a warning that he should come out in 3 seconds if he understands. Frank counts as he draw his sword. When he counts to 1, he draw his sword, enveloping it with skill. Behind the stone, Chrome is ducking and uses his skill Masquerade. He raised his hands up. He reveals himself to the adventurer, stating that he is just an adventurer while his hands still up in the air. When Frank saw him as a human, he immediately removes the power in his sword. Guido, still on his guard, asked why were Chrome sneaking around. Chrome, who is still in hold-up position, explains that he didn't know if they were adventurer or bandits, and even if they weren't bandits, meeting up with someone inside the dungeon usually only leads to trouble. Guido still suspects weird feelings towards Chrome as he's much more on guard than he needs to be, and worst of all, he feels so ominous. Chrome's appearance is suspecting by Guido as Chrome emanates a dark aura. Guido is skeptical whether to shoot him or not. Frank observes Chrome and notices he's in tatters and so blatantly wary of them, and he does not seem like he's a normal adventurer in any case. Chrome, sweating nervously, thought he might be able to trick them. But seeing both Frank and Guido's suspicious faces does not feel like the situation changes for the better. Chrome, who is now in a difficult situation as he instantly changed his appearance with the masquerade, but it seems that they're still quite suspicious of him. Guido is still on his guard while in his attack stance holding his arrow. Frank apologizes to him about Guido being just an unfriendly guy and he'd like it if Chrome could just overlook him. Frank, who is still suspicious of Chrome, observes him with being in the middle layers of the cave. He doesn't even have a scratch, thinking maybe it's because of his skill. Frank looks at him and, judging from how dirty Chrome's clothes are, he has been down the dungeon for a day at least, and curious of his alone. Where is his weapon, and what's his level? Glancing at Guido, Frank thought they might be probing him right now, but he made his suspicion way too obvious, and being distrustful is a good quality in adventurers, but Guido shows it too much. Chrome knows he is in a bad situation, that if they dig too deep, he is gonna slip up somewhere. Looking at them, Chrome thought they could attack him anytime, and in the worst case, it might be better for him to strike first to scare them and run away. Chrome, in a serious face, is critically thinking of a way out while Frank shows a poker face. Shelley runs towards him in concern as she states that there's a dungeon disaster happening and asks if he will be okay. Chrome was surprised with her sudden appearance and just said yes. Chrome wonders if the girl was not wary of him at all, suddenly getting close like that. Guido, still on his guard, shouted at Shelley for being reckless as the guy could easily be a bandit. Shelley joyfully says that he is not a bad guy as soon as she sees his face. Guido thinks of her as a happy-go-lucky idiot. Shelley curiously asks Chrome if he came all the way there alone and what about his comrade. Shelly cheerfully tells him that if he is in trouble, they would be happy to help him get outside. Chrome hurriedly runs away from home as he shouts he is fine. Frank blocks Guido as he tells him there is no need to shoot. Shelly worries about Chrome, who runs away if he will be okay. Guido frankly tells her as if they help someone that is suspicious get outside. Shelly pouts at him being mean and says that the guy might have looked a bit strange, but there's no way he was a bad person, and if they leave him alone, he might die in the disaster. Frank debates that the guy was very suspicious. He thinks he is most likely an exiled criminal, and even if he isn't, chasing after someone wary of them will just end in a fight. Shelly still believes that the guy didn't seem like a bad person though. Frank thought that fighting other people in the dungeon is way too dangerous for those who are involved, and he is probably a criminal, but there's no need to chase after him when he runs away on his own. Seeing Guido, Frank thought that he made the guys way too scared of them. Weighing their situation, Frank thought it was dangerous that neither of them could make a move, but Shelly's kindness enabled him to run away, and it's only because she eased the tension that they could safely go their separate ways. Frank happily said that being suspicious and keeping a cool head are good attributes for an adventurer, but guesses Shelly's trust in people is a virtue. Seeing the dark dungeon without the trace of the guy, Frank just told them to forget about him. Frank asks them if they shall retreat or try to go for the boss and lets them decide. Guido thinks for a while. He gathered his thoughts and said it's not like he shares Frank's ideals, and it's not that he sympathizes with Shelly either. Guido in a serious tone added that it's true that it would be easier to take care of that now, and if they really feel like it, he might just as well go along with it, and he is also the rearguard, so in the worst case, he can always run away. Shelly sparkles as she is touched by Guido's agreement. Frank hugs Guido as he agrees to him. Guido frankly said that only because he gets to use Frank as a shield if trouble happens. Shelly optimistically said it would be fine because they're among the top parties at the guild after all. She enthusiastically said that they just do as usual and take them all down in a flash together. On the other hand, Shelly is still frightened about the dungeon disaster. She remembers the monster who attacks their town. Shelly is determined that as long as she can do something, she won't let such a tragedy happen ever again. Chrome catches his breath as he ends up just running away. Looking back, he realized he came off as pretty suspicious and checked if they were chasing him. Chrome suddenly found the girl that was worried about him. He blushes because it's been so long since someone spoke so kindly to him like that. It's already been a week or so since he turned into an undead after all. Even his own party members were so cold to him even before he was still a human. Chrome remembers that the adventurers spoke about challenging the boss and wonders if they are really going to try. Remembering them, they did look like quite the high-ranking party, but he still felt uneasy about the boss of a dungeon run wild. Chrome thought it's pointless for him to worry about them. He thought even if he somehow got through to them, but recalling Guido's suspicious look, he thought they would be headed for a fight after that. Chrome thought that they are only headed for that fight because they're confident, and he'll just get the weight with how suspicious they are of him. And worst of all, he can't use his strength in human form since he can't exactly reveal his true form. He can't do anything. He remembers Frank boldly said that they are adventurers. Rising to the challenge to defend the people in the city is what they do. Chrome feels gloomy about what he recalls. Guido raises his arrow with the pressure at the dead end while facing the said dungeon's boss. Frank seriously reminds him not to let his guard down, even for an instant, because most likely they will be fighting a monster stronger than anything they met before. A gigantic monster holding its sword emanating a dark and red aura in front of them. The gigantic monster appears to be the dungeon's boss, a gargoyle king at level 30 rank C with a health points of 152 max and a mana points of 56 max. An eye from the monster's body widened at the adventurers. The dungeon boss angrily growls at them with its eye in the middle of its stomach. The dungeon boss angrily growls at them with its two swords, and its stat says that it's a gargoyle king at level 30 rank C with a health points of 152 max and a mana points of 56 max. Seeing the dungeon boss stats has made Shelly worried as it was higher than she thought, but she thought it's too late to withdraw now. Frank said that he will take care of the front and orders Shelly to circle around the side. Frank draws his skill in his weapon while thinking they should never fight a higher leveled opponent in a draw-out battle, and they will have to go all out. Frank uses his skill sword wave and slashes it to the dungeon boss. The dungeon boss blocks his attack with one of its swords. Frank saw it blocked his attack. Seeing the dungeon's boss arm left defenseless, he immediately aims for it to attack. His sword sparks brightly as it lands on the monster's arm. After launching his attack, Frank realizes the monster's skin is really tough. The dungeon's boss barely even scratches Frank's sword wave skill. Shelly runs as she prepares to attack next. She rushes towards the dungeon boss with her sword. Although surprised by its level, Shelly notices the dungeon boss was not really fast and determined to not lose to a monster in a sword fight. Shelly has the Sword Princess skill that awakens one's talent for the sword. Shelly raises her sword the moment she sees an opening. She slashes the dungeon boss side of body. Shelly, in a confused state, is feeling like she didn't deal any damage at all. An arrow came flying in the air. It landed on the dungeon boss' shoulder but shattered immediately. Guido irks as his attack is useless. His arrows can't do anything. Frank observes their situation and knows that the dungeon boss is the slow and a high defense kind, but the monster is way too tall. Seeing the gigantic monster, Frank thought that if they can't pierce the stone, their best option is to go for the eyes. However, it's impossible to slip past the two swords the monster is holding. The monster waves its sword and appears to attack the adventurers. The sword lands over Frank and he is blocking it with his sword. Frank struggles with the strength of the monster. Frank thinks there must be a way to win. The gigantic monster smirks at them. It growls as it battles Frank with a sword and eventually uses its magic skill as a red pattern appears on the ground. Frank was surprised as it has a magic skill too. Flame envelopes the dungeon boss as it uses its ability called Flare Vortex. Frank barely managed to get away from the bursting fire. He moaned in pain as both of his arms were burned. Frank looked at Shelly, who seemed safe but lost all of her hope. Frank gets a grip on his sword and thinks if he falters as the leader now, they will collapse. No matter how futile it is, he has to keep attacking. Frank waves his sword again as he uses his skill called Sword Beat. He plans to attack the monster immediately. Frank attacks the dungeon boss as he goes through the fire that envelopes it. Shelly shouted at Frank to stop him the moment she saw him jump through the fire towards the monster. The dungeon boss seemed surprised with his attack. Frank from the above attacks the dungeon boss with his strongest attack called Cross Slash. Frank's attack made a crack on the monster's head. He finally called for Guido to do his part. Guido shoots its arrow aiming at the monster. His arrow pierced through beside the dungeon boss eyeball. As they finally got some proper hits in, Frank at the back of the monster now prepares for the retaliation. But he was startled in shock. The dungeon monster suddenly faces him and attacks him. Frank loosens his grip on his sword. He fell to the ground as the monster slashed him. Frank died while blood gushed out of his body. Guido calls for Shelly to retreat as Frank is down. The gigantic monster looks down on the dead body of Frank. Shelly, in shock, calls for Frank. In front of the gigantic monster, Shelly stands while Frank's body is behind her. Guido curses at Shelly. Moments later, Guido was also lying on the ground while Shelly beside him kneels supported by her sword. Shelly thought if she only could carry Frank and fight at the same time, but there's no way she could get out of there while holding him. Shelly irks as she feels guilty. She apologizes to Guido from forcing him along with them, and advises him to escape if he can. Guido, who's struggling while trying to get up, told her to not make it sound like he had no choice. Guido tries to ease her, stating that he had never let others decide for him and he decided to stay and fight on his own. Shelly was touched by what Guido said. The dungeon monster, on the other hand, growls angrily and raises its sword to attack. Shelly can only close her eyes waiting for her demise. But someone suddenly picks up Frank's sword. Shelly, who was closing her eyes, heard a clang sound that seemed to be from a sword. She opens her eyes in curiosity. The moment she opened her eyes, she saw a man's foot. The man from earlier appears in front of them, blocking the dungeon boss' sword over him. The man, whose name is Chrome, prepares to fight the dungeon boss. Chrome, who appears in front of Shelly, takes on the dungeon boss. Shelly was surprised as the guy who suddenly appeared in front of her was the guy from earlier. Guido, who feebly fell on the ground, was also surprised and asked why he came there. Chrome also wonders why. Earlier that day, he thought he might just get in the way and end up revealing his true form, and there should be no need for him to go. Chrome seems to be skeptical over his decision. He wonders why he is making excuses. He irks as he is confused about what to do. Chrome stood up boldly and made his decision that he shouldn't be worrying about what he should do and should just do it. No matter how little he can help, he thought he should still do his best to stop monsters from hurting people, because that's why he became an adventurer despite the constant mockery. Thinking about those people who went to risk their lives, he realizes he shouldn't be caring about something as small as revealing his true form. Chrome runs towards the adventurers as his level is higher than theirs and sure he will be of use. Both Chrome and the dungeon boss sword collide with each other as they duel. He saw that the dungeon boss had taken some damage. He thought the level difference makes things almost impossible, with seeing the gigantic dungeon boss stats, who is at level 30 with a health points of 125 over 152 and mana points of 44 over 56. The monster's level is far more than Chrome's stats, as Shapeshifter at level 21 with a health points of 79 over 86 and a mana points of 23 over 28. Chrome seems to struggle on taking the monster's pressure it puts on its sword. The monster slashes through as he gives in from his defense. Chrome thought he wouldn't be able to win no matter how hard he tried. He glances at them and likes them to run away while it's still possible. But seeing one of their comrades down, he thought they didn't seem like they had the option to do that. Shelly from afar struggles in pain with Guido lying on the ground. Seeing the gigantic monster's body, it has barely any wounds after getting attacked by 3 people. He saw a little damage to the head and the eye on its stomach. Chrome struggles as the monster is pretty sturdy, and if he wants to defeat it, he will have to aim for the eyes. Chrome startled as the monster waves its sword towards her. The monster smirks at him as if it's mocking him. The dungeon boss manages to slash Chrome's on his body. Blood gushes out as the monster slices him. Shelly from afar is really worried as she saw Chrome take a nasty cut from the monster. Guido, who is also from afar, concerns that Chrome seemed a little capable, but he thought that is all he can do. Chrome's eyes light up, showing a menacing look. Seeing Chrome's intimidating look, the dungeon boss was surprised and seemed uneasy. Chrome charges when the monster lets its guard down and is tougher than he looks. Chrome manages to slash the dungeon boss eye on its stomach. The monster rumbles after Chrome sliced its eye. Chrome uses his ability Regeneration to heal his large cut on his body. As Chrome's wound heals, he now prepares to fight against the monster. The dungeon boss is enraged as flame envelopes around it when it uses its skill called Flare Vortex. Chrome saw the monster lit itself on fire. The monster attacks Chrome while raging in fire, and he jumps away as he can't attack it while it is like that. The monster's sword slashes and lands on the ground, cracking it, while Chrome immediately jumps away and changes position. Chrome was trapped against the wall by the flaming monster. The dungeon boss raised its sword again to attack. Chrome sees an incoming attack and he can't dodge it. Shelly panics as she thinks he will really die this time. A bright light emanates around the flaming area. The monster's sword was blocked by a hand with long and sharp claws. The monster was surprised as its sword stopped by the man. Chrome stops the monster's sword from slicing him and boldly mocks it. While Chrome's left hand holds the dungeon boss sword, his other hand with his sword stabs the eye on its stomach. The monster roars loudly from the pain. Without a proper view of everything, Shelly was confused as the monster caught Chrome, but it's the only one screaming. She cannot see Chrome properly as the monster enveloping in flames blocks the view and wonders what in the world happened. Chrome, while holding the monster's sword, saw the flame crawling over its sword. He let go of the sword as it too envelopes in fire. He saw the monster's sword coming again. He dodged the monster's flaming sword. Chrome realizes the monster is still not dead yet and wonders how tough it is. The dungeon boss, who envelopes in flame, has a long cut on the eye on its stomach. The monster rushes another sword attack with Chrome dodging it again. Chrome catches his breath, realizing the monster is not giving him a chance to counterattack. He can keep the damage from the flames down thanks to regeneration, but he is running out of mana as it goes down from 23 to 5. Chrome can't take any more hits. Not only can he not keep his regeneration up, but he won't be able to maintain Masquerade either. However, his opponent is also close to its own limit. Measuring both of their conditions, Chrome has to find an opening no matter what. Chrome, who is trapped against the wall, is still facing the dungeon boss, who is raging in flame. Chrome saw that the reach is too large as he can't get close enough with the monster knowing about his body too, so he can't take it by surprise anymore. Chrome plans that he should get away from the wall first. The monster made a crack on the ground again with its attack. Chrome is anxious in his situation as it seems the monsters don't want to let go of him. Shelly trembles while also in panic about Chrome. Guido, who is lying on the ground, reaches his bow as he realizes he has to do something. His hand finally gets a grip on his bow. Guido shoots his arrow as he will not just be rescued by some random bypasser. Guido's arrow hits the ceiling of the cave. Seeing where his arrow landed, Chrome thought that the archer missed a shot. But the arrow made a crack on the cave's ceiling and pieces of it started to fall. A large stone landed at the top of the raging monster's head. It roars in both surprise and pain. The cracks on the monster's head spread thanks to the stone. Chrome saw it and prepared to attack with the only chance he got. He pierces through the eye this time. Chrome's sword was left stabbing the eye as the monster roared in rage. Blood gushes out from the eye as the sword is pulled out. Chrome thought he should have been able to deal some damage, but the monster is just too tough. Chrome thought he needed to attack the monster now that it's flailing about in pain. But his weapon is by the monster's feet. Chrome's eye suddenly became red. He transforms his arm in his monster's form as he has no choice but to bring it out. He jumps to the fiery monster. Chrome attacks and is certain about the monster's end. Using his long and sharp claws, he stabs through the monster's eye again. The monster's stomach, where the eye is, shines brightly as it shattered with the monsters about to fall down. He transforms his hand to a human form again. Chrome won as he managed to kill the dungeon boss. The level 30 dungeon boss is dead flat on the ground as Chrome killed it. He gained 630 experience points and level up from 21 to 25. Chrome, who just won against the monster, thought the dungeon is another dimension made from evil mana exuding from the deep ground, and only the boss can pull the evil mana from underground. Now that it's defeated, not only should the dungeon disaster be averted, the spawns around there should also return to normal, too. Chrome glances at the adventurers and wonders if they did not manage to see his undead form. Guido has no doubt that the guy saved them, but as he defeated a monster they had no chance of defeating practically all by himself. Even if the guy was from a different town, Guido is sure they would have heard about him. Guido is really curious about who the guy is. Chrome from afar checks his stats, and he leveled up a lot and thought that the disaster turned out to be a great fortune. His stats now is a shapeshifter at level 25 with a health power of 47/108 and a mana of 2/36. Chrome is enthusiastic about the evolution that should bring monsters closer to their ideal form. He is certain he will become even more human in his next evolution. One of the adventurers came forward to Chrome. It is Shelly that thanks him for saving their lives and immediately introduces herself. Chrome was startled with her sudden appearance and immediately blocked his stats. Shelly asked for his name. Chrome glances at his stats. He panics as he is almost out of mana. With all the events that happened earlier, his mana drops down at 2. He thought he won't be able to keep his human form for much longer as the skill Masquerade that allows him to temporarily take human form consumes 1 mana power every 10 minutes. Chrome, in panic, thought he needed to get away from them as soon as possible. Shelly tries to reach him asking again for his name. Chrome dashes away from her as he does not have time to waste on something so trivial. Shelly dejected as the guy immediately left them without even knowing his name. Guido still feels weird about the guy and wonders what in the world is the matter with him. Seeing the dead body of the dungeon boss, Guido said the guys did not even take its magic stone. Guido explains that it's the proof of ending a dungeon disaster, so the stone is quite valuable. Shelly, who is delighted about the guy saving them and leaving without even telling them his name, thought he must be a really humble person. Guido refuted that there is no way that's all there is to it. He is still curious why the guy is hanging around in the dungeon by himself, and he also suffered a deep wound but recovered right away. Guido wonders if it is his skill. Frank, who fell earlier and thought was already dead, suddenly got up and told Guido to be too distrustful. Guido was shocked with him being awake. Frank explains that the guy came to save them despite how suspicious they were of him, and he is certain the guy has some odd circumstances. But he's not a bad guy. Guido agreed that Frank may be right. He stabbed the dead dungeon boss eye to search for something. Guido is getting the stone on the dungeon boss while Frank, seeing him, takes some time. Shelly also asks if that is okay since they are not the one who defeated it. Frank explains that they need the magic stone to show everyone that the dungeon disaster is over and thought they can just repay him if they ever happen to see him. Shelly thought of seeing him again. She is optimistic about the idea that they will be able to meet him again someday. Chrome, who is now in his original shapeshifter form, used so much regeneration ending with him running away again. His level now is 25 and his mana points is 36. He sits on a stone while thinking that the Masquerade consumes 1 mana point every 10 minutes, and now he can maintain his human form for 6 hours. He was fixated that his mana points will fully recover with just half a day's rest, so if he can hide at home, then living as a human shouldn't be impossible. He suddenly remembers his sister who called out for him as she passed out. Chrome is determined on the idea that it will also serve as training for his skill, and plans to head back to human society. One fine day in the capital, Rayburg, the Adventurers Guild. Frank, Guido, and Shelly get back while other adventurers surround them about the dungeon disaster in the western cave and ask them about the already defeated boss. Frank proudly explains that it's true while it was his first time seeing a monster at level 30, and if that boss hadn't been defeated, that whole area could have turned into a monster nest. Guild Master Gars refuted that it's just too hard to believe subduing such a monster all by themselves is not possible. Frank said it wasn't them who defeated it. Guild Master Gars got confused. Shelly excitedly said that a gallant knight appeared and defeated the boss in an instant. Gars, who still cannot believe the fact that a man took a level 30 boss monster by himself. Gars left them still unbelieving as their group are all pretty heads that have always been full of nothing but flowers, so it must be just another delusion. Shelly still said that it is true that they were saved by a man with white hair, a white manly face, and sharp eyes. Guido recalls the man's unattractive face as he heard Shelly say the man has a manly face. Guido told Shelly off for glorifying everything again, but Shelly said he is the one making him look bad. Frank explains they did help him out a bit, but there's no doubt that most of the credit goes for the man. Gars said he still doesn't fully believe him. Frank proudly brings out the huge magic stone and says who in their right mind would downplay their own achievement, and is certain that Gars will know they really fought a level 30 boss when they see the man. The adventurers saw the magic stone, which is so huge and sinister, and thought that the white-haired man actually exists. One adventurer debates that it is impossible. If an adventurer like that existed, he'd be famous, as they were really telling them he did most of the work, then just left without grabbing the magic stone. People argued that maybe the man is just a chivalrous guy who doesn't want to stand out, and that he could also just be a battle junkie. Shelley delightfully thought the man could be a prince from far away in the middle of his training, as he had very dignified features after all. Frank thought it seemed like the guy had some kind of reason, and maybe bringing him up was a bad idea. Kamya, the sister of Chrome, is also there, and she thought that fighting a level 30 boss alone seems like there's amazing unknown adventurers out there. As the dungeon boss was defeated at the western cave where his brother disappeared in, she remembered his brother's letter on its sword. Kamya touches his brother's sword and hopes he wasn't caught up in the dungeon disaster. Kamya thought that a dungeon whose boss has been defeated will no longer be able to absorb the mana from the depths of the earth, so a lot fewer monsters will appear in the dungeon. It takes at least a few years before a new boss appears. Kamya clenches her weapon, as she thought if there's no boss, then the dungeon should be much safer than before, and debating whether to look for him again. It is a good day inside a shop. Frank is overjoyed as he holds their reward was worth risking their lives over. Guido said it will pay off their debts, allow them to get new equipment, and maybe even have some left for luxuries, but it's not even close to being worth their lives. Shelley is hesitant, as it's supposed to be that guy's reward, but Frank said what else should they do after he just left it there, and can just worry about it if he ever decides to come asking for it. Frank splits the reward in 3 and gives both of Guido and Shelley's part. Frank also gives a little extra reward from his part to Shelley that made her surprised. Shelley was hesitant, as he can't accept this much. Frank delightedly said not to hold back, since she is going home for the first time in a while. He reminds her to be careful because the law and order is not exactly at its best over there. Shelley bows as she apologizes and thanks Frank. Shelley happily said she'll make sure to repay his kindness 10 times over, and Frank said he'll look forward to it. Shelley waves goodbye at her comrades. Frank with Guido also waves back at her. Guido is certain that Shelley will donate her reward to the church that raised her, that it is stupid, as she's basically throwing away money to keep it alive. Guido added he's fed up with Shelley's idiocy and Frank's hypocrisy. Frank, without minding what Guido said, is drowning in the idea that mana from within the depths of the earth is getting stronger each year. Frank explains that according to some great scholars, this entire kingdom will be swallowed by the dungeon within the century, and added it may be meaningless for them to risk their lives to fight and to give the money they earn from dungeon disasters to orphan. Frank expounds that humans are creatures that can't help but do something, no matter how inefficient or meaningless it may be, because after all, that's why Guido agreed to fight the boss as well. Guido clarifies that it's already too late for that town, what they call that place. The place that Guido was talking about is the ruined city, Odfield. Guido believes that Shelley should just hurry up and forget that city. On the other hand, Chrome is working hard on hunting other monsters. Using his long and sharp claws, he mauled the monster to death. He gained 36 experience points as a reward. While checking his stats, Chrome realizes he has been hunting monsters for almost the entire day, but has gotten so strong he can't raise his level anymore. Seeing his stats at level 25 with health points of 86 over 108 and mana points of 33 over 36, he guesses that this level is the limit for that dungeon. With the dungeon boss death, there's barely any monsters in the dungeon. As time passes, adventurers will come to retrieve the magic stones from the dead monster. Even if he takes a human form, he can't completely hide his fangs and marks. Though he can manage in the dark dungeon, walking around a city would be dangerous. Chrome wishes that there was a perfect town somewhere. Chrome is suddenly reminded of an argument with Derek as he bursts from taking cargo to the western town field, as no matter how good the terms are, he won't have anything to do with that place. Chrome asks if that place is really that bad, and Derek mockingly certifies it to him. Derek also said that thanks to the dungeon disaster, you can't even call it a city anymore, and it's the kind of place where nobody cares about dead bodies or monsters littering the streets. Chrome thought that if public order is that bad, he's sure nobody would mind a somewhat suspicious guy there. If he takes a human form, finds some clothes, and wears a hood, he can hide his fangs and skin color. Chrome thought if he rests at the inn, he can recover mana for Masquerade, and he can just get the money by taking the stones of the monsters he had killed there. The sun shines at Chrome as he arrives at the passage out of the dungeon. As Chrome exits the dungeon, he plans to try to sneak into the ruined city Odfield. One day in the ruined city Odfield, Chrome finally arrives in the rumored ruined city Odfield and hears that the town was abandoned by the country after the dungeon disaster. He looks around the place and thinks it does look as bad as the rumors say, but the people seem normal. Chrome is delighted, as this is just supposed to be a test to see whether he can enter a town with Masquerade and find a dungeon but it sure is wonderful to be among humans again. Chrome is not satisfied with how people are looking at him and thinks he needs to buy some clothes that hides his face better. For his plan to be successful, he will need some money first. He went to one of the shops in town. He excitedly shows the 3 magic stones from monsters above level 20. The man in the shop seemed skeptical that a weakling-looking guy like him with no weapon did that. The stones are from gargoyles he picked up when he left the dungeon. Chrome thought this should be enough for him to stay in town for a while. The man gives him 500 ghoul. Chrome dumbfounded as the man seemed to miscount when in the capital. He could easily get more than 10 times that amount. The man said he could as Chrome hopes for more. The man clarifies that this is not the capital, this is Odfi, a town of social outcasts. The man even suspects the stones were obviously stolen, but Chrome said it's not. The man expounds that at this guild, they neither ask for name nor your adventurer's plat, and they don't ask about your background either, nor about how you get the magic stones. He added that he doesn't even blame Chrome for walking in with clothes that look to be stained in human blood. The man told him he can take it elsewhere, but he'd better watch his steps if he wishes to make it out of that city. Chrome takes the gold being in a much worse situation than he expected, and he estimates that he'll be broke in 2 or 3 days with that much. He irks in annoyance as the man could totally see he wasn't used to that town. Even if he chose to negotiate, it would be pointless considering how little he knows. A blonde man suddenly talks to him from behind. Chrome was surprised by the sudden talk and asked what he wanted. The man introduces himself as Jeff and said no need to be scared of him as he is quite well known, though only around the Odfi Guild. Jeff said an outsider like Chrome would just be chewed up and spit out, so he thought Chrome would better learn the rules around the city. Chrome wonders about the rules that Jeff mentioned. Chrome thought that despite Jeff's look, he might be a nice guy. Jeff smirks frankly at him. He pushes Chrome against the wall abruptly. Chrome was surprised with the sudden event. Jeff told him to hand over all the cash he got and said he will protect him if Chrome does so. Chrome grips tightly his gold and turns down Jeff's offer, stating he is good. Jeff got interrupted in the middle of him frankly talking at Chrome. Chrome pushes him easily to the ground. Jeff fell on the ground with Chrome's surprisingly crazy strength. The man saw what happened and teases Jeff as he got knocked in his arse by a brat while the other mocks him he just fell. Chrome, feeling Jeff's body earlier, guesses his level 20. Jeff in annoyance pulls out his sword. Looking around the area, Chrome is wondering if the guy is really serious as he is really drawing his sword in broad daylight. People try to stop Jeff as Chrome is not worth it, but he insists on letting go of him as Chrome made a fool out of him. Chrome dashes as he sees a chance to attack. He jumps over Jeff and he kicks his sword. Jeff just got angrier when he suddenly drops his sword. Chrome didn't wait for Jeff to pick up his sword and immediately ran away. Jeff shouts in anger, threatening Chrome to kill him next time. With his gold in safety, Chrome thought he could probably take him, but he'd just end up standing even more out. He just came to the city, but he has already been swindled and extorted, which doesn't bode well. Chrome, while resting in the room, wonders why he is even more exhausted than in the dungeon where he risked his life. He brought a blade that costs 240 gall, a robe to hide his face costs 60 gall, and a room at an inn costs 110 gall, making him all broke. He says that he could not even get a shared room to save money since he needs to undo his skill to recover his mana. Chrome gathered his thoughts as it's been so long since he had been in a human settlement, so he would have liked to stay a little longer, but he will need to gather information about dungeons and leave before people find out about him. With the bag full of gold, the priest wonders if giving them that much is really alright with Shelly, as it is not like here to have a lot to spare. Shelly, while carrying an infant, delightedly told him not to worry, as despite how she looks, she is a promising newcomer in the capital. The priest responded that the money is a big help to them, but she made it out of the church and is making a living. The priest said it would be better for her if she could just forget. But Shelly gladly said there's no way she'd never forget the church that raised her after she was orphaned by the dungeon disaster. Shelly then joyfully said that she has many little brothers and sisters in the church after all. One of her brothers excitedly asked her if she is a famous adventurer in the capital, and she agreed. The child then asks again if she can close the hole of disaster. Shelly seems shocked with the child's question. She just answered the child with determination that she is sure she will be able to close it someday. Shelly finally bids her goodbye to the priest and the children and tells them to take good care of themselves. The priest tells her to take care of herself too, as being an adventurer is undeniably dangerous. One morning in the middle of the ruined city, Odfi, Chrome finds everyone so unfriendly as he can't find out anything with everyone just tries to trick him. He thought of getting magic stones and go to the capital for cash, but there's just too many people in the capital. Looking from afar, planning of going to the capital, Chrome grew his suspicions that guards would stop him immediately, and is certain that only at the city of Odfi he could walk around outside in daylight. There's also a good chance he would run into someone who knows him in the capital and it could end up being a huge ruckus, especially if they are his former comrades who betrayed him. Chrome thought Odfield is much a safer choice, but as he is walking, Shelly appears in front of him. Shelly was surprised to see the guy. Chrome seems to be uncomfortable seeing her. Shelly blushes in joyousness as she finally gets to see again the guy who saved their lives back then. Chrome, who just thought earlier of the chances that someone who knows him bumps into him, immediately happen. Shelly is sparkling in cheerfulness as she wasn't expecting they would meet each other so soon after she thought they would never meet again. Chrome was also shocked, but in the opposite feeling with Shelly's. Shelly feels like she's on cloud 9 on a reunion with her savior. And on top of that, in her hometown it's almost like it's fate. Chrome, still feeling uncomfortable with their meeting, recalls that her name is Shelly Schulz, who is level 8, a quite reliable mid-rank adventurer. He remembers because back in the dungeon, he saw Shelly's stats. Shelly cheerfully talks to him as she was thinking she would at least like to thank him. Chrome runs away again as he told her off he hit the wrong guy. Shelly calls on to him when he runs away. She suddenly remembers Frank said that the guy was probably just some criminal that was chased out of town. For someone so strong to come to Odfield, Shelly thought there has to be a reason. She chases him, stating she won't pry into his past or anything. Chrome does not seem to mind her, and continues on his way while she follows him, explaining she just wanted to thank him. Chrome did not hear Shelly, still running in a hurry, still wondering why she kept on chasing him, and he thought she found out he was actually a monster. Shelly catches her breath as she loses sight of him. She thought he must be quite a high level one considering how fast he is. She looks around her to find the man. Chrome, on the other hand, met a dead end. As someone who is new in the city, he does not know where to go and just keeps on running until finally meeting a dead end. With his physical ability and his claws as a shapeshifter, he can come over the wall, and as he also sees that there's nobody around, Chrome transforms his hands into a shapeshifter's form with a plan to make it over the wall that will surely lose her for good. He uses his long and sharp claws and climbs over the wall. He was nearly on the top when suddenly his sword falls on the ground. He calls on his blade, as it is also his precious 240 gall. He dives as he tries to get a grip of it. He fell on the ground and in pain as he hit his back, realizing there wasn't even a reason for him to dive like that. Shelly caught up to him and saw him on the ground. Chrome muddled as he was caught and there's no way out. Shelly humbly apologizes to him for just rudely chasing after him, but Chrome said not to worry as it was his own fault he fell. Chrome, still feeling uneasy, asked if she really was not going to pry into him. Shelly convinces him that she will not and says he is her savior, and she's sure he has his own circumstances. Chrome thought it would be bad if he ran into anyone he knew, and he even got caught, but he is still grateful for finally finding someone he can talk to, since he had only found guys he could not get anything out of so far. Shelly is still hopeful to get to know his name and asks him once again. Chrome agreed only to give his name, and he introduced his name as Chrome Clank. Shelly, who finally got the answer, shines brightly while saying his name as Chrome worries it may be bad to use his real name. Chrome is why was Shelly in the Odfield. Shelly became quiet for a while. Chrome notices it and apologizes and says she doesn't have to answer, but Shelly says it's fine. Shelly delightedly told him that she normally works around the Royal Kappa, but this is her hometown and she comes to see how it's doing every now and then. Seeing thugs around the area, Shelly explains that the city wasn't like this half a year ago, but the city is getting more and more dangerous each year. As Frank said back then, the dungeon disaster was the catalyst leading to Shelly's hometown falling to ruin. Chrome recalls what he said and realizes they were talking about the Odfield. Chrome explains that it's his first time there and asks if she could tell him about the town. Shelly answers that for many years, Odfield was a beautiful place and it wasn't really prosperous, but it was a nice and kind town. Then, the dungeon close to town known as the Hole of Disaster suddenly started transforming from a dungeon disaster when she was little. Monsters began to swarm the city, and anyone with the status or money fled, cutting off contact with other cities. Shelly added that before long, it became a gathering place for outlaws with nowhere else to go, creating the ruined city everyone knows of today. The outlaws may protect the town from monsters, but they only see the previous inhabitants as nothing more than slaves. Shelly expresses her dream is to become a first-class adventurer and close the Hole of Disaster to free Odfield from their evil grasp. Chrome was enthusiastic about Shelly's dream. One morning, the church where Shelly is living, the boy told the priest in eagerness that he wants to join his sister Shelly as an adventurer when he grows up. As the boy already discovers his skill, is certain that he would be of use to her. The boy cheerfully said they will earn a lot of money and make sure the church does not lack anything, with the priest's assurance that his sister would be happy to hear that. A footstep is coming from a distance. The priest heard it and wondered as people never come there. The boy rushes towards the door thinking Shelly forgot something and returns. The boy, who is not even close to the door, slams open. Two people on a coat with a dragon symbol on the back appear in front of them. The boy asks them for their identity. The man with an intimidating face was surprised to see the priest still in the town. The priest saw the symbol on their clothes. He immediately recognizes them as the evil dragons, the ones who rule the town. The two show a threatening aura as he states that their expansion is going well, but they are somewhat short on manpower and would like a few more slaves they can freely use. He also added that the boss ordered them to sweep the town and bring back anyone, even brats like the boy. The man's frightening request expects that the priest wouldn't turn them down. The boy was surprised as it is new to him since this has never happened before. His hands won't stop trembling while clinging onto the priest's clothes. The boy irks as he already has his skill and is determined that he will become strong like his sister Shelly and protect everyone at the church. The man said that brats are unruly and annoying as he convinces the priest that they will surely come quietly if he asks them. The priest gets down on his knee as he begged to spare the kids. He begs on his knees and bows down in front of the men, saying he will become their slave and do anything. The blonde-haired guy mocks him about his use of being a weak old man. The boy strides towards them. He prepares to attack them and reveals his skill as he won't let him do as they pleases. The priest calls on his name as it would be useless. The boy, whose name is Tail, attacks them using his skill called Fireball. The man seems delighted as he sees Tail get fire magic. Tail's fireball does not even reach the man. Tail was surprised with how his fire magic shatters easily without even touching the man. The man yields his skills as he tries to demonstrate how to use one in front of Tail. The man yielded his skill called Thunderbolt, aiming the wall. The wall shattered in pieces with the power coming from the man's Thunderbolt. The wall got easily destroyed by that man. The other guy praises the man whose name is Rado. Tail suddenly kneels in shock after he sees how strong the man was. Rado strides forward Tail to make an example out of his rebellious act. He waves his hand, preparing to use his skill as he threatens that it will surely help the priest to understand as well. The priest thought Tail might be killed at this rate. He glances at a weapon, planning something. The priest used to hunt monster long ago and have a few levels and know a little about how to fight. He aims his weapon at the back of Rado, but the other guy wards off the priest's weapon with his sword. The man seems to be pissed with the priest. Tail, who was sitting surprised on the floor, was told off by the priest to run away. Tail is teary-eyed while watching the situation. Tail heard the priest and runs towards the door. The guy whose name is Jeff, who is the same man who extorted Chrome, was annoyingly stops the boy, but Rado tells him to leave him. Rado said there's plenty of brats there. He slams the priest's head on the ground to make sure the old man knows who's in charge. The children comes out as they hear some noise. The priest, who just got attacked, told them to stay away. The children was surprised with what they saw. The men restrain the priest on the ground, and the guy named Jeff orders them to don't move, and if they run away, he might just cut the priest's head off. The priest struggles as his head was pressed down. Rado yields his skill as he will raise the power of his lightning magic little by little, looking forward to seeing just how much the priest valued the children. On the other side, Chrome and Shelly still hanging on their conversation when Chrome told her he'd like if she could guide him as the streets all look too similar. Shelly is filled with joy and said she'll do anything she can for Chrome as she knows everything about the city, even the areas around it. Shelly suddenly realizes something. She remembers their conversation earlier about the reward. She apologizes as they went and sold the boss magic stone themselves, and she need to have the priest to give it back. The same with Frank and Guido too. Chrome argues that he really don't care about that, but he saw his bag of gold left emptied. On second thought, he asks if he could get 200 gold. Chrome was about to ask the nearby dungeon, but suddenly got interrupted as someone shouted Shelly's name. Shelly looks where the voice is coming from, and they saw Tail rushing while he was crying. Shelly worriedly told him it's not safe around the area with him being alone. Tail, while crying, explains that scary people came to the church and they're going to kill the priest. Shelly, as if poured by cold water, wasn't able to speak at the moment. Shelly told Chrome that she needs to go immediately. Chrome suspects the situation isn't good and says he will go with her. Chrome is certain that Shelly is also one and only trusted source of information in the city. He suddenly remembered the day he was happy together with his sister and the priest. Chrome thought he can't help but feel like this is personal as well. That day at the church, the priest is being electrified by Rado's lightning bolt. Seeing the toasted back of the priest, Jeff thought he was so stubborn. He steps on the priest's head. He told him if he doesn't want to die, he should tell the kids they need to listen to them immediately. Jeff told him off that they will take the kids even if he does die, so him being stubborn is pointless. He spats at the priest's head, who is lying on the ground. The priest said that even if it changes nothing, he wants the kids to know he loved them as they fearfully watched the situation from afar. The priest boldly told him to remember he never backed down, ensuring that will help them for the rest of their lives. Jeff is really pissed off at the priest. Rado guesses the priest can't take anymore and calls on the children. Rado charges up, attempting to aim it at the priest as he tells the children to see what happens when they go against the evil dragon. Someone suddenly rushed towards the place. Rado seems surprised as he sees them. Shelly and Chrome come rushing at them. Rado gets up and said they made too much noise as there are still people who'd get involved in other people's business with the town. Jeff glances at the man as he remembers him. On the other hand, Chrome made a serious face as he seems disturbed by the situation. Shelly was frightened as she recognizes that the men are the red dragon who rules the town as she saw the mark of the evil dragons on their clothes. Rado yields his skill as he threatens them that even though they knew who they were, they still tried to stop them. While Chrome and Shelly are both anxious at the moment as threats may come both their way and her family. The priest saw Shelly while struggling to move. Jeff just smirks at the two. He laughs when he familiarizes Chrome that turns out the brat who ran away with his tail between his legs. Chrome also reminded of him as the extorter from the guild. Jeff was the same guy who pushed him corner at the wall while he tried to extort him. Jeff draw his sword at Chrome with nobody there will try to stop him this time. The priest was worried about Shelly and the boy he doesn't know of and wants them to run away. With the evil dragons are wretched in nature, they will just start going after them as well. Chrome pointed his sword at Jeff, but he just mocks him with that rusty piece of scrap metal he has. Jeff belittles Chrome with his nice spunk he got, but he's completely stiff and thought it must be his first time fighting with his life on the line. Chrome remembers his time in dungeon where he overcome life and death battles so many times by now while hearing Jeff's mockery. Chrome boldly told him off not to get the wrong ideas as there's no way he'd be threatened by someone as weak as him. Jeff felt pissed hearing Chrome's mockery of him. They draw sword at each other that spark at the scrape. Jeff feels the fastness and strength of Chrome. He believes that the short stack Chrome might be a higher level than him. Jeff attacks without accepting the fact that Chrome might be higher level than him. Chrome draws his sword and nearly pierces through Jeff's chest. He stumbles back as he avoids Chrome's sword. Jeff frightens and shocks as he jumps back to lessen the blow, but it still comes close to piercing his chest through his armor. Swords Chrome is now pointing above Jeff's face. Chrome, while pointing his sword, says that is only trembling because he is unbelievably angry to think someone could be ever more detestable than monster. Jeff frightens at the moment as the sword pointed in front of his face. He saw his hand tremble in fear. He wonders why he is shaking against someone like Chrome. On the other hand, Rado draws his skill. Chrome gazes at his direction and is surprised at the moment. Rado yielded his skill Thunderbolt and lightning began to emit on the magic on his hand. Chrome immediately jumps back as lightning strikes in front of him. Rado comes rushing attacking Chrome. Chrome blocks his attack using his sword. Rado understands the situation with him taking care of Jeff as one thing, but he can deal with his attacks as well, confirming Chrome is not any ordinary guy. While they battle inside the church, Rado said Chrome does not seem that smart, defying them evil dragons for a mere ruined church such that place. Chrome thought now that he has done it, he can't undo his skill not even in a town like that. He feels the guy is quite skilled at the very least, he is stronger than his human form. Light sparks with both their swords scraping with each other. Rado charges towards Chrome with Chrome blocks all of his sword attacks. Jeff watches and can't believe the fact that Chrome can even hold his own against Rado. Jeff smirks as he sees Chrome's back is wide open. He saw an unguarded back of Chrome who was busy fighting Rado in front. Light sparks the moment two swords collided with each other. Jeff, who targeted Chrome's unguarded back, has been defended by Shelly. Shelly challenges him as she is now his opponent. Jeff annoyingly curses at her with them seeming to look down on him. Jeff charges towards Shelly and the two duel with each other. Shelly stumbles a bit while avoiding Jeff's attacks. Shelly struggles with how fast and strong Jeff is, thinking he might be a higher level than her. Jeff smirks as he feels that he is clearly a way higher level than her. He thought it seemed like this is her first serious fight with a human and she must be an adventurer that has only fought monsters, so this fight will be easy for him. Their sword collided at the attack with Jeff thinking both levels and experience favor him and there's no way he could lose. Shelly seems to struggle on a duel between her and Jeff mocks her for being scared. Jeff thought it must be her first fight with her life on the line and mocks her for being second-rate adventurer. Jeff intimidatingly said that he actually loved playing with women, teasing her not to die easily on him. Shelly annoyed at the moment she heard Jeff's words. On the other side, Rado still on his battle against Chrome while he blocks his sword aiming at his face. Chrome jumps back and seems to struggle against Rado. Rado can tell he has got both levels and guts, but too bad for Chrome. He can't do anything to him with that scrap of metal of sword. Chrome seems annoyed at his mockery. Rado wonders and asks him why he chooses to fight him, condescending that it's only natural that the strong exist to dominate the weak. Rado added that suppose Chrome sends them in defeat, nothing will change. Unlike Jeff, Rado don't like wasting his energy on nothing. Rado persuades him with the ideals that if high-level people like them fight for real, they could suffer irreparable harm. However, if Chrome should withdraw now, he will overlook it. Rado with his threatening look said this is his last warning and questions Chrome, telling him will he throw his life away over some petty sense of justice. Chrome answers Rado, who's telling him to stop because it won't make a difference. Remembering the monsters who killed his parents and the mockery of the people around him, Chrome boldly refused to yield to insufferable guys like him. Rado annoyed by his foolishness. Magic pattern appears below Rado while he is saying he never intended to go all out in a place like this, but he cannot allow a brat like Chrome to continue making fun of the evil dragons. Rado's sword envelopes in lightning as he yields his skill called Lightning Sword. Chrome was shocked when Rado uses his lightning magic on his sword. With his lightning sword, Rado threatens Chrome that he will burn him to charcoal in seconds, and the most he can do is regret the choice he has chosen. Chapter 20. Rado charges his lightning sword towards Chrome, telling him to die. Chrome was still in shock as lightning got closer to his face. Chrome dodged the light sword that was drawn by Rado. Chrome thought his sword might snap if he blocked something like that, not to mention, in his current form, he could die to a single strike. Chrome struggles at the moment as he can dodge the attack but not forever, and if he gets pushed back to a wall, it's over. Shelly, who is in the middle of a duel with Jeff, worries about Chrome. Jeff charges towards her as she still has time to be concerned about someone else. Their swords crossed at each other. Jeff irks as Shelly is tougher than he thought. Jeff both has a higher level as well as experience more than her, but he can't get a proper hit in. He jumps back and struggle. He curses as he wonders why he struggles with someone like Shelly. Shelly told him off why he still wonders, but surely he already knows. There's no determination or resolve in his swings. Shelly boldly told him she would never come up short against a person like Jeff. He was annoyed with what he heard. Jeff attacks angrily while cursing Shelly. She thought the man Chrome is fighting is clearly a much larger threat. Shelly, while in defense against Jeff, thought she at least should help him as fast as she can. On the other side, Chrome jumps as Rado's lightning sword lands on the ground. Chrome struggles as he can't block nor take any hits at all and thinks he is done for if he pins him against the wall. Seeing Rado's lightning sword that has a longer reach and is far stronger, Chrome can't even close the distance and wonders what he should do. Rado asks what's wrong as he challenges him to show his skill already. Chrome just staring as he thinks of an idea. He thought of canceling the masquerade, but skeptical on showing his true form in front of those people. Chrome thought if he turned into a monster now, the priest and the children would panic and Shelly wouldn't be able to keep fighting like that. He thought there's no way he can leave his human form now. Chrome stays still at the moment. He stops as he suddenly remembers that back in the dungeon, the situation would have taken a turn for the worse if he threatened them with Frank, who passed out, and Shelly with Guido, who can't even move in a struggle. Chrome, though it's different now, with this turning into a huge mess, should be better than letting those guys rampage in church. The idea of revealing his true form might be best. Chrome was just scared of the idea that Shelly and the children would come to fear him if they all saw his true form. He irks at the fact that it's only for his own ego that he has been fighting while hiding his monster form. Meanwhile, Rado with his lightning sword said if Chrome doesn't want to use his skill, then he better off dying. Rado, with his lightning sword, draws one of his skills. Chrome was shocked as he saw him use two spells at the same time. Lightning struck in front of Chrome that made him stumble back. He fell to the ground with his burned arm. Chrome was also surprised as he saw Rado run towards him. After drawing his spell, Rado charges another attack at Chrome. He saw Chrome as a quick brat, but this will be the coup de grace. Rado raised his sword aiming at Chrome as this the end of the line. Chrome saw what Rado's intent. He trembles as he prepares to take on the attack. Rado shouts at him, mocking as if Chrome could block his sword with that paltry thing of his. Chrome's sword was shattered by Rado's lightning sword. The lightning sword manages to stab Chrome in his stomach. The priest thought Chrome has lost. Rado saw that the lightning sword pierced through Chrome's stomach, but he noticed Chrome avoided getting hit in the vitals, and he might instead have barely dodged death with that. While lightning sword pierced through Chrome, Rado thought he's at death's door now that it's pointless to struggle. Rado seems to struggle as he was about to kill Chrome. He can't pull out his lightning sword that feels like it's stuck in solid stone. Rado saw Chrome is quickly healing and trapping the sword inside him and shocked at the wound's color. Chrome, who has the lightning sword still pierced through him, holds the sword as he has also caught Rado. Rado was shocked with how calm Chrome is even with such a wound and that skill, and cold aura as if he's almost like something. Chrome is in his serious face as the situation got reversed. He baited Rado into stabbing him after deflecting his sword. Before getting stabbed, he changed his skin on the stomach back to that of a monster and activated regeneration. Seeing Chrome's terrifying aura, Rado asked what the hell Chrome is. But Chrome just charges an attack towards him. He landed a strong uppercut on Rado. Rado blacks out at Chrome's attack. Chrome in his monster form hand just watches Rado fell down and blacking out. Rado, who's blackout on the ground that got defeated by Chrome, utters it's impossible. Chrome won and holds the sword, who is still pierced at him. The priest was surprised as Chrome really defeated Rado, the lightning guy. Jeff, who is in the middle of a duel with Shelly, was shocked at the loss of Rado. Chrome finally pulled out the sword on his stomach. Chrome pointed the sword at Jeff, saying he can still go on for another battle with him. Shelly threatens him as it's 2 versus 1 now. They pointed their sword towards Jeff. Jeff, who is now battling alone, chokes himself. He suddenly uses his skill called Poison Mist and breathes smoke towards them. Shelly holds her mouth as the smoke scatters around. Something crashed around the area. Jeff broke the window on his way to escape, saying picking a fight with the evil dragon over a ruined church like this is stupid of them. He threatens them that they make the rules in Odfi and don't think they will enjoy an easy death. Before jumping out, he warns them for the last time that they will regret this. Chrome and Shelly just watch him jump over the window, escaping them. Shelly sighs a sense of relief as they safely chase them out for now. Chrome uses his regeneration skill to heal his wound, as he somehow managed to make it through without exposing his true form. His wound healed thanks to regeneration. Chrome thought if someone appeared that he had to fight in front of others, and he couldn't beat them while in human form. Wonders what he should do then. Chrome sweats in worry as thinking about it won't change anything. The priest's wound was threatened and now in a safe condition together with the children. The priest thanked both Shelly and Chrome. Chrome seems surprised as the priest knows his name. Thinking about the children, the priest can't imagine what would have happened to them if they weren't there. The priest asks if Chrome's wound is okay since his stab wound is pretty deep, and Chrome answered yes, as he has a healing skill. Chrome sweats in nervousness as using regeneration means he doesn't have the mana points to maintain Masquerade and needs to wrap this up and get back to the inn. Shelly suddenly said to the priest that they can't stay here in Odfield anymore. She added it's gotten much worse in the short time while she was gone, and those evil dragon guys might come back there again. Shelly told the priest they have to move to the capital. The priest refuses as Shelly knows he can't do that, as it is true that the capital would be better, but they simply can't afford the cost of living or the taxes. The priest also expounds that they are also quite far away from the capital, and bringing the kids there would be a difficult task. Shelly worriedly explains to him what those evil dragons did. That's why they can't stay there anymore, and that she will help as best as she can, so they should leave the city. But the priest answers that he will show her they can take care of themselves. He warns them what's more urgent is that the two of them leave town immediately, as the evil dragons will target them now. Shelly together with Chrome are both worried faces. They were reminded of Jeff's warning earlier that they will not enjoy an easy death. The priest explains that those guys care a lot about appearances, and they will come for revenge no matter what. Chrome worries about what the priest has said. Shelly bows at Chrome, thanking him, and she is truly sorry she couldn't do anything for him in the end. Shelly asks him what he is going to do now. Chrome answered he was thinking of heading back to the inn for the day, but doesn't have any plans for after that, and attempted to ask for Shelly, while Shelly was just there waiting for him to say something. Chrome suddenly stops at his word, realizing he can't ask her so easily. He thought he wouldn't abandon the church that helped raise her after being left alone there, but Shelly herself is being targeted by the evil dragons. While Chrome has that thought, Shelly on the other hand is also thinking she has to remain in the church to protect everyone, but that might just make them come back. She suddenly remembered those guys with more people with them as they returned. Shelly thought, as the priest said, they just don't have the resources to bring everyone to the capital. But she abandons them. Those guys will surely take everyone away. Shelly worries about what he should do, while Chrome is also thinking the same as her on what he should do too. Chrome asks her if she could tell him about that hole of disaster and the reason Odfield fell into ruin. Shelly answers him that she thinks people found it as soon as it appeared north of town, and she advises Chrome to leave it alone. Once, some knights were dispatched from the capital to clear it out, but it seems all 20 of them were wiped out. Chrome seems shocked as he heard that the force dispatched by the nation was wiped out. Shelly then added that ever since then, the city was ignored by the country. Chrome thought it's clear what he should do now. Chrome plans to conquer the whole of disaster and end the dungeon disaster, and free Odfield from the evil dragons. Originally, he came here just to find a place to level up. To level up quickly, he needs monsters who are a higher level than himself, and he's sure a dungeon that could take on the nation's knight would qualify. Chrome thought that if he let a criminal group like the evil dragons run rampant, he can't rely on them to take on any monsters that come to the city. But if he stops the dungeon disaster by defeating the boss, he is certain that the country's knights will come to suppress them. Chrome clenches his fist in a certainty that he is as tough as a monster, and he should be able to level up deep inside the dungeon. Chrome is determined to save the Odfield and to evolve to the next form. Inside the hideout of the evil dragons, Jeff kneels and bows down on Galrud, saying he has something to report. He said somebody messed with them in the middle of their slave hunt, and even Rado got taken down. Jeff mentioned that the one who did it was a gloomy kid called Chrome and persuades them to go back in full force to punish him. Jeff smirks as he reports Chrome to them. Remembering the gloomy kid Chrome, Jeff thought he might be a pretty capable kid, but this will spell his doom and will regret opposing him. Galdo, after hearing Jeff's words, said in certainty that Jeff ran away as soon as Rado got taken down, which made Jeff startled. Galdo clenches his weapon. Galdo, who is the boss of the evil dragons, emitted a terrifying aura while asking Jeff how he viewed him. Jeff stuttered in his words as he praised that the boss is a truly amazing and inspiring person. He lifted his weapon and charged towards Jeff. The boss axe landed beside Jeff, who was anxiously scared at the moment. The boss said that he guesses that wasn't the right question and asks him if Jeff fears him or that brat named Chrome more. Jeff kneels and stutters in his words, saying it would be Galrod who he feared the most. Galrod warns him not to ever taint the name of the evil dragons ever again, or he will personally kill him if this ever happens again. Jeff concurs at Galrod's word. Jeff, while gazing at Galrod, who shows a terrifying aura, recalls that he rose to power through his brutal methods and incredibly powerful skills. Jeff irks at his thought that Galrod is called the on-field monster, that even himself likes that nickname. Jeff is certain that Galrod might really kill him if he ever let that happen again. Galrod, while sitting on his throne, wonders and asks Carnella why has she decreased the number of guards at the Hole of Disaster. He asks Carnella, who's the evil dragon's top brass, if he gave her permission to do that. Galrod irks as if she can't keep that place under control. It's gonna be a pain. Carnella said she has been prioritizing another emergency. She explains that it seems like the Knights of the Kingdom have yet to learn from their mistakes and have been spotted in town, and they're only certain about a few, but there may be many more scattered around. Carnella said she has been busy investigating them. Galrod is annoyed as he learns that those knights are here. Galrod boasts that if they're going to make light of him, he will have no choice but to teach them a lesson, just like how he did with her. Carnella empathizes with him and suggests it won't be a good idea to just all in on them. Carnella explains the situation if the knights are after or are perhaps investigating the Hole of Disaster, and recommends waiting a little while until she figures out what they are up to. Chrome on top of the roof gazes at a far distance where the north of the city was. He is certain that the Hole of Disaster does not seem hard to find, as Chrome saw the big hole towards a dungeon that made Onfield suffer. Chrome is delighted as he rested for half a day at the inn, so his mana and stamina has completely recovered and he is ready as he can be. He glances around and wonders with what he saw. He wonders why people are already out when the sun hasn't even risen yet. A one-eyed monster with a fireball on its hand suddenly appears. It shoots fire at the people around. Fire scattered around as the people shouts that monsters have left the dungeon and ask for anyone's help. Chrome comes rushing as the evil dragons who rule the town aren't protecting the people at all. Someone suddenly appears in front of the crowd. The person said to be an adventurer and suggested that anyone unwounded and has energy should bring the kids to safety. A man draws his sword, saying he can help protect them as well. The monster rushes again for another attack, but the man was frightened the moment he saw the incoming monster. The person yields his skill called Holy Magic and makes a holy shield. The person pulled out the sword and comes rushing towards the monster. The monster got annoyed at that person's attack. The person told the man to step back as he has no use for him. Chrome at the roof thought it doesn't seem like they've noticed him. The monster was shocked at something. Chrome comes rushing and slashing the monster. The person glances at him. Chrome tells him that he will help him out. The person saw Chrome wound a monster from the Hole of Disaster so severely and wondered if there were still such strong adventurers left in town. The person thought Chrome doesn't look like it, but he might be a part of the evil dragons. The person orders Chrome to focus on the monster. Chrome concurs by attacking the monster again. Chrome draws his sword at the monster. The person yields his skill called Holy Sword, enveloping the sword with holy shining light. Chrome saw it and thought it's the holy version of the spell Rado used. Rado once used his lightning sword, enveloping his sword with lightning. The holy attribute works well on the evil mana of monsters. The monster was terrified as it saw the person's sword. The person's holy sword slashes neatly, slicing the monster in half. The monster's sliced body fell on the ground. Chrome was amazed by the incredible power, as the holy attribute is very effective on monsters, especially those with impure mana like devils and undeads. Chrome thought if he approached her carelessly, he might just get purified. The people praises as the lady took care of the monster in an instant, while others were amazed by her power. The man approaches her as he has never seen her before and asks if she is a traveler. She felt something strange. There's a faint attraction between holy mana and evil mana, and the mana in her sword is faintly reacting to that man. He gazes at Chrome, who she felt that strange feeling. Chrome was glad it didn't turn out to be a big deal, as it doesn't seem like anyone is badly wounded. She pulls out her sword. With her strange feelings towards Chrome earlier, she plans to test it out of him. Chrome and the lady beat the monster, but they were quite a high-level ones. He realizes it's much worse than he thought if such monsters are able to run around town. He had also heard that evil dragons guarded the people against monster, but they're nowhere to be seen. Chrome felt that something feels off. He senses something as observing the monster who cut off in half on the ground. The lady thought that nothing about that man's speech or conduct leads her to doubt him, and he even helped beat the monster. But the lady notices that something unbelievable happened, as there's no way holy mana would respond to an ordinary human. While she is observing Chrome, she thought almost no respectable high-level adventurers would visit the ruined city. The lady prepares to draw her sword and intends to make sure of something. Chrome, who is glad that nobody got hurt but is still bothered by something. A man suddenly approaches and praises Chrome, but it made him startled. The man said if the two of them hadn't been there, the place would have gone up in flames. The man thanked both Chrome and the lady from the bottom of his heart. A man gathered everyone around so they could all thank them, but Chrome refuses and says they really didn't need to. Chrome thought it's risky for him to be in front of people, even more so when there's this many. A girl comes running happily when she saw his father is safe. The father and the daughter hug each other happily. The man said he is safe all thanks to Chrome and the lady for defeating the monster, and persuades her to thank the young heroes. The girl cheerfully praises the both of them. Chrome seemed embarrassed as they praised him as their hero. The lady calls on Chrome. Chrome seems surprised by her and asks, "What is it?" The monster, who has been chopped off earlier, suddenly awakens. It yields again its fireball immediately. The man was surprised seeing the monster alive and yielding it fireball even though it was chopped off on the ground. The lady was shocked as she was distracted by Chrome's mana that she didn't even realize the divine revelation about its defeat hadn't come. The lady thought that it still doesn't change the fact it's nothing but a last, useless struggle as she conjured a shield using her skill Holy Shield. She annoyingly plans to block its fireball, then immediately pierce its eye. The monster, who has been alive, growls as it prepares to attack. The monster saw the girl and set its eye on her. The monster smirks as it plans to aim the fireball at her. The monster targeted the girl as it aimed for her. The girl was confused and seemed to not understand her situation. The lady glances at the targeted girl as the monster doesn't see a way to win, so it's trying to take the kid with it. Chrome rushes towards trying to save the girl, but he thought it's no good, as he won't make it in time. Chrome suddenly thought of something. He thought he might be able to make it in his monster form, but he was skeptical if he should really undo the masquerade in the area. In front of so many people, his human facade would completely crumble. Chrome thought if he can't stay in Oddfield, he might never meet that girl again. As he remembers Shelley, Chrome thought of himself as an idiot. He recalls that time as he tried to reach his parents who were held by the monster. Chrome wants to make the country a better place no matter how little, because that is why he became an adventurer. Chrome takes off his mask. A hand with long and sharp claws blocks the incoming fireball. The father shouts on the girl's name, Malo. The raging fireball is coming towards the girl. She just closed her eyes as she can't do anything about the fireball who is about to hit her. Fire scattered around as something exploded. The monster who shoots the fireball seems shocked. Moments later, his arms were burned to a crisp in an attempt to block the fireball. The girl glances at the one who blocked it. The girl was shocked as a monster appeared in front of her with burned arms and was the one who blocked the fireball. Chrome transformed into his monster form and successfully saved the little girl. The girl's father was also shocked by what he saw. Chrome, who is in his true form, a shapeshifter, comes running towards the monster. The monster was surprised as another monster was attacking him. Chrome sliced the monster in half with his long and sharp claws. He gained 38 experience points by killing the monster. The people around were all shocked as a monster suddenly appeared and thought they were still in danger. Chrome's true form is now revealed to the people around. The lady made a sour face by what she saw. Chapter 24. Chrome saved the little girl from the monster and killed it in his true form as a shapeshifter, revealing his identity around the people as a monster. The people who were thanking him earlier were all shocked and ran away. Chrome seems to expect this to happen. He didn't regret his choice but still bothered by something. As he revealed his true form, Chrome is certain he really is messed up now. Chrome looks around to find out about the girl. The girl is safe and also seems shocked by the event. Chrome saw her and felt delighted. The monster comes running to his daughter as he shouts at Chrome to get away from her since he is a monster. Chrome stayed still as he was wonder-struck at the moment. He notices something rushes towards him. The lady with the holy magic attacks Chrome. She was right about something that made me feel off about Chrome. But she didn't expect Chrome to be a monster all along. Chrome explains he is a shapeshifter, but the lady ratted out that he is a wretched monster that takes the form of a human to attack people by surprise, and it's far craftier and more dangerous than the previous monster. The people panic and shout that they are done for and look for the evil dragon's whereabouts. The people in town gathered all their weapons and prepared to defend themselves against Chrome. Chrome thought that this was fine and he did the right thing. It wasn't like he did it because he wanted some form of compensation, he thought. He runs away from them. The people shouts as he runs out of the town and is thankful as it scared them. A stone comes flying towards him. Some threw a stone at Chrome and it hit the side of his face. The lady shouts at them not to provoke it. Recalling Chrome again, the lady thought that he is not a normal shapeshifter as he was talking. She thought that it's a monster that has learned to mingle with society, and has even gained reasoning that is way too dangerous as she plans to kill it before it gets away. The little girl calls on the lady. The little girl asks her if she was going to kill him. She explains that he was a man-eating monster. The father convinces the girl that the guy was a scary monster the whole time. The girl said it's weird. The girl calls on his dad and everyone else along with the lady. The little girl expresses that even though he did look scary, he fought the monster and protected the city. The father was convinced that it was just a coincidence. The girl, while crying, still explains that afterwards her father saw how the guys looked in her direction and she felt like he was checking to see if she was okay. The father and the people in the town all realized and felt embarrassed by themselves. The lady still rushes attempting to chase Chrome, but someone grabs her shoulder trying to stop her. A man calls her name Mira and asks what she is doing. The man reminded her to keep a low profile. Mira addresses him as Captain Ellen and explains it was with a good reason. Captain Ellen said it doesn't matter and told her to go back as the evil dragons are going to notice them if she attracts any more attention, while Mira is still explaining that there are still dangerous monsters. Captain Ellen explained that if the Royal Knight's order moved closer to the Hole of Disaster, it would surely put the evil dragons on guard. Needlessly provoking them will only hinder them in their duty. Ellen reminds her that their mission this time is one of stealth after all. Mira concurs with him and puts her sword away. Mira explains her situation to Ellen as there was a monster in town midway through the battle. Another monster who is a shapeshifter appeared. She expounds that the monster was clearly a unique individual that possessed way higher intelligence than normal monsters. Ellen asks her why she engaged the demon when he told her to keep a low profile. Mira tried to explain but was interrupted by Ellen as he reminded her that their mission serves a much greater purpose than that. He explains that it's much more important. Rather, it might even be what saves the entire nation. Ellen pulls his sword while explaining they should avoid the town people as much as they can in service of it. Ellen draws his sword against Mira and tells her if he plans to get in the way of his duty, he could kill her right here and now. Mira apologizes to her as the sword is aiming at her neck. Ellen withdraws his sword and puts it back, telling her to make sure it doesn't happen again. Mira asks him what about the intelligent monster, but Ellen says it's nothing more than a slightly unique specimen. He added that what if it kills a few hundred more people in its life that made Mira into a shock. Ellen explains that this is first and foremost the ruined city, a place abandoned by the country that even investigating the evil dragons matters little in comparison to their current task. He added that the most important thing is to investigate the man suspected to be involved with the monster disaster. Following up on the sighting of the Red Man, Ellen reminds Mira to make sure she does not forget that. Mira concurs as she clenches her fist. Ellen glances at her with a suspicious look. Chrome stops from all the running he made earlier as he reached the Hole of Disaster. He was wonderstruck seeing the so-called Hole of Disaster, the wound causing the suffering of Odfi. With the event that happened earlier, Chrome thought that now they know his face, he can't go back to Odfi ever again. He clenches his fist as it doesn't matter that he is clearing the Hole of Disaster anyway, so that Odfi can be safe from the fear of monsters. It should also make it so the evil dragons can't take over more of the city. Chrome thought while he was at it, he plans to level up and evolve. He is determined that he will get a new form or skill and return to the capital. Chrome prepares for his journey with his level 25 shapeshifter form. On the other side, the priest calls on Shelly saying she is being too reckless. Shelly apologizes to him saying she has already made up her mind. Shelly runs away while the priest is calling her. The evil dragons are running rampant, and the monster disaster gets worse by the day. Shelly thought she can't just wait for a day when she feels she will be strong enough. Remembering her brothers and sisters, she can't even guarantee they won't meet a terrible fate tomorrow. If neither the evil dragons nor the knights will protect the Odfi, Shelly will just have to do it herself. No matter how reckless it is, Shelly is determined and plans to clear the Hole of Disaster and save the town. Inside the dark dungeon lies another journey. Chrome walks along the dark dungeon. He goes inside the Hole of Disaster in his shapeshifter form. He recalled that the Hole of Disaster is the place that once wiped out the Royal Knights dungeon squad. With that event, Chrome has to be careful. He plans to slowly advance over several days, taking ample time to level up and rest over and over again. Chrome thought that being able to stay active in the dungeon is a privilege of monsters that mere humans can't possibly replicate. He realizes that the paths here are complicated, and he thinks he has to explore quite a bit before he can find the boss. He would like to go the way that leads him further down, but seeing the two tunnels, Chrome got confused which way should he go. He thinks of it for a while. He set his sword up on the ground. He then lets go of it. The sword fell through this tunnel, and thinking about it, Chrome doesn't really like leaving it to chance, but he has no information to make a decision from. So, he leaves his decision with counting on Rado's sword. He gets up to continue on his way. Chrome's foot was tripped by a strap on the ground. He fell down as his foot tripped by the strap. He looked at his foot and it was tied. He was shocked as he saw it tied by a spider web. He guesses not as if a spider large enough to spin this massive thread could ever exist. Before he has the chance to utter his thought, spiders come running his way. Two demon spiders rushes towards him as the other one in level 23 with health points max at 76 and mana points max at 32, while the other is a level 23 with heal points max at 72 and mana points max at 31. Chrome was surprised as the both of them showed right away. The two demon spiders use their skill and a magic pattern appears. Chrome looks back at his foot. With it being tied up, he can't get out of the way with its incredibly stickiness. The demon spiders yield their earth magic called stone bullets. They aim the attack towards Chrome as a bullet like stones comes his way. He can't move with his tied foot and can only defend himself using his arms. Chrome realizes that they wait for him to get trapped before trying to whittle him down from a distance. Chrome pulls out his sword. He thought with that thread, he should be able to cut it right away. One of the spiders uses its sticky web and aims at Chrome. He lets go of his sword when it catches his arm as the demon spiders fight in such a nasty way. Chrome was surprised at another attack. They got him on both sides when his other hand also got caught by the other spider. Chrome was now tied to one of his feet and both of his arms by both spiders. They utter words as if laughing at the thought of cornering him. Chrome releases might actually make it easier for him. He grabs the spider web that ties one of his arms. He pulled it immediately. Both the demon spiders got pulled as Chrome pulled the spider web. The demon spiders come flying at him as he pulls them using their sticky web. The two demon spiders bump into each other and let go of their spider web. They let go of their spider web while being pulled by Chrome. One of the spiders seemed shocked by what it saw. In front of them is Chrome with long and sharp claws preparing to slash them. With them being open wide, Chrome charges towards them. He slashes both of them at once. Chrome killed the two demon spiders who fell on the ground and gained 108 experience points from one and gained 108 points from the other. Chrome leveled up from 25 to 26. Chrome thought he should level up quickly here with the level 23 monster appearing in the shallow parts of the dungeon. Chrome is now at level 16 and 24 level away until his next evolution, thinking he might go unexpectedly quickly if he hurries. He likes to evolve before confronting the boss here if he can, but it probably won't go that well. Chrome can still level up by fighting monsters around the level of those just now. But if his opponents are higher level than him, even if by a little, it's far more effective. He thought he wouldn't mind at all if some higher leveled monsters showed up soon. Chrome continues on his journey along the dungeon. In the middle of walking, he heard a sound and immediately glanced at where it came from. The glowing eyes from a monster from afar can be seen. It is the great demon spider who is at level 37 with a health points of 198 max and a mana points of 68 over 83, and is really gigantic and terrifying. Chrome, who was just ready to face a much higher level monster, was surprised with that high level appearing suddenly. The great demon spider's 6 eyes glow glaring at him. The monster charges immediately towards Chrome. He was able to dodge as it went straight at the wall, cracking it. He was surprised as the attack was close with the monster moving so fast despite its huge body. Chrome gets up immediately and plans to run away while he can. He is certain that level 36 is even higher than the Gargoyle King. He thought no matter how many lives he had, it wouldn't be enough to fight that thing now. He dashes away imagining that's how the Royal Knight Squad gets wiped out. Chrome sweats while running away from the monstrous demon spider who is now chasing him. While escaping, he thought not like monsters of this high a level would be everywhere. He plans to just shake it off somewhere as he sees another tunnel. Chrome thought that if he went into some narrow path, the monstrous demon spider can't follow him with that huge body of it. He slides through the small tunnel he saw. He moaned as he bumped when he landed on the ground. Inside that narrow tunnel blocks entirely the way of the tunnel. Chrome has no way out and realizes that the monstrous thing led him there. The great demon spider glances at the narrow tunnel that Chrome got into. The monstrous spider peeps inside the tunnel and sees him. The monster seems excited seeing Chrome get trapped inside. Chrome, who has been trapped, thought there's no way he can run. He touches his sword as he was planning on defeating higher level guys to level up quickly anyway. After all, he wouldn't be able to clear the whole of disaster if he wouldn't win from the likes of the monstrous demon spider. It's do or die here. That's why Chrome will take it down like his life depends on it and prepares to take on the monster. The great demon spider peeks at the narrow entrance of the tunnel and sees Chrome, who has been trapped inside. The monstrous spider charges as it prepares to attack him inside. It banged its head on the wall to widen the tunnel's entrance. Pieces of stone from the wall came flying at Chrome as it started to break. The monstrous spider raised its huge leg with its long and sharp nails to attack Chrome. Chrome saw it coming towards him. He immediately jumps to dodge the claw and it lands on the ground. Seeing the demon spider's monstrous build, it is fast but not so fast he can't see it coming. Chrome thought that the monster can't be precise on its attack with its big body. He jumps on the elbow of the demon spider. Chrome draws his sword as he flies in the air preparing to attack the spider. He jumps and slashes the monstrous spider on its nape. Chrome saw he made a damage on the monster. He notices that its body is so massive it can barely move its neck at all. Chrome is certain that he has the upper hand in close quarters between them, and thinks he can beat the demon spider. The great demon spider yields its skill and a light can be seen inside its mouth. The monstrous spider charges using its skill called blood thread, and a blood-colored spider web comes rushing towards Chrome. Chrome dodges the blood threads as he sees the demon spider's attack coming so fast. He saw the thread with an unusual color of red and thought it must be a skill. Chrome avoided the simultaneous attack while hiding behind a rock. The monstrous spider seems to get a glimpse at him and initiate another attack. The huge rock that hides Chrome under was sliced by the demon spider's blood thread. The rock has been sliced off and thrown on the ground as Chrome was amazed by its power. The demon spider waves its blood thread against a wall and pieces of stone fall down at Chrome. Chrome thought that the reed thread would kill him in one hit, and he can't let it keep using that skill. He rushes towards the monstrous spider with a plan to force it into a close-quarter combat and take it down fast. Chrome realizes it seems that the monstrous spider has a huge opening before it can use that skill, and if he just keeps attacking it, it shouldn't be able to use it. Not long, the demon spider uses its other skill, spider web, and aims it towards Chrome. The spider web comes rushing towards Chrome as he immediately dodges it. The attack formed a big spider web and Chrome was surprised. Chrome thought that of that so much, he won't be able to move and then it'd be all over with that red thread skill of the demon spider. He was stuck at his current position as he can't approach carelessly. The monster approaches Chrome closer as he has been cornered. Being reminded of the monster's red thread earlier, he thought he can't dodge that skill the next time the demon spider uses it. Chrome thought it's hard to dodge because of how tall he is as a shapeshifter, and if he was at least a little smaller then it may be possible. Chrome seems to have a bright idea about him being smaller. He immediately rushes as he can transform himself to become a smaller one. The demon spider saw him rushing and threw spider webs onto him. Chrome touches his mask as this will be the third time of his attack. He charges an attack towards the monstrous spider while using his masquerade skill. Chrome dodged the spider web attack of the monster spider after transforming in his human form. The monster spider seems shocked at the sudden transformation of Chrome. While on the other hand, Chrome suddenly appears at the top of a monstrous spider to launch his attack. He stabbed one of its eyes. Chrome is stabbing one of the demon spider's eyes while standing on top of its face. Chrome's attack was successful as he pulled out his sword. He plans to take all the demon spider eyes like that. While he is busy stabbing the demon spider, he notices at his side that its claw is aiming towards him. The claw moves so fast towards Chrome. He immediately blocks the sharp claw with his sword. He jumps away from the demon spider's face to avoid close contact with its claw. He landed on the ground. Chrome, while on the ground, thought that if he forced himself to attack, he would neglect his defenses. But he can't take his time fighting this thing as he immediately charges an attack. The demon spider uses its spider web again as long and spider threads come towards Chrome. He was surprised at the sudden attack as the spider webs were right in front of him. He defended himself using his monster arm as a spider web landed on it. Chrome struggles as he was caught by its spider web. He tries to cut it using his sword but he can't cut through. The demon spider suddenly pulled its spider web. Chrome, who was caught in the arm, is being pulled by the demon spider towards it. Chrome comes flying in the air as the demon spider pulls him in using the spider web. The demon spider opens its mouth widely as it waits for Chrome to get closer to being eaten. Chrome is sweating in fear as he is going to get eaten by the monstrous spider. He clenches his sword as he realizes this is his chance. Chrome, while being pulled, can't hesitate with the decision he made. He doesn't have a plan on being defeated, not this late in the game. His arm got caught by the spider web. His arm gets pulled while still entangled by the spider web. The demon spider who was pulling Chrome only caught his decapitated arm. The monster was shocked as there was only an arm in his mouth. Chrome smirks as he mocks the demon spider who only got his arm. The monster screams in terror as it catches Chrome's little naughty arm. Chrome, using his other arm, raised his sword. He launches an attack on the monster spider, ready for it to be killed. He stabbed through the center of the spider's head. Chrome, who only has an arm left, successfully overpowered the monstrous spider. Chrome overpowered the monstrous spider and killed it. He gained 1558 experience points, and his level increased from 26 to 33. Chrome laughed as he won. His monster arm transformed into a human form. Chrome can't believe how he won their far distance gap. He thought he was just lucky with both the terrain and the matchup. As his level increased by 7 so suddenly is a wonderful miscalculation by Chrome. He is now a level 33 shapeshifter. He returns into his original form again and picks something inside the dead demon spider's mouth. He picked up his decapitated left arm. He attached it back again to his body. He uses his skill regeneration to heal and attach the decapitated arm together with his body. Chrome realizes he unexpectedly took a lot of damage and shouldn't hurry like that. He sits down as he will also need to rest about half a day to recover the mana he spent. He remembered while resting inside a room in the city and thought it ironic as he felt far more at ease within the dungeon. There's no need to worry about people finding out about him there. Chrome rests and plans to continue as soon as his mana has recovered. Chrome continues to hunt monsters again. He marks the wall of the area to draw patterns. He continued to walk on his next hunt. He stabbed an evil owl to death. He saw 2 X marks he made on the wall. Chrome snaps, knowing that this is already his 3rd lap. He calculates that more than a full day should have already passed since he entered the dungeon. He thought at this rate, he will never make it to the deeper parts. He slumps as he is glad he gained more levels while exploring, but he will be stuck here forever at this rate. His level from 33 is now at 37. He looked at his stat and saw that he has plenty of stamina and mana. He stands up as he feels hungry and thinks of having a demon spider again. Chrome feasts at the body of a dead demon spider. Chrome explains the taste like a mix of paint and spoiled blood, but it feels nice, satisfying his hunger. He suddenly notices something around. Along the dark dungeon, Chrome heard footsteps. Chrome thought the footsteps come from the Undraws, who are strong and a pain to deal with. He realizes it is not them. He wonders if it is some kind of monster he hasn't encountered yet. He feels like it sounds like a human footsteps, but it can't be. Chrome thought it seems impossible, but in case it is, it would be horrible running into someone that could make it all the way here alone. With that thought, he immediately turns on his masquerade skill. Someone approaches behind Chrome. It was Shelly. She saw something sitting from afar and thought of it as a monster. Shelly thought if it's a devil, she needs to throw the spell stone and run as fast as she can. She prepares to throw the stone at the suspected monster from afar. She stopped as soon as she saw it was Chrome. Shelly was stunned seeing Chrome. Chrome was also shocked that the footsteps earlier were coming from Shelly. He stands up and asks her why she is there and how she makes it so deep with her level. Shelly showed him a map. Chrome was surprised to see the map of the Hole of Disaster. Shelly explains the map has both the monsters that appear and the difficult to navigate paths to the deeper parts recorded. Chrome was stunned as he didn't know that it existed. Shelly asks him why he is inside the dungeon. Chrome explains that he just came here to raise his level, and if he could still keep going after that, he thought he might try the boss. Chrome glances at Shelly. Remembering her family at the church, Chrome guesses why Shelly is here, but it's just too reckless for someone with her level to come into the dungeon. Chrome took the map from her as he needed it and told her she can get out on her own by following the sign he left. Shelly felt sad as Chrome is much colder than the last time they met, but she saw Chrome's looked worried and scared of her getting hurt, and incredibly bad at acting. Shelly thought Chrome came to conquer the Hole of Disaster all by himself and tries to send her home with harsh words because he's worried about her. Shelly clenches her fist. She boldly tells Chrome she can't go back. She explains that the Hole of Disaster once wiped out an entire division of the kingdom's knights, and no way a single adventurer, even one as strong as him, is enough to clear it. Chrome concurs, as it is all the more reason for her to leave as she would only get in the way. Shelly begged Chrome to conquer the Hole of Disaster together. They both argue that Chrome was stopped by Shelly and insists she won't get in the way. She reasoned that the people of the Onfield have found out all the weak points of the monster here for self-defense. You can blind a demon spider with finely crushed colchai seeds. Undrazes hate holy blue light, and they have got countermeasures against many of the monsters there. Shelly shows her backpack to Chrome, explaining that she took back the money she had given to the church and spent it all preparing for this. It is now much clearer to Chrome why she could make it this far. Shelly pointed out that she even knows about the dungeon boss and is certain that she will absolutely be useful. Chrome is clearly aware that she's made up her mind and he can't stop her. Shelly's information is also necessary for him to clear this dungeon. Chrome's mana points is 54, meaning he can maintain Masquerade for 9 hours. The skill Masquerade allows you to temporarily take human form. but it consumes 1 mana point every 10 minutes. Chrome thought if they know how to get to it, that should be more than enough time to make it to the boss and defeat it. Having the information and assistance is no doubt a much greater boon than losing a bit of mana point, Chrome thought. Chrome agreed that Shelly can come with him, but if he thinks she's getting in his way, he will send her home right away. Shelly was delighted by the news. On the other side, in the hideout of the evil dragon, Cornelia reported that they are knights of the kingdom, but it appears they are hiding their identity and looking from someone. She also added they said they were keeping a low profile and looking for the red-haired man. Galrod wonders about the red-haired man as they are not after them. Cornelia also reported that she just heard about this, but seems a single adventurer girl ventured into the hole of disaster on her own. Galrod seems angry and emitted a dark aura and asks if she deals with her. Cornelia was shocked and said he didn't think she needed to. Galrod choked her in anger. He angrily said to Cornelia if she forgot that it was his order not to let anyone into the hole of disaster. It could even be a knight disguised as an adventurer, and they need to eliminate any unforeseen factors from that place. Galrod said he will head to the hole of disaster himself and orders her to gather any and all men she can right away. Galrod emits a threatening aura as no matter who they might be, he won't allow anyone to mess with his paradise, and he will make them wish they were dead before feeding them to the monster. 3 demon spiders approach them on their way. Chrome thought it would be troublesome to deal with so many while protecting Shelly. Shelly charges towards the demon spider. Chrome was surprised and called on her. Shelly said she will blind her and prepares to throw the thing in her hand. She throws the colchai seed powder to the demon spider. Dust scattered at the throw. The spider's red eyes seem to have disappeared. Chrome saw the spider eyes change color. The demon spider rushes towards a stone and bangs its head. Chrome raised his sword as the spider looked really as blind as bats. He slashes the spider and gains 78 experience points as it is killed. Chrome killed all the 3 demon spiders and his level increased from 37 to 38. Shelly was delighted it went well. Chrome said it's not like he doubted her, but he is honestly surprised that was effective. Shelly said if they take the next left, there should be a path that leads them deeper, and at the end of it, the hole of disaster's boss. Chrome sighs as he really should have investigated the town better, seeing as such a convenient map exists. Remembering his struggle, he suffered for no reason running around in circles for over a day. Shelly explained to Chrome that she doesn't think travelers could have gotten one no matter how thoroughly they searched, and Chrome wonders why that would be. Shelly sadly explains that they have sacrificed so many lives to make it, while keeping it secret from the evil dragons. She wonders how many people had to die just to chart a single branch of the map. But the evil dragons can only rule this town thanks to the dungeon disaster. If they learned that the people had a map like this, they'd definitely take it away from the town people. Shelly heartily expresses that the map carries the dearest wish of Oddfield. That's why it might be a bit tricky for outsiders to learn about it. Chrome felt sadness imagining the victims of the map and the town's wish. Shelly is delighted as she knows Chrome as someone she can trust, that she told him about them and might even give one to him. Chrome calls on Shelly and she glances at him. Chrome eases her with the certainty that they will clear the hole of disaster for sure. Shelly was delighted by his words, as just a moment ago he was saying he'd only come to raise his level, and she's certain he's truly a kind person. Meanwhile, on their journey, eyes come out of the darkness. Chrome was surprised to see a spider with a human head and arms nested in a spider web. It tried to reach him with its long and sharp claws. He blocks the monster's claw using his sword. Chrome struggles at the moment. He felt by his sword that the spider was absurdly strong. It sent Chrome flying onto the wall. Shelly worries about Chrome as she calls on him. The monster is a species of arach and is level 42 with a health points of 158 max and a mana points of 82 max. Chrome was surprised to know it is level 41 and thought such horrible monsters appear in the depths of the hole of disaster. Shelly stated that it's the strongest kind of monster in this dungeon after the boss. Shelly reminds Chrome to stay close to it as it uses a powerful ranged attack with its web. Chrome struggles on planning an attack. He runs towards the monster as close combat is the only way to go. Shelly also tells him that the monster has bad visibility near its feet, especially its right side that has a huge blind spot. Chrome seems to get all the information from her and rushes at the monster's weak spot where Shelly pointed out. He raised his sword to prepare to attack. Chrome slashes the monster on its right side, cutting off its limbs. Shelly takes a spell stone as she also heard it's weak to fire. She threw a stone spell with fire runes at the monster. The monster engulfs in flame after Shelly and struggles at the moment. Shelly knows that arachns are easily distracted by fire, and its arms may be powerful, but they're thin and not that difficult to cut off. Chrome immediately lunges towards the monster who is engulfed in flame. Chrome raises his sword, planning to cut off the monster's arm. She slices the monster's arm and it screams in pain. Shelly praises him and explains they need to keep it busy so it doesn't have time to regenerate or use its skills, and they can win this for sure by fighting a battle of attrition. The monster is now raging in anger as it glances at them. Moments later, the monster with limbs and arm cut off fell dead on the ground. Shelly catches her breath thinking it's finally over. Chrome also catches his breath and says he was sure it was going to be tougher since it had such a high level, but they were able to defeat it cause they knew the countermeasures. Chrome gained 1280 experience points. His level increased from 38 to 40. Chrome notices he is leveling up at an incredible speed. He is now at level 40. Chrome hadn't had time to notice, but there's only 10 levels left until he evolves. He thought he didn't think he would make it before they fight the boss, but it seems he can expect his next evolution soon. Evolution is supposed to bring monsters closer to their ideal form, and Chrome started as a skeleton, but now he has flesh and blood and can transform into a human. He is expecting he should be even closer to becoming a human next time. Chrome thought this isn't a time nor place for that and asked Shelly the boss area is meant to be really close to their current place according to the map. Shelly agreed as it seems so while looking at the map. The devil monkey, Oroba, is supposed to have monstrous strength, all kinds of skills, and the head of a monkey. It has feasted on countless knights and adventurers. Shelly explains it's an overwhelming monster, but it does have a weak point and she is sure Chrome can use it to defeat the monster. Chrome worries and hopes that he can defeat the devil monkey Orobas while staying in human form. Chrome invites Shelly to take a quick breather before going to face the boss. Shelly was delighted as they were so close to saving the Odfield both from the dungeon disaster and the evil dragons. He reminisced as it's been so long since they all suffered so much, but this nightmare is finally coming to an end. That night in the entrance of the Hole of Disaster, a group of people surround the area. A big axe drops on the ground. Galrot, the leader of the evil dragon, announces that due to carelessness on their part, an adventurer girl has snuck into the Hole of Disaster. His follower listens to him that it should be impossible, but they must make sure there is no way for her to defeat the boss, resulting the city would regain its function, and they would lose their home. Galrod, with his terrifying aura, certifies that he won't allow any chance of that happening no matter how small, and they will search the dungeon and find the girl's corpse and suppose she's still alive. Then he shall personally play with her until she's dead. Galrod thought she's a big shot among the townspeople and is said to be their hope. Galrod plans to display her corpse for all to see, and the slaves will lose any sliver of hope they had left. They're looking at the dungeon's map. Shelly tells Chrome the deepest layer of the Hole of Disaster where the dungeon boss resides, the devil monkey Oroba. Chrome thought the monster would no longer leave the labyrinth if they defeated the boss. Chrome has a fair amount of MP left, and Masquerade doesn't consume that much mana. He recalls that Monkey Orobas killed countless knights and adventurers. Rather than fighting it alone, the odds of winning are much higher with Shelly, he thought. Chrome told Shelly that she had guided him far enough now. He asked if she had no intention of turning back now. Shelly reassured him that she didn't. She said she could at least distract it by striking from a blind spot. Chrome knew that her mind was already set in stone, and he had no reason to dissuade her. Shelly is certain that Chrome will clear the Hole of Disaster as she remembers her family. If the time comes, Shelly is prepared to sacrifice herself so she won't be a burden. They continue to walk along through the dungeon. They suddenly got startled by something. Large monsters suddenly appeared in front of them. Chrome knew it was the one they were after. It's the level 52 dungeon boss Orobas. Shelly finally saw the Orobas. It's the one who has made Odfield suffer so much. Chrome saw it as such a high level. Its claw swipes are not only lightning fast, but incredibly powerful. If Chrome were to fight it head-on in human form, he'd probably be done immediately. As Shelly said, Orobas is terrifyingly fast. She was told it and close in from a huge distance in an instant. And also that many adventurers have met their ends with its sharp claws. Chrome asks if it has a weak point, and Shelly says Orobas is only fast traveling in a straight line, since Oroba's feet are much smaller compared to its body. If they can make it change direction by zigzagging, it will be much slower. Chrome thought to run at it while zigzagging and rush toward it. He quickly passes the monster in a zigzag. The monster growls while seeing Chrome runs around. Chrome saw it chasing him at a fast pace. Even though it's supposed to be bad at running in this manner, it's still closing the distance fast. But Shelly told him how to deal with its attacks. Since Orobas is bad at changing directions, Chrome can buy time to dodge by always moving around to its side. Chrome dodges the monster while it growls. Chrome's somehow managing to dodge it, but he'll be gravely injured if a single attack hits him. Thanks to Shelly's info, it likely closed the distance immediately and sliced him to pieces if he didn't. The Orobas raised its claw. Chrome dodges it. Oroba's claw pierced the wall. Chrome saw it as if it was the opening he had been waiting for. Chrome rushes towards them with his sword. They're targeting the foundation of Oroba's strength, and its greatest weak point, its leg. Chrome managed to cut its leg. Chrome looked at the cut he made on Oroba's leg. It's so tough he could barely scratch it. Shelly told him if they can wound its leg, she's sure it'll become much slower. Chrome wanted to cut its speed, but it was calm, so he needed to land a much heavier blow as he clenched his sword. Shelly suddenly raised her sword to call the Oroba's attention. She pierced through its back. Shelly's sword trembles. She wonders about its fur, as it feels like solid metal. The monster screams and goes wild as it shows a terrifying aura. It struck Shelly and managed to hurt Chrome. Chrome was thrown on the ground, and Shelly called him. Chrome said he was fine and used his regeneration ability. Regeneration takes a lot of MP, so Chrome thought he couldn't use it too much. He tried to calm himself down as it was within the damage he expected to take. He needs to keep running around so Orobas won't catch him. Chrome dodges the monster's attack while thinking that Shelly has yet to use their trump card and is determined to have another chance at attacking it. Chrome doesn't think he can damage Orobas in human form by how tough it is. He thinks he'd do a little better using his claws as a shapeshifter. It will be much harder to hide behind the monster as he attacks it. If Chrome suddenly becomes a shapeshifter, Shelly would panic, and they would no longer be able to cooperate. But if Chrome can't damage it, they'll die here, so he can't hesitate. When he first accepted working with Shelly, Chrome thought he should have prepared himself for this. Shelly is facing the Orobas, and it's growling at her. Shelly seems to struggle while facing it. Chrome rushes to help Shelly out. He threw something at the Orobas, but it just ignored him. Chrome raises his sword and slashes the monster's tail. The monster growls and strikes him. Attacking its tail didn't significantly damage it, but it caught its attention. Chrome then runs around while changing directions again. Chrome runs in zigzag while being chased by the Orobas. Chrome realizes it's gotten used to this tactic, as it's no longer showing any openings. The Orobas got annoyed and used their skill Devil's Poison Breath. Chrome knows that Oroba's vicious poison breath will cover the area around it with an incredibly poisonous mist. Chrome thought the Orobas ended up being annoyed at his constant running away. Oroba's poison breath doesn't last long, but it covers a huge area and becomes almost impossible to fight properly. But Chrome and Shelly knew that this skill had a critical flaw. Shelly runs and raises a small pocket. She threw it at the Orobas. The Orobas immediately sliced the pouch with its claw. The pocket's substance shatters, and it makes the Orobas startle. Shelly ordered Chrome to get down and hold his breath, so Chrome did so. The monster got choked as the dust from the pocket entered its mouth. The Orobas continued to choke on the powder from a toxic mushroom, the parashroom. Shelly thought that inhaling this huge amount should be enough to render the Oroba's throat useless, and it shouldn't be able to use its eyes or nose either. Shelly ordered Chrome to retreat for a moment as she would use the spell stone she told him about. Chrome glances at Shelly while she throws the spell stone. The Oroba's tail saw the stone that Shelly threw at him. Oroba's tail can sense the heat of living things in all directions. However, it has a flaw: if you can produce a similar level of heat to that of organic being, it will detect that too. Shelly saw its trembling with anger since they paralyzed its senses and provoked it so much. The Oroba's tail screams, and the Orobas itself roars. From its point of view, a defenseless small creature has suddenly approached, and it was striking after it made the already imbalanced Orobas even more so. Shelly saw the Oroba's wound. She plans to aim at it and slashes the Orobas. Chrome dashes, thinking Shelly has nowhere near enough power to cut its leg off, as they can't simply do it with a sword. Chrome thought using his fangs had a much lower chance of being exposed to Shelly than using his claw. Chrome bites the Orobas. He bites hard at the Oroba's wound, and Oroba's tail sees him. The Orobas scream in pain, and Chrome stops biting. He jumps back from the Orobas after making a huge wound. Shelly was delighted as they took away Oroba's greatest strength, its agility. It's much stronger than them, but they cornered it thanks to Shelly's tactic. They took away Oroba's powerful breath attack, its 5 senses, and now its mobility. Shelly raised her sword, and Chrome charged forward to end it. They managed to slice the Oroba's tail. Chrome thought no matter how sturdy it was, it couldn't last as long as they kept up the attack. He glances and notices its leg. Chrome was shocked to know that it has regeneration as well. If they let it regenerate, they'll have no more cards to play. Chrome strikes as they have to defeat it now. The Orobas block his sword. It growls and clenches its fist. It landed a punch at Chrome. Shelly calls his name. He kneels on the ground, wondering how it could attack with such force when it's so close to death. Chrome is facing the Orobas, thinking they can't lose here. He felt that if they lost now, Odfi would lose the last bit of hope it had. Chrome clenches his sword and rushes toward the Orobas. He flew over the Orobas with his sword. Shelly seems concerned. The Orobas growls as Chrome strikes it with a sword. The monster didn't even take a scratch. Chrome charges an attack again and flies over to the Orobas. He puts his full strength as he approaches the monster. Chrome managed to pierce through its chest. Shelly was shocked. Dust scatters around Chrome. He asks if it's over and if they win. Chrome gained 5,687 XP and levels up from 40 to 47. He laughs as he has never seen so much experience before. He was delighted as it was over for real. Shelly can't believe that they defeated the boss of the whole disaster. She got on her knees and teared up in joy as everyone in Odfield could now be saved. Chrome saw her cry. She said it happened as soon as she realized it was over. Shelly thought that her attempt to defeat Orobas would get her killed. She would have died before seeing Orobas if not for Chrome, and the same with her family. Chrome said if she weren't here, Orobas would have killed him before he could do anything. Shelly was wonderstruck as Chrome said he was incredibly grateful to her. Chrome thought now that the dungeon had been cleared, they should send knights to drive out the evil dragons away. He healed his arm using regeneration. He got startled as he forgot to check his MP and thought running out now would ruin the moment. Chrome saw that he got little left MP. Chrome has come so far, so he has to make it the rest of the way without exposing his true form. He blushes as there are just 3 more levels to his next evolution. Evolution brings monster closer to their ideal form, which might mean that it'll reflect their deepest desires. Shelly asks what he is doing. Chrome said he was just happy to level up so much. Shelly said she started as level 19 but got 9 more levels out of this. Shelly is at level 28, and flustered that Guido and Frank will be so surprised. Shelly apologizes as she can't do so much in terms of fighting, and yet she took so much of Chrome's experience. Chrome blushes and says that Shelly did more than enough fight to earn it. Shelly slaps her face feeling a bit too relaxed. She told Chrome that they had to survive the trip back. Then, she plans to go to the capital to report it so they can drive the evil dragons out. Chrome is getting tired. He tells Shelly to rest before they get the boss magic stone, and Shelly agrees. She suddenly noticed something. She called Chrome, so he asked what was wrong. Shelly shielded Chrome from the raging fire coming at him. She falls to the ground, and Chrome calls her. 2 people are after them. Chrome asks them why. He asks why there are so many evil dragons here in the dungeon. Someone took a step forward. It's Galrod, the leader of the evil dragons. Shelly got scared to see him. Chrome wonders if he is a human seeing his size. Someone can't believe that they are capable of doing this. It's Jeff who's aching to kill them. Shelly said their reign was over as they already defeated the Orobas. Shelly told them to run away before the knights came to the city. Someone mocks her as he thinks they're on the brink of death. He mocks them for being full of themselves and for beating the demon stronger than the knights, which Galrod could have easily dealt with if he wanted to. Shelly said he was lying as it took so many sacrifices from everyone to defeat it finally. The man said that the ones who killed those knights in the first place were them, after all. They knew everything about the whole of the disaster, and they circulated a fake map to set a trap. They ambushed them while they were busy fighting monsters. The man flaunts about playing around with the knights and raping the women in front of their comrades. Chrome got angry with them for being despicable. Galrod corrects one misunderstanding of them and says they do not intend to leave Odfield. He said everything was fine as long as nobody knew the whole of the disaster was clear, and they would rule this town exactly as they had done till now. They'll release a few monsters and have some casualties occasionally, as they could even make a few mangled corpses themselves. Galrod told them they only succeeded in making them do some busy work and kill off a few more slaves, and they would have died for nothing. Shelly can't believe it. Galrod ordered his men to do it. He wants Chrome drawn and quartered. They can do any to Shelly as much as they like. Lastly, Galrod wants the 2 of them fed alive to monsters. Galrod is angry that they mess with his land. He told his men that anyone who beats them up will be rewarded. Chrome thought there was no way Shelly had enough stamina to fight here. The same goes for him. His HP is 38, and his MP is 17. They said they were responsible for the death of the knights who came to suppress the dungeon, and that they could have taken down the boss if it bothered them. Chrome thinks that something told him that was true. Shelly apologizes to Chrome as she knows saving Odfield was a far-fetched dream, yet she takes advantage of his kindness and drags him into this. Chrome saw her and clenched his fist. He wonders what he is doing, just giving up like this. When he learned his skill was trash, he kept on going and became an adventurer. When he has become nothing but a pile of bones, he persists until he reobtained humanity, even if it isn't permanent. And now, he's all beat up and getting attacked by bandits, that's all. Chrome thought he had already died once, and there was no good reason he should give up. Shelly called Chrome while crying. He apologizes to her for not being on guard, and she takes the hit for him. But now it's time for Chrome to protect her. The man mocks Chrome and charges an attack. Chrome blocks the attack with his sword. The man continues to mock him and slashes his body. Shelly struggles to stand up while thinking of Chrome. Jeff raised his sword, thinking he could kill both of them alone. He said that once he has killed them, he'll kill all the children in the church, too. While Chrome is angry, Shelly glances at Jeff, saying this is all their fault for crossing the evil dragon. Jeff said he should try sparing the old man until he despairs and pissed himself. Shelly nodded on the ground and apologized to the father and everyone. Chrome clenches his sword and draws it against the man. Jeff counters his attack with his sword. The other men aim their arrows and shoot at Chrome. His blood splatters around. Jeff told him not to die yet as they had to feed them to the monster alive. Jeff plans to start with Chrome's left arm and raise his sword. Suddenly a bright light appears, and a monster's claws block Jeff's sword. He is shocked and wonders about Chrome's skill feeling his hand so hard. Chrome punches Jeff and is immediately thrown on the ground. Shelly thought Chrome should have had a healing skill as she never heard a word about him having such monstrous strength. And there's that arm that gives Shelly a really bad feeling. Galrod said it's interesting. Chrome removes all the arrows from his body. He recalls when Shelly said he was not a bad guy. Chrome thought she was a fool for trusting a guy like him so easily, but he found the courage to leave the dungeon thanks to meeting her. When they first reunited in Oddfield, Chrome thought it was horrible and fled. He was surprised when Shelly chased after him, but also really grateful. When Shelly sees his true form, Chrome wonders if she thinks he tricked her and if he will be mad at him. Chrome thought, now's not the time to be scared. Chrome asks them what's wrong so they don't attack him. The man thought the situation had changed. He said he'd send Chrome to hell as he raised his sword. Chrome said to try if he could, as he would take him along. Chrome releases his masquerade skill. The man is rushing towards Chrome and suddenly gets split by him in half. His upper body falls on the ground, and Chrome gains 567 XP. Jeff was shocked to see him transformed into a monster. The woman thought there was no way that was a skill. Chrome has never killed a person before, but it felt perfectly natural. He thought it must be because his life was in danger or maybe because he had become a monster. They felt that there was no way they could capture that monster alive, so they planned to kill it. Shelly seems to still process Chrome's identity. He felt sorry for deceiving Shelly while he runs. But even if she were wrong about him, Chrome would stop these guys. Chrome, in his true form, runs towards the men. They aim their arrows at him. Their arrows deflected from Chrome's body. The man knew it was too tough and arrows won't do anything, so he threw his bow. He draws his sword with no choice but to use this. Chrome found an opportunity to heal himself with regeneration, but he's done if he takes a direct hit from a sword. Many of them, including the boss, are standing back, and Chrome can't take any damage from these guys. He's much stronger than his human form, as his claws also serve as good weapons, but that doesn't change the fact that he's in trouble here. Chrome thought that he had one thing he could try with his strength now. A man suddenly jumps over Chrome with his weapon. Chrome thought they were scared since they were fighting an unknown monster for the first time. That was a huge advantage for him. Chrome blocks his attack. The man saw an opening. Chrome strides and growls loudly. The man hesitates to get close to him. Chrome manages to disarm him and slices another man's head. Chrome rushes towards a man and punches him in the face. He hits him through the ground, smashing his face. He gained 474 and 388 XP. Chrome levels are up from 47 to 48. Chrome looked at Galrod, that is getting annoyed. The man saw Chrome just suddenly got so much stronger. The woman thought this was bad as the men were growing scared and confused and losing the will to fight. She feels that the monster seems to have abandoned hope of surviving and intends to take down as many of them as possible. The woman cringes as this is a serious situation. The men charge and attack toward Chrome. Chrome thought there were so many of them, so he had to keep calm and quick. Chrome dodges the man's attack, as well as the other. Several men are attacking Chrome. The man said he couldn't shoot as his allies were in the way. Several men are attacking Chrome while the others on the back plan to shoot him. Chrome saw them. The woman realizes that the monster is purposely positioning itself so she can't shoot, and despite how it looks, it's intelligent. Chrome thought that these two are much stronger than the first group. At the same time, the mages are also aiming at him. Chrome is at his limit. He doesn't have enough strength to take down all of them. In that case, he knows what to do. Chrome punched the man and gained 396 XP. A man managed to stab him in the stomach. He thinks they almost got it. He suddenly got shocked as Chrome pierced him with his claws. Chrome's claw stuck at the man's body, and the other three saw it. The woman stands back, so the man shouts at her not to falter. He shoots fire at Chrome. The man calls not to shoot, but the mage still hits, burning his ally in the process. He saw them burning and got eye widened. His ally is burning on the ground while Chrome is standing and gained 856 XP and leveled up from 48 to 49. He saw Chrome is still alive. In this position, he should be able to shoot it just before its claws could reach him, he thought. Chrome pulls the sword from his body and slashes the man that gained him 674 XP. He next aimed Galrod, who was standing over there. Chrome thought that if they could just kill him, the evil dragons would fall apart, and they could even end up leaving the city altogether. The woman calls Galrod. Chrome thought Galrod being able to kill Arobas alone wasn't bluff with what he had left. Chrome wondered if he could take such a strong guy down. Galrod is called the monster of Oddfield, yet Chrome is an actual monster. Galrod wants to test it to see which of them is the true monster. Galrod boasts that they call him the monster of Oddfield, yet Chrome's an actual monster himself. So he challenged him to see which of them was the true monster. Galrod charges an attack. Chrome managed to dodge his axe. Chrome saw another strike and got almost cut off by Galrod's axe. He stood back and thought he was so close to flying his head. Galrod is level 50, much higher than him, and Chrome doesn't think he can win against him. Chrome wouldn't even mind them killing each other if he could just take him down. Oddfield would be free. Chrome thought he had to do something to tip the scales. If he could get rid of Galrod's axe, Chrome would no longer be at a disadvantage in reach. He thought he would be on top, thanks to his claws. Chrome used his last bit of mana for regeneration. He restored his left arm to top condition. Galrod mockingly asks Chrome what's wrong. He managed to cut his axe on Chrome's arm. Galrod seemed shocked when Chrome stopped his axe. Chrome thinks this is his chance and immediately rushes to Galrod. Galrod thought he dodged Chrome's attack while Chrome bites on his axe's handle. Chrome managed to take away Galrod's axe from him. Galrod got annoyed as Chrome pretended to target him. Chrome is almost out of steam. He can't let Galrod regain his footing or let his subordinates come to his aid, so he needs to kill him now. Galrod smirks and uses his purple crystallization skill. He punches Chrome using his crystallized arm and sends him flying. This skill covers Galrod in the armor of sturdy crystals. He asks Chrome how he likes it. Gaylord told Chrome that even when he's unarmed, he's still stronger than him. Chrome thought that was cheating. Galrod can make those sturdy crystals grow at will and use them as a shield. Chrome wonders how he is supposed to get past that defense. Chrome's lying on the ground, while Galrod thinks he should make that monster fear him. Galrod was born to be a hopeless hoodlum. His mother got beaten. She trembled as the man kept giving her scars. The man got annoyed, and she blamed him. The man orders him to steal or beg so he can give him money. The man suddenly choked him. He thought he was going to kill him right then and there, both him and his mother. Unexpectedly, he felt that God or something had taken pity on him then. On the day Galrod thought he would die, he activated his skill for the first time. He told his mom they no longer had to be scared of the man. But his mom kept calling the man, and Galrod stared at them. His mother called him a monster, and it made him feel dread. He smirks, and ever since that day, Galrod killed his parents and became the monster of Oddfield. Chrome can't go any longer with 0 MP. None of his skills could bail him out, and he thought this was the end. Chrome notices something and sees a sword. He thought there was still a way out. Galrod charges toward him, but Chrome dodges his attack. Chrome managed to get the sword. He draws it and gets on his stance in front of Galrod. Galrod mocks as his one foot's in the grave and asks how that sword would help him now. Jeff said that Galrod is the strongest. He cheered his boss to kill Chrome now. Chrome throws the sword. Galrod dodged and mocked him so that he couldn't aim any longer. But Chrome wasn't aiming for him. He aimed at Jeff. Jeff wonders why him. Chrome killed him, and he gained 101 XP and levels up from 49 to 50. Galrod thought that was just an act of desperation. He felt it didn't look like it'd do something like that. Chrome can now evolve. A monster's evolution brings it closer to its ideal form, but Chrome doesn't have the luxury of wishing to become more human in this situation. He needs to defeat Galrod to save Shelly. And to save Oddfield, Chrome wishes for power. Chrome will accept any form, no matter how grotesque, as long as he can have that power. Chrome starts to evolve in front of Galrod. Galrod seems confused with the strange man he's seeing. Chrome emitted a peculiar mana, and finally took a step. He evolved into a doppelganger monster. Chrome evolved into a doppelganger, a monster that scares people with illusions and robs them of their sanity. It can turn into other people by stealing their appearance and memories. Nobody knows its true form. Chrome is at level 50 with regeneration, masquerade, phantom, and dream eater skills. Galrod was irked as it evolved in this situation. He doesn't care and charges an attack. Chrome stopped his fist. He clenches his hands. Chrome uses his dream eater skills and slices Galrod in the stomach. Galrod moaned in pain. He wonders what this unsettling feeling is swirling in his head as his power is being drained. Chrome stole Galrod's mana and used regeneration. Chrome can steal mana with the Dream Eater skill and use it to heal himself with regeneration. Chrome thought he could keep fighting forever like this and walked towards Galrod. Galrod seems disturbed by the monster in front of him. He ordered his men to kill the monster. The man aimed his arrow, and the woman used her magic. Chrome is certain it's no use and places his 4 hands in front. The eye on his hand opens. Chrome uses his skill Phantom. It can control those around him with illusions. The more afraid the target is of the caster, the more effective it is. Chrome was shot by an arrow and got burned by a fire. The woman thought she killed him, but Chrome appears in a terrifying aura that makes the woman's eye widen. Galrod was the one who got shot by an arrow and fired. The woman trembles, wondering what happened. Galrod gets annoyed and asks who they are aiming at. Chrome raises his claw and slashes Galrod. Chrome recovered some stamina, and also stopped the henchman from meddling. This will be the end for Galrod. Galrod is annoyed as Chrome looks down on him when he's the monster of Odfi. Chrome dodges his crystallized fist. Chrome grabbed his arm. Galrod thought that the strange light from Chrome must be some illusion skill. He thought it was the type that messes with your head through fear, but he could endure it as long as he braces himself. Chrome uses his phantom skill again. Galrod saw it coming again. He was shocked as he saw his dad and wondered what was happening. Galrod's father Illusion said how dare he kill him. Galrod trembles seeing him. He sways his crystallized fist and punches it in the face. The monster fell to the ground. It suddenly got distorted, and Galrod was surprised. His dead mother appears from the day he killed her. Galrod is confused at what he's seen and wonders what's going on. The place suddenly changes, and he sees his hand. Galrod shouts, not to think he'll be able to defeat him with petty tricks like this. A monstrous shadow appears and asks Galrod how dare he attacks him, his father. The shadow said Galrod would get his limbs torn off and be fed to the dogs. Galrod can't feel his strength or use his skills, either. He told the shadow to stay away. He screams to stay away from him. In reality, Galrod was already mauled by Chrome's claws. Galrod is lying on the ground bleeding to death. Chrome mauled Galrod to death, gained 2,868 XP, and levels increased from 50 to 51. He finally defeated the boss of the evil dragons. Doppelganger, his third evolution, feels so powerful. His two new skills, Phantom and Dream Eater, eat the memories of someone he touches and allow him to steal mana. Chrome can control people by scaring them with Phantom, and Dream Eater enables him to see what they fear most. Chrome thought of something. The woman calls Galrod. The man thought they were done for as Chrome defeated the Orobas and their boss. Chrome screams at them. They got scared and told him to stay away. They run away from Chrome. The source of the disaster, Orobas, is no more. The evil dragon's boss is dead as well, and many of their members are also gone. Know that they've lost their leader. Chrome doesn't think they could pull off that trick on the nights Galrod spoke of again. Chrome and Shelly saved Odfi and believed that the kids should be able to live in peace now. Chrome glances at Shelly. Shelly seems terrified. Chrome thought about her. He's sure she's confused about what's happening, as her adventurer companion was a monster. Chrome walks away from her. He thought it must have shocked her quite a bit, but that's fine. Chrome has already been seen turning into his monster form in town and can't stay in Oddfield. If Shelly had only heard he was a monster from the people, Chrome is sure she wouldn't have believed it, and she might have chased after him again. So confirming it with Shelly's eyes was for the best, Chrome thought. Chrome thought it was not only Oddfield, and that he shouldn't return to civilization again. He thought maybe he was running away, but he was already dead and just a monster. He can't go back to pretending he's human, and meeting his sister was bound to end up like this, too, eventually. Chrome is not fashioning himself as the protagonist of a tragedy, as he used to be so weak, but he was able to save a whole city. Shelly bites her lips and struggles to stand up. Chrome looks back at her. Shelly suddenly hugs him from the back. Chrome wonders what she is doing. Shelly apologized to him as she was so confused and didn't know what to think. She thought Chrome looked so lonely, so she hugged him. Chrome was speechless. Shelly explains that she got scared, and her heart is pounding like crazy as she has no idea what's happening. Shelly clenched her fist and told Chrome that she knew he was a good person. Chrome heard all of Shelly's explanations. Shelly now understands why Chrome came here alone and always seemed to fear being seen. Since he was hiding that he was a monster, he couldn't contact people carelessly. And yet, Chrome still delved into this dungeon with her to save the town. Shelly said she would do her best so that Chrome could stay in town. Even if she can't, she'll always stay by his side. Shelly suddenly stumbles. Chrome catches her. Shelly got dizzy just from shouting. She apologizes as she's just a little tired. Chrome saw she fell asleep as she was badly hurt and exhausted. And despite that, she stood up to tell him that. Chrome thanked Shelly as her words just now were encouraging. Chrome thought it would be better for her to forget hanging out with a monster like him. Chrome thinks she's such a pure girl, and she honestly believes the town will accept him. Chrome might end up causing a lot of trouble for her, and it might be dangerous if he let her run around knowing him so well. Chrome raises his hand. He instinctively knew that Dream Eater allows you to see other people's memories and can also manipulate them. Chrome thought he should be able to erase himself from her memory. He suddenly recalls what Shelly said earlier, and it made him smile. Someone asked Shelly what happened. Shelly asks where she is. The man explained that he heard a terrifying monster roar outside town, and they found her. Shelly remembers that she delved into the hole of disaster. She recalled that she fought Oropus and was attacked by the evil dragons. She notices something. She asks them where's Chrome, a man with white skin. The man told her that she was the only one they found. Chrome thought it'd be better if he didn't get too involved with too many people, but there was just no way he could erase Shelly's memory. 2 days after, the whole of the disaster was cleared. Someone was shocked to know that the devil monkey was defeated. They thought they didn't have to live in fear of monsters invading the town anymore. The man said they'll have a new feudal lord coming before long. They thought of celebrating the day the hero Shelly defeated the devil monkey every year from now on. The man confirmed it to Shelly and said it'd be more correct to say she just happened to be there when it got defeated. She said that the one who took it was nowhere to be found. The news about the boss of the Hole of Disaster being defeated spread like wildfire. It's not like it completely neutralizes the threat of mass, but monsters should stop coming out of the dungeon. Most of the evil dragons have already left town as well. It might not happen immediately, but peace should return to Odfi terribly fast. Shelly thought this was all thanks to Chrome and wondered where he disappeared. Chrome is their savior who liberated them. Someone is staring at a warning poster. They were asked if they weren't going to drink, but they refused. She said they'd be celebrating a new hero, yet they sit there staring at the wall as if the poster is really that interesting. It's the monster that showed up in town and attacked a child, and it can not only take human form but even speak like a human. Even though the dungeon's been cleared, the woman said they still need to be perfectly safe. Shelly calls the person. She asks if they are Chrome. The person removes his hood. It is revealed that he's another man. Shelly apologizes, saying he's just reminded her of someone important to her. He apologizes to Shelly, and his hand lights up. It was Chrome. He used Phantom as he can't exactly run around with the face of a man people know are a monster. He bids his goodbye to Shelly and thanks her. Because she accepted him back then, Chrome now has the courage to meet Kamya. When Chrome evolved, his MP almost doubled. It seems a doppelganger is more of a spellcaster type than a shapeshifter. Masquerade costs 1 MP every 10 minutes, and Chrome could stay transformed for over a day. And even if people discover his identity, he can use Phantom to disguise himself, and if it comes to worst, he can use Dream Eater to deal with troublesome memories. Chrome thought it should be perfectly possible to see Kamya now. Chrome will try going home to his hometown, Rockdad. 2 people are discussing something. The man asks him if he can control the dungeon disaster. He said yes, as they, the Claws of Devon, are an alchemy research group researching the dungeon's secrets for centuries. Mizdo said it sounds like he holds the world's fate in his hands, whether for good or evil. Mizdo asks him why he came to a humble lord like him and not the royal family. The man said it's because Mizdo knows how to treat a researcher with a great cause. He said that he'd be called a hero, but eventually discarded after serving his purpose as the country. And people will take it for granted no matter what good he did. They would forget their gratitude and have them dealt with it if they ever got in their way, the man said while staring at the town. Since they can control dungeon disasters, they can rule the world from the shadow, the man proposed. They need to possess the necessary influence to get them started. So, he proposed to Mizdo that they shall make him the king of the world, and the Claws of Devon shall serve him in that cause. Mizdo said Asher is truly an interesting man. Mizdo said he has the power to save all, yet Asher seeks to become not God but the devil. Asher said there's not much of a difference between the two, as no matter how atrocious they are, gods are the ones who make the rules of the world. He added that saying they can control the disasters is an exaggeration. They need extensive preparations and enough impure mana, which depends on the abyss's state. Mizdo said he does not doubt what Asher is capable of, as he can only support him once he demonstrates his usefulness. Asher understands his point. Asher explains that the city they'll start with, Hadwin, has serious trade issues. And that's because a much bigger and richer city also lies in the north, Rockdad. Now suppose a dungeon disaster happens to happen in Rockdad. All the goods and money should flow to Hadwin instead, Asher explains. They're already well along in their preparations and should be able to prove their ability shortly. Mizdo told Asher that he was looking forward to it. The crescent moon is bright at night. A level 16 monster named Third Eye is growling. Chrome thought that a level 16 monster was perfect for testing out his skills. The monster jumps at him. Luckily, Chrome dodges the monster's attack. Chrome's hand with a sharp claw seems to move on its own. The monster suddenly appears in front of him. Chrome uses his Soul Eater skill. The monster immediately growls. Chrome saw its claws coming, so he immediately strikes its head. Chrome is aware that the Soul Eater skill can steal both mana and memories from the target. He thought that it'd be a powerful way to confuse his opponents mid-battle by messing with their memories. But they can throw Chrome off before he can even touch their memories, so he thought that he even failed against a level 16 opponent. Chrome thinks that if he wants to mess with anybody's memory, it'll have to be after he has defeated them, as he's not very comfortable using that kind of power. Against nimble opponents, the best Chrome can do is steal a bit of their mana. Chrome slashes the monster in pieces. He obtained 3x from winning. Even though Chrome knew that you get less experience the bigger the level difference, he can't really believe it. He wonders if he will ever get stronger than this. Chrome thought that it was a weird monster, as he had never seen it before and its level was far too high for being close to town. He just hopes that this isn't an ill omen. Chrome grilled the monster he just killed and ate it. Chrome thinks that he is close to Rockdat, his hometown, while gazing at a far distance. Chrome thinks that he can cover the mana cost of Masquerade by stealing mana from monsters, so he plans to stay in human form as much as possible. He doesn't want to cause panic by being seen like that, but the bigger reason is staying in that form messes with his mind. Chrome clenches his fist. He has a serious face while thinking of his sister to wait for her as he is near to coming home. Someone slams their mug. The man told him to stay calm, saying it's only natural they'd have a bit of trouble finding new members. He is angry, saying they are avoiding them for sure. The man seems confused. Kamya confronted them that her brother was last seen heading to the dungeon with the two of them. Arthur asked what was she implying. Kamya plans to state it plainly. She told them that they had taken her low-level brother deep inside the dungeon. She accused them that when they had to escape, they left Chrome behind. Arthur blames Kamya for spreading rumors about them. That's why nobody wants to get hired by them. He is trembling in anger as he continues to blame Kamya. The man told Arthur that he had been acting strange ever since it happened. He suddenly throws the mug of drink. Arthur grabbed the man by his collar and told him not to talk about that. He said that it's not his fault. Arthur wonders how is he supposed to know that imps lure people into their nest, so he blames Chrome for going so far with such a low level. He told the man that if they hadn't done it, all of them would have died. Arthur gritted his teeth, believing it was not his fault, and that he was not a murderer. He remembers Kamya's face looking at him, which implies blaming him. Arthur is very angry at Kamya and won't forgive her for spreading those rumors about them. Someone is running. She seems delighted. She is facing a dungeon boss, Fenrir. The dungeon boss Fenrir growls with a menacing aura. The woman said that the monster had bad manners. She takes something inside her pocket. She showed it in front of the dungeon boss. The dungeon boss seems to have gotten scared as it growls silently. The woman seems to have already seen the effect of the item, saying this is the man of the dungeon boss's master. The dungeon boss's anger seems to have faded when it saw the item. The woman says the dungeon boss has matters to attend to in order to fulfill their master's wishes, so she tells it to come with her. The woman said that it was coming with her to Rockdat. Chrome is walking at night, and it's been so long since he has been home. He has got plenty of imp, and even if the guards arrested him, unlikely as it is, he should be able to use his illusion skill to escape. Chrome thought that he shouldn't have anything to worry about, as he just had to find his little sister and tell her he was alive. Chrome told himself that it should be okay and there shouldn't be anything suspicious about him right now. Chrome passes by a man who seems to be annoyed at him. Kamya is practicing her spell inside her room. She is trying her ice magic skill named Ice Create. She plans to be faster and much more accurate. Chrome peeps at her practicing magic late at night, as expected of Kamya. Chrome wonders what does he now. He wonders how he explains not showing himself to her. He thought, how does he even explain in a way where they can say goodbye after quickly showing himself? That made him nervous all of a sudden. Kamya is seriously practicing her magic skills. Chrome thought that Kamya didn't look too worried, so there wasn't even a need to show himself, as just seeing her doing fine was enough. Kamya created figures using her ice magic. She sighs to relax. Chrome sees her practicing diligently and wonders if she is up for a promotion interview soon. Kamya gets up from her seat. Chrome seems to wonder where will she go. Kamya takes something. Chrome saw the dagger as the one he left for her. Kamya hugs the dagger while wishing for her brother to wait for her, as she'll definitely find him. Chrome got eye widened as soon as he heard her. He suddenly intruded on her room and called her name. Kamya is surprised and draws the dagger at him. Kamya got suddenly familiarized with her brother's look. She was surprised that he really was alive. Chrome was speechless for a moment. Kamya scolded Chrome on why he started hiding all of a sudden, and why he hadn't contacted her at all before now. She nags about why Chrome always goes to such dangerous places despite being so weak that causes her so much trouble. Kamya suddenly stops and wonders why is she shouting this when there are so many other things she'd rather say. Chrome apologized and said that Kamya was right. Kamya seems to have been feeling guilty. Chrome touches her shoulder. He told her she must have been so worried, as he knew that she was looking for him this whole time. Kamya got teary-eyed. Kamya told Chrome that he was right, that she was looking for him while crying. Chrome was touched by her sister's concern. Chrome tells Kamya to calm down and listen to him, as he needs to leave again soon. Kamya asks Chrome why he has to leave again as soon as he comes back. Chrome apologized and said that he was not confident he could explain it very well. Chrome thought that he was now an undead and something bad would definitely happen if he stayed with her. But evolution should bring the monster closer to its ideal form, and it wouldn't be strange if Chrome became human next time. Chrome knows that he became a bit more of a monster last time, but he is sure he can still recover from that. And then, he should be at a pretty high level. Back then, Chrome thought that his skill wasn't useful for being an adventurer, so he wondered if he should just give up. Kamya was crying when their parents died. Chrome was concerned for her sister. He touched her shoulder and called out her name. Chrome told Kamya that one day, he'll become a hero and will protect her and change the world so that what happened to their parents will never happen to anyone again. He told Kamya not to cry. Chrome grows tougher and stronger and gets more skills every time he evolves, and he's sure he'd be incredibly powerful even if he turned back into a human. Chrome cursed his fate, that he became an undead. However, he has grown so much and will continue to grow stronger because of that. Chrome touches the table and gets up. He apologizes to Kamya and promises that he will return once he is strong enough. Kamya shouts to wait for her. She tries to chase after him. She immediately opens the door, but Chrome had already departed for his plan. Kamya was surprised as Chrome was just here, but he's gone. Kamya cries as she believes that Chrome is so weak, but just keeps acting on his own like that. She cries for his brother not to make her worry so much. Chrome looks back and feels glad that Kamya and him have met. Chrome thought that now she wouldn't put herself in danger by looking for him in the dungeon anymore. Chrome collided with the man and immediately apologized while explaining he was lost in thought. Arthur was annoyed and asked where is he looking. Chrome got eye widened when he saw him. The memories of when Arthur left him to die flashed through him. Chrome immediately recognizes him and calls his name. Arthur got annoyed to see Chrome as he thought he died. That night at the Rockdat's southern watchtower, someone is taking a nap on the table. He was suddenly awakened by a sound. He received a response from the large mana sensor and wondered if it must be some kind of mistake. He takes a look at the window. He seems surprised by something. He saw a lot of monsters coming. The dungeon boss Fenrir is growling with a menacing aura. The man shouts that this could be a catastrophe for Rockdat, which makes the woman smirk. The man said that he has to let them know as soon as possible, but the woman is already behind him. That night at the Rockdat's southern watchtower, the man stabs the woman right through her stomach. She spat some blood and fell on the floor. The woman wipes her blood, saying the man was mean. She couldn't believe that a big, grown man like him would stab a girl like her without an ounce of hesitation. Kevin felt it connect, but he felt that with every strike, no matter how much he stabs her, she's still perfectly fine. Kevin thought that she must be at a much higher level than him. Kevin told her to move as monsters were approaching town. He said that if he can't alert the people, many of them will die. The woman said she knew, as she was the one who brought the monsters here after all. Kevin got eye widened when he heard that. He thought that it was impossible that she brought those monsters. She raised her weapon, teasing him that maybe he shouldn't have said that, as she was going to kill him anyway. Kevin tried to calm himself down as his attacks landed on her, and thought that it was not impossible for him to win as he was more skilled than her. Kevin clenches his weapon, saying it's his job to protect the people. So, under no circumstances can he lose here. The woman just mockingly smiles at him. Kevin strikes her, but she immediately jumps and dodges his attack. Kevin follows where she went. His blood gushes out as the woman slashes him from his back. Kevin realizes that she is so agile and wonders why his attacks ever hit if she can move like that. Kevin fell down on the floor. The woman laughs as she just likes herself a little pain, and this was fun. He mocks Kevin as it seems she got his hopes up. She asks Kevin how will the city's fighters respond once the monster bursts in from the south. Kevin knew that she wanted to deal with them beforehand like she did with him, so he didn't give her an answer. The woman raises her weapon. She gives Kevin another stab in his back. Kevin felt that she cut so deep at his bone, so he told her he didn't want to die. She smiles deviously. She heals Kevin using her healing skills. Kevin wonders why she's healing an enemy, while the woman asks where is the first place the city will try to defend. Kevin realizes that she's toying with him in order to try and get him to spit out information. Kevin doesn't want to die, and he can't die yet. The woman stabs and heals him again. Kevin's back is full of blood while the woman stands before him. The woman seems annoyed and asks Kevin again how he thinks they will defend. Kevin said again that he couldn't die yet. He is determined not to die, not until he has warned everyone, as it is his duty. The woman sighs. She left Kevin, saying he was a boring man. The woman walks away from him. Kevin prays for someone to hear his last wish. He wants them to protect their town, Rockdat. On the other hand, Arthur believes that Chrome is supposed to be dead as he is eaten by the bugbear. So, he wonders why is he standing right in front of him. Chrome thought that he had run into someone troublesome. He wonders if he should have changed his face with his illusion skill, but it takes far too much MP to keep up all the time. Chrome thinks that he should have just been more careful not to run into anyone he knows. Arthur suddenly realizes that Chrome actually revives thanks to his revival skill. But he thought that it was impossible, and even if Chrome made it out of that situation, he couldn't have made it out of the dungeon by himself. Not to mention, Arthur hasn't seen Chrome at all before today. Chrome thought that no matter how things turned out, he felt like Arthur was the only guy who shouldn't be blaming him for anything. Chrome seems to have noticed something with Arthur. He saw that Arthur was not looking straight, and those were some dark circles under his eyes. Arthur's cheeks sunken too, so Chrome wondered if he was taking some weird drug or something. Arthur is pulling out his sword. He throws its cover. Chrome was startled by him. Arthur draws his sword, saying that Chrome came back as a monster in order to kill him. Chrome explained that it really isn't. Arthur said that Chrome is holding a grudge against him for throwing him to the bugbears, while Chrome is certain that something's wrong with Arthur. Chrome thought that at this rate, people were going to gather, so he had to deal with him quickly and quietly. Arthur sweats profusely when he sees Chrome drawing his weapon and he believes is ready to kill him. He tells Chrome that he will send him back to the underworld. Arthur was annoyed while telling Chrome not to think he could beat him just because he became a monster, as he is still a skillless and useless porter. Chrome thought that this time, it felt like a whole different level, like Arthur's lost his mind. Of all the people Chrome could have run into here and rocked at, Arthur's the worst one by far. Chrome wonders how should he deal with this. Arthur wonders how is Chrome so fast that he can't keep up at all. Chrome reversed his sword and strikes the handle to Arthur's gut. Arthur got kneeled on the floor. He wonders if this is really Chrome, the eternal low level. Right now, Chrome's level is more than double Arthur's, and he can easily beat him even in human form. Chrome hopes that it is enough to make Arthur cool his head. Arthur suddenly laughs. He gets up, saying he couldn't stand dying in a place like this. Arthur recalls that time that he's certain Chrome should have died back then. There's no way Chrome could have made it out of that situation. Chrome just stared at him. Arthur still wonders how is Chrome standing in front of him right now. Arthur charges using his flame cloak and tells Chrome that even if he blocks his sword, his flames will destroy him. Chrome dodges Arthur's attack. He kicks Arthur's foot. It made Arthur fall down on the floor. Arthur saw his sword get thrown at a far distance. Chrome told him to calm down, as he is a human and he just hoped to never see him again. Arthur tells Chrome not to lie to him, as he just wants to trick and eat him. Arthur is trembling and scared of Chrome. Chrome thinks that Arthur is not in his right mind and it's impossible to convince him. Chrome guesses that he will have to shake Arthur off with his skill. That night at the wall of the town, the monsters from the dungeon are approaching the Rockdat. The city fighters are waiting with their weapons. Chrome seems to have heard something. He is certain that the roar just now was a monster. He was reminded of when the monster attacked Rockdat just like that awful day 10 years ago. Arthur heard it too and couldn't believe that a dungeon disaster was happening, as there were no dungeons near here that showed any sign of irregularity. Arthur blamed Chrome for leading a horde of monsters here. Chrome can't postpone dealing with Arthur anymore, so he plans to just show him an illusion to make him faint. Someone suddenly runs beside Chrome. He was startled as somebody almost saw him. The woman was stopped by Arthur. He sees her weapon and asks if she's an adventurer. She told him to get out of her way as she was in a hurry. Arthur told her that Chrome summoned a bunch of monsters here and asked her to help him defeat Chrome. Chrome told her that Arthur seemed to be confused. Chrome suddenly realizes something. While they are having a conversation, Chrome seems to be getting weird feelings from the woman. Chrome has a really bad feeling about her, but at the same time, it feels like something is calling him closer to her. Chrome told Arthur to get away from her, as something's weird about her. Arthur told Chrome to shut up, while the woman was ready to strike him. The woman slashes Arthur's back. Chrome calls out Arthur's name. Arthur was confused that the woman had attacked him. The woman said that it was not possible that Chrome led the monsters here, because she's the one who led those monsters here. Chrome was surprised to hear it. The woman said that she had been ordered to carry the blood of a certain someone to the center of town. She raised her sword, saying she doesn't have the time to deal with idiots like him. Arthur was scared while lying on the floor. The woman stopped. Chrome blocks her attack. She was confused as the two of them were fighting just a moment ago. Chrome told her that doesn't mean he can just overlook her killing Arthur. Chrome stared at him with a menacing look. He is certain that she seems to know something about those monsters in town. Chrome will have her tell him everything she knows. The woman mocks him, saying that there sure are a lot of brave fools in this town. She told Chrome that she was in a hurry. Otherwise, she would have taken her time enjoying cutting him to pieces. Chrome said that he's worried about the southern part of town that the monsters are assaulting, so he will defeat the woman quickly. The woman said that she was in a hurry too, so they could agree on that part. The woman runs towards Chrome. She strikes him, saying she can't let him do that. Arthur wonders why would Chrome pretend to protect him. He is sure that Chrome died back then. Arthur argues on his own that he killed Chrome so he could run away from that bugbear nest. He has heard of corpses turning into monsters by absorbing impure mana, and he has always thought it was nonsense, but he has also heard they will seek to clear their past life's grudges. Arthur looked at Chrome. He is certain that he will come back to kill him. Chrome realizes that the woman is fast and strong and her weapon is ridiculously huge, so he can't close the distance easily. She's as strong as the leader of the evil dragons, even stronger, rather. Chrome is guessing she's about level 50, in other words, as strong as the strongest adventurers in the world and someone that the Night Orders would come to recruit. Chrome didn't even think that he would ever fight someone like here in Rockdat. Chrome saw that she at least showed openings. He saw the woman standing. Chrome immediately charges an attack and slashes the woman. The woman falls before Chrome. She mocks Chrome that it hurt quite a bit and says that he's better than she thought. Chrome knew that it was too shallow, but she should be weaker with that wound. The woman heals herself. Chrome saw white magic and was shocked to learn she had a healing skill. The woman said that this is a problem since she's in a hurry, but she's starting to enjoy herself. Chrome realizes that it's not that she has openings. She's aiming for a battle of attrition with her healing skill. Their weapons collided with each other, which made a spark. Chrome is aware that both of them have healing skills, but if he gets dragged into a drawn-out battle of attrition, the casualties are only going to increase. And Arthur is watching them, so Chrome can't fight her in his monster form because if his true form gets exposed here, he'll most likely just get in the way of the city's defense. Chrome can't use Phantom to win this battle in one fell swoop right now. That skill is only powerful when you can take advantage of the opponent's fears, and it's almost useless against an opponent who isn't afraid. Chrome uses the Soul Eater skill because he'll try the same tactic he used on Galrod, so first he needs to peek at her past to identify her fears. Even Galrod had something he was scared of, so as long as Chrome can find what works on her, he should be able to stop her with Phantom. The woman sees through Chrome's rare skill. Their weapons collided with each other. She is not kind enough to let such a telegraphed attack hit her. Chrome saw that she was on guard now, and without the big openings she showed him, Chrome couldn't land a hit. The woman knows that it must take quite a lot of men to maintain Chrome's skills. Chrome got agitated. She seems to hit the nail on the head. Chrome charges towards her. She countered Chrome's attack. Chrome's sword got thrown from afar. The woman mocks Chrome that he's easy to read, panicking to the end of the battle quickly like that. She suddenly realizes something. She saw Chrome's hand that he was after. Chrome charges towards the woman while thinking that Arthur shouldn't be able to see this from his angle. Chrome thought that she was right, that he thought it'd be really bad if this battle drew out, but his dropping his sword was nothing but a ruse. Chrome slashes the woman with his claws and uses the Dream Eater skill. Chrome plans to see those memories of her. Chrome is in a blank canvas place. He guesses that this is the woman's mental realm, but it's strange that there's nothing here at all. When Chrome used it on Galrod, it was like a city in ruins, and with monsters, he'd see a dungeon or a wide open field. Chrome has never encountered a white void like this before. He wanted to know who she was and what she was after, but Chrome wouldn't learn anything like this. A girl suddenly appears in front of him. Chrome stops before her. The girl is using a healing skill, and wonders why isn't it working. It shouldn't be like this, so she wonders why. Chrome got repulsed upon seeing something. He saw bloody scissors and a knife, along with mauled rats. The girl tried so hard to give it 2 heads. Chrome got petrified. The girl seems to have noticed something. She suddenly looked at Chrome. Chrome's head hurts like crazy, and wonders what the hell is wrong with the woman's mind. He found out that she wasn't afraid of anything, as there was nothing but childish cruelty. The woman told Chrome that she had no idea what he did, but that's one unpleasant skill he has. Chrome got startled. He immediately takes his sword, but the woman already slashed him. Chrome falls on the ground. His eyes got shut closed. The woman smiles, thinking that this seems to be the end. Chrome thought that this was not good, as she's more skilled than he is and his doppelganger skills aren't working either. The only thing Chrome has left to try is to undo Masquerade. There's no one around and only Arthur will know, but if he makes a terrible fuss, the entire town might find out that Chrome's a monster. Chrome thought that that would only cause more chaos, and since monsters have already invaded town, that chaos could prove lethal. Arthur sees that at this rate, Chrome's will going to get killed. Arthur thought that Chrome came here to take revenge on him, so it suits him just fine if Chrome bites the dust here. But he wonders if that woman will kill him after she takes care of Chrome. Arthur began to question if Chrome even came to kill him, as he didn't know what was going on anymore. He bites his lip in confusion. Arthur takes a rock. He envelopes it with fire using his flame cloak. On the other hand, Chrome's last resort will be undoing Masquerade. He moves forward. Chrome thought that if they caused a big fuss, it would only get in the way of defending against the monster, and that meant increasing the number of casualties. The woman disarmed Chrome. His sword got thrown at a far distance. She raised her weapon ready to strike Chrome. A flaming stone suddenly approaches her direction. It landed on the woman's clothes. Chrome saw it was Arthur's doing. Arthur saw that his throw was successful. The woman stared at him with a menacing look for interrupting. She runs towards Arthur to kill him first. She stabs Arthur's arm, making him scream from the pain. Chrome saw that she was going to kill Arthur. He made a decision that this wasn't the time to hesitate. Arthur pleads with her to stop, saying he doesn't want to die. She suddenly notices something. A light scatters in a certain direction. Chrome unmasked his true form. She was shocked to see him. She wonders where it comes from, as this isn't one of the monsters she led here. She wonders if it is that man, Chrome. Chrome tried to slash her using his claws, but she dodged. She got tripped when she moved back. She got eye-widened at an incoming attack. Chrome managed to slash her. The woman jumps back at a far distance from Chrome. She realizes that it's strong and it has more arms than a human. Arthur saw the monster look creepy. He thought that he was right, that Chrome really was a monster. The woman learned that the monster has a sense of self and is not controlled by the hatred and desire from the abyss, because a monster is supposed to be violence manifested, but it has complete control over its power. For her, it was an unthinkable irregularity that a person couldn't predict, and when she leaves it alone, it'll mess with their plans. She thought that luckily, it's not fully grown yet, so she has to end it here and now while she still can. She used her skill White Magic Immortal Demon while thinking that this was supposed to be an easy job. She never imagined she would have to go all out. Chrome was startled by what he saw. This is the ultimate white magic spell, where one accelerates the circulation of life energy in the body to incredible speeds. Not only does it make her stronger in every way, but it also instantly heals all wounds she has suffered, although it's used in exchange for her lifespan. She charges towards Chrome, saying this is no longer a game. She pierced Chrome on his arm. She seems confident with her attack, but the weapon was stopped by Chrome. He caught her and held her sword. She was shocked to know that Chrome let it hit him to stop her sign. Chrome managed to slash her in her left eye. She touches her eye and learns that it's even stronger than she thought. She moves back. She started to heal her eye, and it lessens the damage. Chrome took her weapon, so she plans to just have to put her immortality to good use to whittle him down. Chrome suddenly stabs her using her own weapon. She thought it was unbelievable. She thought that Chrome actually threw her weapon after going through the trouble of taking it from her while trying to remove it from her chest. Chrome got closer to her. Chrome punches her in the face. It made the woman fly to a far distance. She finds it as an incredible monster. She said that Chrome was the first one to ever show her a much delightful pain. The casualties in town will increase by the minute, so Chrome can't allow this battle to draw for, and it doesn't matter what life energy or whatever it is she uses. Chrome plans to end this here and now. She sways her weapon at Chrome. She told Chrome to just give up, because as long as she has mana, she is immortal. The woman can hardly believe that Chrome exists, a monster that doesn't give in to its impulses and even helps humans. She reminded Chrome that Arthur just attacked him before, but he is still so dead set on currying favor with humans. She insulted Chrome for being a creepy monster. Chrome strikes her with an uppercut. Her head got turned on his back from the punch's impact. She moves her head back again, mocking Chrome that it seems he doesn't understand what immortal means. Chrome slashes her again, causing her arm to fly away. Her body was also sliced in half. Her upper body is separated from the lower body, and blood gushes out. Her lower body got kneeled on the ground, while her upper body lies down on the floor. Chrome just stared at her sliced body, and walks away from the scene. She suddenly jumps behind Chrome when he lets his guard down. She plans to take him down with her. Chrome caught her behind him. He smashed the woman on the ground. She still laughs upon knowing that this is where it ends. She said that she feels sorry for the monster, Chrome. Chrome stretches his hand to catch her. She told Chrome that no matter how hard he tries to play nice with humans, nobody will ever love him. Chrome said that it was fine. Then he smashed her on the ground till she juices of blood. Chrome's dearest wish in this world is not to become some famed hero, but to lessen the pain of the people living in these chaotic times, no matter how little. That is what he wishes for. Chrome obtained 5062 XP and he leveled up from 51 to 53. Chrome thought that he was lucky no other people saw him. Arthur said he knew it. He said that he knew Chrome was a monster. He still believes that Chrome is coming back to kill him. Chrome holds his head. He uses his skill to Arthur. Arthur goes into a void. He wonders where he is. Chrome uses his phantom skill on Arthur. He moaned about what happened and shouted for help. Arthur is unconscious, lying on the ground. Chrome really has hoped to end it without anyone seeing him, and it was a bit forceful, but he has to have him stay still and be quiet. Considering how ragged Arthur looked, Chrome didn't think it'd be strange for him to claim he was a monster the moment he woke up. Chrome really didn't want to use it, but he'll have to manipulate Arthur's memories now. He thought that those were some nasty circles under Arthur's eyes. Chrome thought that Arthur must have been so scared as he was never that mentally strong. Chrome would like to think it serves him right for what he did, but he could have ended up causing trouble for Kamya like that. Chrome uses Dream Eater for Arthur. Chrome alters Arthur's memory. Arthur is with another man. The imps are attacking them. They slash the imp, and some monster approaches them. A monster uses its skill towards the imps. Arthur's comrade said that a monster appeared and this was their chance to run away. The two of them run away. Arthur thought that something fell off about this, so he wondered what it was. The man explains to Arthur that it seems like a dangerous monster started appearing in the forest dungeon and it's perfect for earning some good money. Arthur called him. He asks if there are really only two of them. Arthur asks a guy named Chrome and says that it seems nobody wanted him at their party. He knows that Chrome has a skill that saves his life only once. He can't fight and raise his level, so he tells him he'll never be a proper adventurer. He told Chrome that is why no proper party would want to recruit him, and there are people out there who are better suited for odd jobs than him too. He extended his hand and asks Chrome if he still won't give up on becoming an adventurer. He should come with them and they won't ask him to do anything unreasonable. The man knows that Chrome's parents died and says that Arthur's dad got done in by monsters too. Chrome thanked them and said he thinks he's ready to give up on becoming an adventurer now. Arthur said that it's a smart choice and probably for the best. Chrome thanked them for inviting him. Arthur stopped walking when Chrome said his name. He asks how does he know his name. Arthur finally wakes up. Chrome carried Arthur while he wondered where he was, and as he was dreaming, Chrome handed him to some guy and asked to take him somewhere safe. Chrome told him that a weird woman attacked him and he collapsed. He said that his memory's foggy, but he does remember something like that. Arthur thought that it seemed Chrome saved him, so he asked if he was a traveling adventurer as he hadn't seen him around. Chrome smiles as he erases all of Arthur's memories of him. Now, he won't run around claiming he's a monster, so he shouldn't give Kamya any trouble either. Chrome is sure that Arthur will be able to get a proper night's sleep now. Arthur's eyes got suddenly eye-widened. He suddenly kneeled on the ground. The man asks what is he doing. Arthur said he didn't know, but he just had to apologize for something. Chrome thought that with Arthur's memories gone, his fears had subsided, meaning his guilty conscience had finally surfaced. He was almost crushed by his own sense of guilt after all. Chrome told him he must still be confused. He walks away from him. Chrome walks away and bids goodbye to Arthur, who just stares at him as he walks away. The hostile presence of a formidable species, classified at level 18 and identified as the third eye, looms ominously, emanating an enraged growl that echoes through the chaos. In a frantic scene, multiple of these monstrous entities overpower humans, launching relentless attacks. A lone figure engages in a desperate struggle, wielding a sword with determination as he attempts to fend off one of the ferocious creatures, desperately aiming to block its menacing mouth. Amidst the skirmish, the man urgently signals to his companions, stressing the urgency of the situation and advising the evacuation of women and children to the safety of the northern part of the city. Suddenly, a new species, cloaked in a dark hue, materializes out of nowhere, issuing a resounding growl that reverberates with an unsettling intensity. The man, now battling not only the third eye but also the growing sense of foreboding, recognizes this mysterious newcomer as the dungeon disaster's ominous boss. As the boss emerges from the dungeon, a cessation of impure mana circulation occurs, rendering the dungeon devoid of its protective function for the monsters. In a chilling revelation, it becomes apparent that monsters sharing the same type as their boss, under the influence of its mana, gather and embark on a terrorizing spree in the vicinity. The only conceivable resolution to this nightmare is the defeat of the boss, a daunting task that the man struggles to envision anyone accomplishing. With gritted teeth and closed eyes, the man contemplates the potential demise of Rockdad. Third eye monsters, now in a frenzied charge towards innocent lives, appear poised to unleash deadly havoc. Realizing his diminishing ability to hold out against the onslaught, the man, fueled by sheer determination, tightens his grip on his weapon. Assuming a resolute fighting stance, he braces himself to confront the monstrous horde, prepared to sacrifice himself in defense of his hometown. Just as the dire situation appears insurmountable, a sudden intervention materializes. Chrome, an unexpected ally, steps forward and urges the man to fall back from the imminent danger. Stunned, the man gazes at Chrome in disbelief, questioning the feasibility of facing the overwhelming threat alone. Amidst the chaos, a swarm of third eye monsters charges towards the duo. Without hesitation, Chrome takes swift action, slashing through the oncoming monsters with precision. The tally of defeated third eye monsters steadily rises as Chrome's combat prowess is evident, earning him experience points that accumulate from 6 to 8. The man, still in shock from Chrome's impressive display of combat prowess, couldn't help but voice his astonishment, querying Chrome about his identity and origin. Meanwhile, the Third Eye monsters, seemingly infuriated by Chrome's presence, growled menacingly at him. Unfazed, Chrome welcomed the challenge, inviting the monsters to confront him directly, expressing his readiness to take on anyone causing trouble in the city. As night descended, the battlefield bore witness to the aftermath of Chrome's relentless assault. Several Third Eye monsters lay lifeless, bleeding on the ground, testament to Chrome's formidable combat skills. Undeterred, Chrome continued his onslaught, deftly slashing through one monster after another. In the midst of the skirmish, a crafty monster seized an opportunity, attacking Chrome from behind. Chrome, caught off guard, swiftly countered the assault by pointing the handle of his sword towards the monster, effectively breaking free from its grip. In a decisive move, Chrome cleaved the monster in half, earning himself 6 experience points. Despite sustaining a wound from the surprise attack, Chrome demonstrated his resilience. Utilizing his regeneration skill, he healed the injury inflicted by the monster's bite. Unfazed by the mana expenditure, Chrome decided to employ his Dream Eater skill. Piercing through another monster's stomach, he gained 5 experience points, replenishing his mana reserves through the blood-soaked blade. As the battle raged on, Chrome's strategy became evident. With the combination of his regeneration and Dream Eater skills, fatigue seemed a distant concept. His blade danced with precision, reaping through the Third Eye monsters with ease. Chrome refrained from revealing his monstrous form, recognizing the monster's relative weakness compared to his own strength. The man, filled with gratitude, marveled at the arrival of this extraordinary adventurer, expressing his joy at being rescued. Another man urged him to follow Chrome's lead, emphasizing the importance of protecting their city. Meanwhile, from a distance, a curious observer recognized Chrome. Bewildered, he questioned how Chrome managed to survive, grappling with the uncertainty of whether this man truly was the Chrome he knew. Amidst the chaos, the Third Eye monster's blood continued to gush as Chrome's sword swiftly struck with unwavering precision. The man observed Chrome's relentless combat against the monsters, reflecting on the stark differences between the legendary adventurer and the person he knew. Chrome's black hair and lack of Herculean strength stood in stark contrast to the familiar image the man had of him. Additionally, the grim and stern expression on the white-haired man's face was something the man never associated with Chrome. Despite these discrepancies, the man couldn't deny Chrome's incredible prowess. He praised Chrome for his amazing abilities, recognizing that with his intervention, they might be able to halt the onslaught of monsters and prevent further casualties. In the midst of the acclaim, Chrome, too, was taken aback. His keen senses picked up on a sudden surge of mana enveloping their surroundings. The dungeon disaster's boss had drawn near, casting a shadow over the ongoing battle. The man's terror escalated at the mere sight of the dungeon disaster's boss. The boss's eyes scanned the area, witnessing the aftermath of Chrome's formidable onslaught. Numerous Third Eye monsters lay bleeding and lifeless on the ground. Growling in anger, the boss fixed a menacing gaze upon the group. With a powerful sweep of its tail, the dungeon disaster's boss crashed through the city's wall, exacerbating the already dire situation. The man, fear etched across his face, rallied the survivors, urging them to group up. In a desperate plea, he asserted that if they could just defeat the boss, the chaos might finally come to an end. A voice broke through the tension, urging the group to step back. Surprisingly, it was Chrome who spoke up, confidently asserting that he could take on the dungeon disaster's boss alone. The man, still reeling from the shock of Chrome's earlier feats, couldn't believe his ears. He expressed concern, cautioning Chrome that no matter how strong he may be, taking on the boss alone was an act of sheer recklessness. Ignoring the man's plea, Chrome faced the dungeon disaster's boss, a formidable creature named Fenrir, a level 46 rank sea monster. The boss, with a menacing growl, fixated its attention on Chrome, seemingly targeting him. Chrome, however, remained undeterred. A quick assessment of Fenrir's stats revealed it to be weaker than both Galrod and the Devil Monkey. Without hesitation, Chrome lunged forward, striking the dungeon boss beneath its jaw. Blood gushed out, marking the beginning of a fierce confrontation. Startled by Chrome's sudden and formidable attack, Fenrir recoiled, sensing a genuine threat. Chrome, sporting a stern expression, declared his determination to prevent the monster from inflicting further harm on Rokdat. The monsters, already injured and with blood streaming from their jaws, felt a palpable threat emanating from Chrome's unwavering aura. The air crackled with tension as Chrome prepared to face the dungeon disaster's boss head-on. The sight of Chrome boldly facing the dungeon disaster's boss left several men in awe, marveling at his unwavering demeanor as he stood on the roof, prepared to confront the gigantic monster single-handedly. The onlookers couldn't help but be captivated by the sheer audacity of Chrome, who took on the monstrosity without hesitation. The dungeon boss, not only immense in size but also adorned with numerous eyes all over its body, loomed threateningly. Chrome, undeterred, assumed a fighting stance and initiated his regeneration skill, mending any wounds before the impending clash. The monstrous boss fixed its gaze on Chrome, emitting a menacing growl, ready to launch an attack at any moment. Without delay, Chrome leaped from the roof, closing the distance between himself and the colossal creature. In a display of incredible agility, he landed several precise strikes in one fluid motion, dealing substantial damage to the dungeon boss. As Chrome touched down on the ground, he contemplated his superior level and the assurance that his Dream Eater and regeneration skills provided. Confident in his endurance, he recognized the toughness of the monster, but remained convinced that it couldn't outlast him in a battle of stamina. However, shock gripped Chrome as he witnessed an unexpected turn of events. The dungeon boss, apparently intimidated by Chrome's relentless assault, began to retreat. The men, realizing that the monster's escape could lead to further casualty, felt an urgency to intervene and stop it in its tracks. The unfolding confrontation took a suspenseful turn as Chrome and the men grappled with the need to prevent the dungeon boss from causing more harm. With the dungeon boss on the brink of escaping, Chrome acted swiftly, apprehending it with chains that wrapped around its leg. The chains tightened, ensnaring the monstrous creature until it found itself bound from head to toe, confusion evident in its massive form. Using the countless eyes covering its body, the dungeon boss surveyed its surroundings and noticed a distant figure, a shape-shifting monster observing the scene. A sudden wave of fear overcame the dungeon boss as it growled in response to the sight of the shape-shifter. Seizing the opportunity, Chrome unleashed his phantom skill, intensifying the dungeon boss's fear and launching an immediate attack. His blade found its mark, slashing through the creature's neck, and blood began to gush out in torrents. The once formidable dungeon boss succumbed to Chrome's relentless assault, meeting its demise. The victory was sweet for Chrome as he reaped the rewards of his triumph. He obtained a substantial 2,641 experience points, propelling him from level 53 to 54. The men who had witnessed the entire spectacle stood in disbelief, unable to comprehend how Chrome had single-handedly defeated the colossal dungeon boss. Smiling triumphantly, Chrome contemplated that with the boss defeated, the dungeon disaster should now subside. His confidence and skill had not only saved the city but had also quelled the imminent threat posed by the dungeon's monstrous denizen. The once chaotic scene began to settle, and a sense of relief washed over the onlookers as Chrome's victory marked the end of the harrowing ordeal. He pondered the notion that certain aspects of this entire situation seemed incongruent. A nagging feeling persisted within him, suggesting that there were details that didn't quite align. Recollections surfaced of the young woman asserting responsibility for leading those monstrous entities to their current location. Chrome found himself reflecting on the urgency of the matter, acknowledging that, ultimately, he hadn't had the luxury of delving into a thorough interrogation of the woman. This left him grappling with the mystery of what she truly meant by her claim. In the midst of this uncertainty, murmurs circulated among the people, hailing the emergence of a hero. Intrigued, Chrome couldn't help but wonder about the identity of this supposed savior. Recognizing the potential risks of drawing too much attention to himself, Chrome opted for a strategic approach. Recognizing the ongoing threat of monsters scattered throughout the town, he addressed the gathering, urging them to disperse and confront the remaining creatures. His directive aimed to ensure that no corner of the town remained unchecked, emphasizing the need for collective effort. As the townsfolk processed his words, a collective realization set in. The danger was far from over, and complacency was not an option. Chrome observed the resolve in their expression, understanding that they grasped the gravity of the situation. Seizing the opportunity, Chrome witnessed the townspeople dispersing, each taking on the responsibility of eliminating the lingering threat. Amidst their departure, Chrome discerned the opportune moment to make his exit, having already fulfilled his quota of monster hunting. A sense of satisfaction enveloped Chrome as he reflected on his successful defense of the hometown he cherished. Contentment filled him, leaving no room for complaints. During his moment of reflection, a man darted past him, catching his attention. Chrome's gaze lingered on the fleeting figure, prompting a lingering uncertainty. He couldn't shake the question of whether this mysterious runner was, in fact, Chrome himself. The differences in their expressions and the overall aura they exuded fueled this lingering doubt. Despite the nagging suspicion, he decided against sharing this observation with Arthur. The complexities of their relationship, coupled with Arthur's tendency to misconstrue things, made discretion a wise choice. The town, now shrouded in the stillness of the night, echoed with a quietude that magnified the aftermath of the recent chaos. Returning to the lifeless form of the woman he had dispatched, Chrome felt a compulsion to ensure thoroughness in preventing any chance of her resurgence. The scene before him, though a necessary part of his duty, remained disconcerting. There was an unsettling quality about this particular woman that tugged at his instinct, leaving an indescribable unease. As he stood there, an ominous feeling crept over Chrome, intensifying his unease. It was as if an invisible force pulled at him, linking him to the enigmatic woman in ways he couldn't quite fathom. The night, once a backdrop to chaos, now held an eerie stillness, accentuating the mysteries that lingered in the aftermath. Upon their initial encounter, Chrome experienced an inexplicable attraction to the woman, only to be swiftly overcome by a nauseating sensation that emanated from his chest, a discomfort that persisted even in the presence of her lifeless form. His attention sharpened as he noticed a peculiar object on the woman's corpse, a rounded item nestled near her chest. Intrigued, Chrome couldn't help but wonder if this artifact was the very source of the unsettling allure he had felt. The certainty solidified in his mind, leading him to consider the possibility that this object might have played a role in drawing monsters to Rockdad. Though uncertain of the exact nature of the connection, Chrome couldn't bear to leave this enigmatic item within the confines of Rockdad. Determined, he decided to personally retrieve and examine it, driven by the need to unravel the mysteries surrounding the woman and her peculiar influence. As daylight graced the town of Rockdad, the aftermath of the chaos unfolded. The injured received much-needed assistance, and amidst the recovery efforts, Kamya, Chrome's sister, arrived at the scene. A glance around revealed the absence of her brother, prompting concern. Rumors circulated among the people, recounting the exploits of a white-haired adventurer who effortlessly vanquished the formidable boss, sparing Rockdad from impending destruction. Kamya, absorbing this information, recognized the description fitting her brother's unique appearance and prowess. Gratitude mingled with relief as she learned of the unattributed heroics that had saved their town from devastation. The words circulating through the crowd about the white-haired adventurer's heroic feats brought an unexpected wave of relief to Kamya. It was as if a weight had been lifted from her shoulders, dispelling the worry that had crept in during her brother's absence. The echoes of her brother Chrome's earlier assurances resurfaced in her mind, the promises made in moments of vulnerability. She recalled the day when Chrome, with determination in his eyes, had told her about his aspirations to become a hero, a guardian who would shield her from the pains of the world. It was a memory etched with warmth, a comforting reminder of the bond they shared. Another recollection emerged, a poignant moment when Chrome had apologized, vowing to grow stronger and return to her side. Kamya cherished these memories, each one a testament to her brother's unwavering commitment to protect and support her. A smile played on Kamya's lips as she immersed herself in these reflections. The positivity that enveloped her was palpable, fueled by the hope that her brother would soon return home safely. She couldn't help but feel a surge of anticipation, eager for the moment when Chrome would walk through the door, his heroic deeds echoing in the tales told by the grateful townsfolk. In the bustling capital of Rayburg, a day unfolded with an air of significance. Within the confines of a stately chamber, a man of evident authority listened attentively as his subordinate delivered news from afar. The messenger conveyed disturbing information about the massacre at the Watchtower in Rockdad, speculating that it bore the unmistakable mark of intentional human intervention. A second man, standing beside the high-ranking official, injected a note of skepticism into the conversation. He cautioned against hasty conclusions, highlighting the tendency for ill-founded rumors to circulate in the wake of monster attacks on cities. With a dismissive air, he urged the first man not to be easily deceived by the chaos that often accompanied such events. The atmosphere grew tense as the initial speaker vehemently argued his point, challenging the skepticism of his companion. Frustration etched across his features. He pressed further, inquiring about the elusive claws of Devon and expressing concern over the yet-to-be-apprehended Red Man. The second man, exasperated by the escalating dispute, observed the exchange with a mixture of annoyance and impatience. The urgency of the situation became apparent when the first man, now impassioned, declared the impending Judgment Day, casting a shadow of uncertainty over the gathering. As the weight of the impending Judgment Day hung in the air, a woman in the room found herself contemplating the gravity of the man's words. The mysteries surrounding this ominous term gnawed at her curiosity. Exiting the meeting, the trio continued their discussion, their voices now reduced to irritated whispers. The woman, perturbed by the futile bickering, recognized the futility of their argument in the grand scheme of things. Annoyance etched on her face, she contemplated the pressing issues at hand, realizing that mere verbal clashes would do little to rectify the looming challenges ahead. Milla, sensing an undercurrent of tension among the knight captains, sought clarification from Captain Ellen. Her curiosity prompted her to question why her peers appeared so visibly shaken. In response, Ellen delved into the unsettling rumors surrounding the elusive Red Man. He revealed that whispers linked this mysterious figure, marked by a distinctive red birthmark, to the recent surge in monster attacks. Intriguingly, there was no official search for him, and the existence of such an individual remained unverified. Despite Ellen's attempt to shed light on the situation, Milla intuited that there was more to the story. She couldn't shake the feeling that the other knight captains harbored knowledge beyond the officially shared details. However, Ellen, recognizing the dangers of excessive speculation, cautioned Milla against dwelling too deeply on the uncertainties. In response, she offered a sincere apology, acknowledging the wisdom in his advice. Ellen, with a mix of frustration and resignation, mentioned the uproar among his subordinates, likening them to monkeys. Seizing the moment, he decided it was an opportune time to share a piece of information with Milla, emphasizing her role as his right hand. Milla, caught off guard, was momentarily speechless and visibly shocked by the unexpected disclosure. Ellen proceeded to unveil a historical secret, one that reached back a century. He recounted a tale of a lord from the countryside who, a century ago, had harnessed the power of monsters through sinister means, launching an attack on the capital. The orchestrator of this dark plot was revealed to be Viscount Eros, a man distinguished by red hair and a matching birthmark, a connection that echoed with the rumors surrounding the Red Man of contemporary whispers. Milla, still grappling with the revelation, questioned the possibility of Ellen being the Red Man, emphasizing the chronological impossibility of such a connection, given the century-spanning gap. Ellen, in response, delved into a more distant history, reaching back 300 years. He recounted the execution of a court mage accused of cursing an entire town. The lack of concrete details, such as the mage's name, left the authenticity of the story shrouded in uncertainty. Adding an eerie layer to the narrative, Ellen described the court mage as having hair as red as fire and a disfiguring inflammation on his face. Milla, struck by the unsettling similarity, couldn't help but register the shock on her face. Stepping further back in time, Ellen referenced a divine blessing bestowed upon humanity 1,000 years ago by a god. This blessing, according to Ellen, allowed them to live without the constant fear of monsters that had plagued them before. Intrigued, Milla pressed for more information about this divine blessing. Ellen, citing a sacred scripture, expounded on the notion that the bestowed blessings were so profound that they triggered a catastrophic reaction. The earth, gripped by calamity, experienced 7 days of disasters: earthquakes, floods, tornadoes, winds of flame, and hordes of monsters. As Ellen painted this vivid picture of ancient upheaval, he reached the climax of the tale: the emergence of an abominable monster on the final day. A creature that defied nature with its horrifying red hue, reminiscent of the red swamp from which it crawled. The revelation left Milla with a sense of foreboding, her mind grappling with the implications of a history entwined with divine blessings and monstrous repercussions. Milla, absorbing the weight of Ellen's revelations, sought clarification on whether he was indeed implying that the Red Man was the monstrous entity from the ancient scripture. Ellen, cautious in his response, admitted that, at the very least, many in the old clergy subscribed to this belief. However, the information was kept confined to the upper echelons of the nation, shielded from the general populace to prevent widespread panic. Undeterred by the enigma surrounding the Red Man's identity, Ellen emphasized the pressing issue at hand: escalating monster attacks that posed an existential threat to humanity. He declared the quest to find the Red Man as the nation's top priority, recognizing that resolving this mystery held the key to addressing the mounting crisis. Meanwhile, elsewhere, news of the recent monster attack on Rockdat reached someone reading a piece of paper. Expressing satisfaction, this individual acknowledged the accuracy of Asher's prediction. The adventurers Asher had strategically placed in Rockdat reported a miraculously swift resolution to the crisis, validating Asher's capabilities. Praising Asher's prowess, the individual assured him of unrestricted access to research funds and envisioned a partnership that could extend beyond the borders of their nation. The prospect of joint rule over the country and possibly the entire world was tantalizingly presented to Asher. However, the sudden fury that gripped Asher manifested as he vehemently slammed his fist on the table, revealing a deeper complexity to his emotions and motives. The unexpected display of anger hinted at a turbulent undercurrent beneath the surface, leaving the trajectory of the unfolding events uncertain. Asher's demeanor, far from expressing delight at the news he had just received, hinted at an unexpected disappointment. His shock and internal turmoil were palpable as he contemplated the events that had unfolded. In response to the concern voiced by the person inquiring about his well-being, Asher grappled with the circumstances surrounding the apparently minor dungeon they had established in Rockdat. In his mind, the significance of handling a few monsters paled in comparison to the puzzling outcome. Garrett, Asher's trusted comrade who had overseen the attack, added another layer of perplexity. Asher held a firm belief in her loyalty, given her high level and mastery of the ultimate white magic that granted immortality. The idea of someone within Rockdat defeating both Garrett and Fenrir, the formidable monster they had unleashed, left Asher grappling with the improbable. The suspicion shifted to the possibility of the knights orchestrating the events, perhaps recovering the crystal containing Asher's blood. However, he questioned the capability of the current leaders to carry out such a clandestine operation, especially considering the potential direct approach they could have taken if they possessed the necessary skills. Refusing to discard the notion of an irregular element at play, Asher asserted that, regardless of the intricacy, the situation remained unchanged. The term irregular hung in the air, prompting Mizdo to inquire about the mysterious concept Asher had alluded to. Asher, with a palpable sense of determination, elucidated the concept of an irregular as a monster born from the purportedly cursed god that had cast its shadow over their world. His hand moved decisively, making contact with the table, emphasizing the gravity of the situation. In a display of respect and gratitude, Asher stood and bowed before Count Mizdo, expressing his appreciation for the support extended to his research. The acknowledgement marked a pivotal moment, signaling a step forward in their collaborative efforts. However, the mood shifted as Asher brought attention to the potential threat within Rockdat, suspecting that one of his subordinates had fallen victim to an unknown assailant. Recognizing the potential impact on their plans, Asher urged Count Mizdo to prioritize identifying and neutralizing this threat. Beyond the assistance with research funds, Asher sought Mizdo's aid in addressing this looming danger. Meanwhile, in a distant land, Chrome examined the crystal he had obtained from Gareth, the woman he had recently slain. Unbeknownst to him, this crystal held significance as it contained Asher's blood, an element of the unfolding mysteries that connected various threads in the intricate tapestry of their shared destiny.